Welcome to the annual Hitting the Field Draft Show special. I am one of your four hosts, Tyler Brownrigg. To my left and right, respectively, Nick Cohen and Patrick Preverty. And we have one more surprise host that you probably know about if you've been paying attention to the Instagram. But we are going to be here live, covering the entire first round of the NFL Draft. It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited. So stick around because the draft special starts right now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
And we are back. And our fourth host, if you didn't know, Ty Patton will be over at the Combine set. Our Mel Kiper for this draft. So everyone just say hello. How are you guys feeling?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. Can't wait to get the draft going.
All right, Ty, anything you'd like to say to the audience?
Well, I was going to say, anyone watching at home, if you wanted to watch the draft, you might want to tune off, because I'm going to spoil everything for you. I'm from the future. I know what's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you every pick before it happens.
Yes. All right. Now, the NFL draft is not officially open yet, so as a bit of a precursor to it, we all did mock drafts of the top 10 picks. So, Ty, I'm going to start with you, being our Mel Kiper expert. Give us your top 10 predictions.
All right, so diving into this, the first four are pretty self-explanatory. 5 is where things get really interesting. I have the Chargers trading down with the Minnesota Vikings, the Vikings trading up to select J.J. McCarthy. They are without a quarterback. Sam Darnold is not a true proven starter by any means, and I think the Giants have been feigning calls all around the league, trying to get awareness up for that 5th overall pick so that they can take their pick of the bottom 2 receivers in Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors, those top 10 picks. So I believe J.J. McCarthy will go 5 to the Vikings. And the second one that I want to point out real quick is of the Falcons. I know a lot of people are clamoring for Dallas Turner to be the pick here, and after multiple days of looking over this, I'm confident in saying that Byron Murphy II out of Texas is going to be the pick there. The Falcons just, between their 2 edge rushers, had 9 sacks last year in the same room as Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree. Their defensive line, on the other hand, had 6 sacks. It was horrendous, and that's between 7 defensive linemen. It's really, really bad play. I think Byron Murphy II is just a player that crosses faces easy, has a great punch off the line, and lives in the backfield. I mean, his rent has been paid for a long time. Lives in the backfield, and I think it's just a smart pick for them.
Nick, I saw you kind of shaking your head there as you mentioned Dallas Turner. Was there something you didn't like about that?
Just a little bit. I mean, I think Dallas Turner is the best defensive player in the entire draft.
Yeah, that's true, but he's just a little bit undersized, and he relies so heavily on his speed.
He's no Aiden Hutchinson at 6'7", but he's not Chop Robinson. He has great size. He is the best edge in the class, pretty undoubtedly. I know some people really like Latu, but
I'm a big
Dallas
Jared
Turner's
Verse
the guy.
guy.
No.
I'm a big Jared Verse guy. Patrick, do you have any thoughts on Ty's mock before we move on to Nick?
Oh, I was going to say the Giants and Chargers area, but I'll get to that in my mock. I don't want to
All right, Nick, give us your mock.
Sure, so I'm pretty sure I don't have too many things differently than the rest, except at number 2. Now, I think this whole time, Jaden Daniels has been a smokescreen to the Commanders. He is not the better quarterback. That is Drake May. He's going at number 2. I'm going to cook with that. Okay, he's going at number 2. And then also at number 9, we've seen Caleb Williams, all of his posts. He wants Rome Odunze on his team. Chicago has made a lot of good decisions this year, this free agency, and so they're going to make another one and make their quarterback even happier, make him really have no excuse to not succeed.
All right, I'm starting to see Roger Goodell come up to the podium, so I'm going to try and speed this along a bit. Moving on to my mock top 10. Again, nothing crazy. My first 2 picks, Caleb and Jaden Daniels, pretty chalk. But I have Drake May going at 3, but it is not to the New England Patriots. It is the Minnesota Vikings trading up with the Patriots to take Drake May 3rd overall. I also, another notable pick, I have Fuaga being the first tackle off the board at number 7 to the Tennessee Titans. Mayday, Minnesota, it is happening, baby. I am manifesting it now. I am believing.
Okay.
All right. And our final quick mock. Patrick, give us your top 10.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. The only thing that I disagree with really is the fact that the Giants aren't going to try to swap up just one spot above them with the Chargers to try to hold off the Vikings from coming up. I actually do believe that they want a quarterback. I don't see why they wouldn't, and I think with the 3 coming off the board in the top 3, I don't see them like not wanting to make a move, and I also don't see the Chargers moving that far back, especially when they could get a guy like Joe Walt right there. I think he's also the best tackle in the draft. So I think they would just swap one up, and they would each get their guy, and I think that would be it. And then I think the Vikings would be like, okay, we're just going to stay put since 4 guys just went off the board in the top 6, or 4 QBs just went off the board, excuse me, in the top 5.
Yeah.
So I think they would just sit there.
There's been a lot of hype generated about the Giants taking a quarterback, and I can't understand that.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones currently is under contract. He's getting an average salary of about $45 million a year for the next 3 years. All right. If the Giants were to trade away Daniel Jones today, somehow, through a draft day trade, they'd get dead cap hits of $33 million, $22 million, and $11 million from 2024 to 2026, respectively. Ty, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of the Giants being interested in the QB market?
So let me tell you something a little bit interesting about this. The last time the Giants took a quarterback in the first round, they had Eli Manning under roster. He had him for 1 more year before a cut was available, and they made the move. They got Daniel Jones. Now, we saw that didn't play out the way they wanted it to, but they have the opportunity to do the exact same thing here. Daniel Jones has 1 year left before they can cut him without a cap casualty, and they likely have J.J. McCarthy here. My only concern with that is if the Chargers are getting offers from 3 first-round picks, multiple picks early in the years to come, they're not going to trade down 1 spot unless the Giants are going to be willing to offer another first or at least another second. You know, they're going to want a lot if they're giving up 3 first-round picks, especially if it's the Vikings giving up 11 and 23 this year.
Yeah, I also think just for the Chargers in just defense of this own mock, it would be that they also get their guy. But I will say what's worse than a cap hit, I think it's having Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So I think when you weigh that as a general manager and also with the potential of getting fired because you don't have a franchise quarterback, I think you might end up making a move, and you might end up having to bite the bullet and give up more picks than you might want to just move up 1 spot. But look, the value of these picks are so high, sometimes you're just going to say, hey, we'll make the move.
And I don't want to feed the flames, of this rumor that's going around, because I do believe it is a smokescreen, but were the Chargers to bite and say we want Talise Fuaga or Malik Neighbors at 5, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants took McCarthy at 6.
All right,
if
Ty,
he slipped there.
I'm going to have to cut you off right there as the NFL draft is now officially opening. Right now, Roger Goodell is at the podium. The Chicago Bears are not on the clock yet, but any second now. And here are our first guests of many for the day, starting with the Chicago Bears fan, Matty Glass, our senior, one of our seniors here at the guests. Oh, the Bears are now officially on the clock. Ben Huber also at the couch. And then next to Ty Patton, Ezra Hines. Welcome to the show, all of you. Let's jump right into the Bears. Their team needs. Ty, I'll start with you. Tell us what is, we obviously know quarterback, but tell us what Chicago we should expect from them from this draft. Is they had 2 picks in the top 10.
So I'm going to make it real blunt and real simple. The Bears need 4 picks this year, just 4. Quarterback, wide receiver, defensive line, and offensive line depth. Those are the 4 they need. A lot of people are saying maybe they trade down at 9, acquire more picks. I don't really see them have a need to do it. I think they only have the 4 needs there. Wide receiver, not being a huge one, but with Keenan Allen only under contract for another year, DJ Moore with 2 years left, and a consistently resetting wide receiver market, as we've seen with Amon-Ra getting $30 million per year now, A.J. Brown making now $32 million, which if you didn't know, he was just extended not even 30 minutes ago. They're going to have to pay a lot of money for them, so receiver's definitely a big one. D-line is another really, really big one here.
All right, and now, Maddie, as you are our resident Bears fans, tell me how you're feeling right now.
Okay, honestly, I'm pretty nervous that they're going to, take Bo Nix or something. I just, really, I honestly don't believe it, because this is what the Bears have been searching for pretty much for their entire existence. And it really feels like they can't mess it up, but, I'm still nervous until he's, his name is called and he's up there. It doesn't feel real yet.
We have about 8 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, they need to hurry this up.
Nick, we obviously know how great Caleb Williams is. We've heard all these praises. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. What about the negatives? What are the down? What is?
There's a lot of negatives.
Yeah.
I mean, my roommate, for example, he was just
What?
Bro, sorry, but he was just
NFL scout.
Source, trust me, bro.
Caleb Williams is going to be the biggest bust ever, which I think is a bit of an exaggeration. Now, granted, if he doesn't have even like a top 15 quarterback season next year, I think then you start to have a little bit of doubts.
Yeah, so I think that's been almost like a borderline smear campaign for Caleb Williams so far this year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yup.
it's just kind of crazy where we've come from. Almost like towards like the middle of this last season to now, he is just like his stock is almost. I mean, look, nothing's going to change, right? He's going to be the first overall pick in this NFL draft, but like the feeling around him has just completely changed. Whether it's like anything with his own personal life or how he's like conducting himself in these pre-draft interviews, everything has just been, he's been nitpicked. And I think you hate to see that. I saw a thing on TikTok today about how he wore the
source.
well, it was about how he wore like the different color sweatpants and hoodies to like one of the NFL draft combine like camps or whatever that they threw. I mean, he's just getting slandered
And
every
I
which way.
want my star quarterback to be a diva, by the way. I want him
Hot
to
take.
be confident
Hot take.
and
take.
cocky. Are you
No,
if
that's
your
fair.
best quarterback doesn't believe in themselves like that, then they're not going to be a good quarterback. It's the hardest job in sports. They need to believe in themselves. And if Caleb has that confidence in himself, I'm fine with it. He can have all the confidence he wants. I don't care if he paints his nails. I don't care if he has a pink phone.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I was
It's
gonna touch on that.
2024.
Someone put out
Real-
this fire because she's cooking.
Real
Hold on,
quick,
hold on.
real quick, real
2024.
quick. I want to throw this out there.
Okay.
It's not uncommon for teams to wait until the last minute.
This
There's
is the
there's
NFL
6 minutes and
the
20
NFL
seconds
told them
left
to
on
do
this
this
clock.
because
Is there
this is-
any chance the Bears are fielding
No.
calls?
That's what
No.
I was
Is
thinking.
there
This
they
happens.
can
This
hear 'em
happens
out. They
every
can hear 'em
year.
out.
I
Have
hear-
you
this
ever watched
happens
the
every
NFL
year.
draft, Mr. Mel Kiper?
Every
Kyler
year.
Murray,
Every year.
Kyler
Yeah,
Murray
but are
went
they
to like
fielding calls?
1
That's the
minute.
question.
Trevor Lawrence went to like 2.
Trevor Lawrence.
It
Yep.
happens all the time.
All the
But
time.
Something I do
They
want to
could be
mention.
fielding calls about number 9 too.
Yeah, something I do
Just
want to
doing their own work.
mention is that this pick is not originally the Chicago Bears. This
Yep.
originally was supposed to be the Carolina Panthers. They do not have a first-round pick. So very briefly, Ezra, I'll start with you. What do the Panthers? Can we expect anything from them this draft night, or are they just? Is it just kind of over for them a little bit?
Wait, real quick. Are you saying trade up into the first, or are you saying like
is there
the
is there
draft to come?
something that they
name
can do
Ezra?
that can give Panthers fans hope?
Okay.
That's what I want to hear.
So, I don't necessarily think so. I think the Panthers are kind of just have to bite the bullet here. I think that with this, it comes with kind of almost like a lesson learned here of don't trade away everything you have for somebody you're not fully certain on, considering there was 2 guys you could have taken from. But, however, I do think that there is something they can do because they do still have their second rounder, right? Correct?
Panthers?
Yes.
They have 33 and 39. this
Yeah,
year.
so there's definitely still moves they can make at the end of the first round if they really wanted to trade up, and they could probably take wide receiver. There would be guys like if a guy like Brian Thomas falls down the board, I could absolutely see the Panthers finding a way to trade up for him. Even just a Lad McConkey, somebody along those lines, they could really find a guy like that early second round. If not, they can trade those 2 seconds to maybe dive into the first. So I think it's not completely written off for them yet, but it's kind of tough seeing when you had the number 1 overall pick and now you don't.
I think they're cooked.
I agree.
They pretty much are
It's
cooked.
not looking good for them. But we
like
mentioned
Canales.
earlier, I forget who, I believe it was you, Ty, that we were thinking of the Chicago Bears trading down at some point. Obviously, it won't be here at number 1. They're taking Caleb Williams.
Yep.
But the Bears only have 4 picks in this draft, 2 of them being in the top 10. Their next pick, number 9. Ben, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the Chicago Bears, what they might do at number 9?
Real quick, the pick is in, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, the pick
just
is
went
in. Yes,
through.
the pick is in. But Ben, give us your thoughts. We're not going to hear it yet.
I think the Bears, I think they stay at number 9. Obviously, Caleb Williams wants another receiver. He wants Rome Odunze, more specifically. I think if he's
heard that
there,
somewhere.
they take him. But if not,
I
then
heard,
think
I heard
they
that.
might
I heard that
trade
they were on
back.
the same flight to Detroit.
I heard that from Nick Cohen's roommate.
Credible NFL beat writer. What's his name?
Eli.
Eli.
Shout out Eli.
Shout out Eli. Yeah.
Hopefully
Eli.
Caleb Williams isn't a bust.
I don't think so, dude. I remember watching Caleb at Oklahoma his freshman
Oh, of
year.
course you do.
Oh my god.
I'm
my God,
watching
it
him in
was
high school,
amazing.
actually.
Yeah.
But yes, the pick is in. We're still waiting for the announcement. We're waiting for Goodell to go up to the stadium and Say with me. And the pick has been announced. Our broadcast here, we see it's delayed. It is officially Caleb Williams
JC
has been
Latham.
selected by the Chicago Bears. Maddie, rejoice. Maddie,
Well, I need to see it.
you don't believe me?
I
No.
see it.
It's
I
all
see it.
over
There's
Twitter.
reports.
Now
It's
we
there.
know
It's
all
there.
over
It's
Twitter.
happened,
I
Maddie.
mean, I see
Guys,
it on
he's
Twitter
telling the
too. I
truth.
mean,
So
yeah,
you're seeing
I
it.
kind of already knew.
She wants
Right.
to
The
see
world
it on the
knew.
monitor.
Guys, your mock drafts are so good.
Yeah, well,
Thank
I'm
you.
1 for 1.
so far.
I'm 1
Everyone's
for
1 for
1.
one.
I'm 1 for
Congratulations.
1.
Should I
Mel
get off
Kiper
the
knows
set
best.
now?
But isn't this great for the Bears?
It's so
It's
easy.
so good.
Like they haven't
Just
had a
to trade him
franchise
away
quarterback in
scores.
how long? I asked this question before we got on air. When was their last Pro Bowl quarterback? And
Mitchell
it was
Trubisky.
Mitchell
Trubisky.
But I wanted to say before an
MVP?
Okay, that
alternate Pro
was
Bowl.
fake.
Cutler.
That was fake.
Was it Jim
That was the
was it
alternate.
McMahon?
No,
I think
no,
it was
Jay
Cutler.
Yeah,
Jay
it was
Cutler?
Cutler.
Did
Rex
Rex
definitely got
Cutler never
one.
make a
Okay,
Pro Bowl?
wait, I
I
need to
think
see
so.
the
I wasn't alive.
They're announcing the
that's so
pick right
great for
now.
them.
Currently, Goodell is up on the
I want to
stage.
see his reaction.
We know it's Caleb. We
He
just need to
doesn't
see
give
it here.
reactions.
We need to see this.
I want to. He was questionable for if he can give hugs because he got back surgery, so I don't know if he's going to be able to give Caleb a hug.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
Caleb's
there
hugging
he
and
goes.
kissing and all that. You know, it's Caleb
officially
Williams
happening.
here.
LGBTQB1.
All right, but now the
Good for Caleb.
Washington
Honestly, I give
Commanders
that a-
are
I
now
give that
officially
pick a
on the
C.
clock, just so we all know. They were on the clock the second the pick was in.
Yep.
So now we're waiting on that. But Nick, I cut you off. You were saying
Oh, I give that pick a C.
a
Grade.
C.
Yeah.
C for Caleb.
I wouldn't have done it.
Tough grader. This
2020
guy's a
C
senior
for
professor
Caleb.
over here.
Yeah.
Wow,
for
like
Will.
120 touchdowns responsible for since 2021. My goodness,
Crazy.
that's insane. Absolutely crazy. But yes, I think Caleb can be the. I think he will be the first Bears quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards. Maybe that's a hot take.
They've
The
never
bar
They've
is
never
so
had
low.
one.
What a steaming take.
Never had one.
Tyler Brownrigg, will it happen this year is the question.
I think
Yes.
so. I think so.
He
DJ
had-
Moore,
What are you
Keelan
talking about?
Allen.
You guys have never had a 4,000-yard
That's insane.
passer?
I know,
Never.
that's almost
We'll
like
get
Not
it.
one.
You guys-
I'm
you
not
know
really
Doomsday
thinking
could be a
had
great
Caleb
pick.
Carson
Williams
Wentz
isn't good.
as
The Bears
theirs.
should like.
Maybe Jalen's done it. I don't know if he has.
Relocate.
I don't know if
Hasn't
I don't know if
Tua done
Jalen
Relocate to
Hurts has done it.
Orlando.
Yeah, well,
Orlando.
anybody's done it, right? Yeah.
Right.
Take it
That's
all.
crazy.
Shoot.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Maddie.
Oh.
I didn't mean
I
to have that
almost
reaction.
had
That's
Yeah.
shocking.
a
Really
heart
good.
attack looking up at this TV for a second. It switched back to saying the Bears are on the clock. I was like, there's
I
no
have a
way
question.
they
Do you guys
traded
think
up
the
to
Bears
2.
can like actually compete for a wild card spot this
Oh,
season?
absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, wild card, absolutely.
I don't
thought
know.
you were
In
gonna say
that
for the
division?
division.
In that
No,
division
not
with
the
the
division,
Packers and the
but the
Lions?
wild
Or
card.
they
And
could
the
be better
Vikings?
than the
I'm
Vikings.
a big Detroit
We
Lions
exist.
guy this year. I think
Are they
the
going to
Lions
be better
are
than the
the
Vikings?
This
It
division,
depends on who the Vikings get.
this division got really interesting
Okay,
really
don't everyone
fast.
talk at once.
Or from?
It depends on who the Vikings go get.
Is this show
Oh,
going
Drake
on
May's
there
still on
talking
the
to?
board.
Would you
Oh,
give
that's.
up?
Oh, you said for
Did
Drake
you give
May,
a
okay.
third first?
You, 3 firsts.
Okay, good.
what I thought.
Just want to make sure.
Am I allowed to go now?
Crazy. Oh,
Go ahead.
Yes, Maddie, you can leave. Maddie will be joining us again for the
I'll
night
be
pick
here
when the
with
Bears are
Nye.
back.
Well, I'm
Unless
just
they
curious.
trade
I'm
down,
just
which
curious.
is a
What
real
would we think-
possibility, and I would accept it.
okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie.
I just wanted to pose a question to everybody, maybe before we get to the Commanders pick.
The Commanders actually have 5 minutes and 50
Oh,
seconds left on the
maybe
clock.
we
The
should-
clock has
maybe
been
we should
running.
slow
Go ahead.
We got
Dave.
time.
Hey, we have
We're
some time. We have
Just
some time.
Caleb
Beautiful
Williams
analysis.
and closer to Matt Stafford or closer to Peyton Manning?
Ooh, good question. Wait, and
Matt
closer or
Stafford.
play
Let's
closer?
not. Wait.
Like in his career
Matt
closer.
Stafford is a good
Yeah,
like
no,
career.
it is.
Yeah,
I'm
are we
saying,
talking
I'm
like-
saying that could be
yeah,
like
no,
as
but
number
it's
one
like-
picks.
A great
I'm not
guy.
throwing
I
out
got you.
Jameis
I think
Winston.
Stafford. I think Stafford is safer.
That's
But
Yeah.
the Commanders are on the clock. As we're still waiting for the pick. The pick is not yet in. Ty, I want to
Yep.
hear from you. Tell us about what the Commanders need, what we should expect here at this pick.
Now, the Commanders have a lot of needs. Like, there are a lot on this board that they could go looking for. Starting off, the first, foremost, most obvious is going to be quarterback. They do not currently have one under roster outside of Marcus Mariota, which is just heinous. Tight end, offensive guard, offensive tackle, edge, and defensive back are also all needs, which just puts them at such a difficult spot right here. But at 2, it's going to be quarterback. I think we're all certain of it. You know, they've gotten calls for the second overall pick, my apologies, to someone to trade up for a quarterback, and they've turned away every call as soon as it started ringing. They just said, we're not shopping. We're not shopping. It's going to be a quarterback here. Outside of this, I've heard rumors they may trade up into the first for an offensive tackle or a player such as that, but as of right now, those are their needs, and quarterback is definitely the most prominent of them.
I mean, they have 2 early second-round picks.
Yep.
So it should be easy to trade back into the first. I just question if, especially if you're talking offensive linemen, unless you're trading like into the early 20s, like how big of a difference is the
Also,
talent?
I was also going to say, do they want the 5th-year option too?
Right.
That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a big game
Oh, yeah,
changer.
that's
I
huge.
think your option for
I
your
think you
quarterback.
almost say why even bother if we're there at the top. I also think for this second overall pick, it really comes down to Jaden Daniels or Drake May.
That is
100%.
what it's
All right,
been.
well,
Actually,
Draft
I
starts
do,
out
anyone
as-
wait,
else-
real quick.
is
I do
anyone
want to point
else
something
Team Drake
out.
May?
I do want to point something out. There have been a lot of smoke screens lately, and I'm not saying they're true, that on the Commanders' big board, J.J. McCarthy is sitting second behind Jaden Daniels.
I don't believe
And
any of
I
that.
would-
Pulitzer Prize.
I don't
winning
know.
smoke
I don't,
screen.
Pulitzer Prize. I don't think there's any merit to it. But I want to point it out.
I do want to say right now, I want to introduce our new guest. Giovanni St. Surin is now joining us here for the next couple picks.
Hey.
Welcome
Hello,
on,
guys.
welcome on.
Mr.
Giovanni, let's hear from you. What are your predictions right here for number 2 for the Commanders?
Well, I'm actually happy to be talking about the Manders because my roommate is a Manders fan, and I did show him this mock draft. I showed him the other day, and it had Jaden Daniels, and he was crying because he wants Drake May to be drafted by them. So I don't know what you guys think about that.
Here's the only thing I don't like with Drake May right now at 2 is that he hasn't had the play time that these other quarterbacks have on field. I mean, Jaden Daniels has 5 years starting in college under his belt. Like,
He threw to Brandon Ayuk one year, which
Against
is
Justin
insane.
Herbert.
yeah, like how ridiculous is that? But Jaden Daniels, I think, has just had more time. He's more experienced and he's more pro-ready than Drake May is. But I will say, I think Drake May has a higher upside. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say that Jaden Daniels is absolutely the better pick. But if you're a Commanders fan right now, I'd be nervous if they took Drake May. I don't know how well he's going to play in that situation. On top of that, I want to point out, when I was going through the film of Jaden Daniels, his deep ball drops right into the bucket. A
The
perfect
pick
Terry
is
McLaurin
in, gentlemen.
kind
The
of
pick for the
The pick is
Commanders
in.
is in.
The pick is in. But
pick
I
is
think,
in.
The pick
I
is
think
in.
with
Please.
Jaden,
Oh my goodness.
with Jaden, he's a dual threat where Terry McLaurin would thrive.
I'll tell you right now, Ty, I understand the dual threat nature of Jaden McDaniels and how he has a lot of upside in that regard.
Yeah.
The big reason I'm scared of him and why I don't really value him as a top tier guy, why I think he maybe should slide, is the pick has been announced. It is Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels has been taken number 2 overall by the Washington
Drake
Commanders.
May is coming to New England.
The draft starts now, boys.
Nick Cohen's
gonna hear
draft is
Minnesota.
mock is
Minnesota's
1
on
for
the
2.
phone.
1 for
But
2, big fat L,
here's the
Nick
big
Cohen.
thing I wanna say
2 for
about
2,
it.
Mel Kiper knows
You
best,
know
man.
what?
Trust in Mel Kiper.
I'll just be the tortoise. If I have 9 out of 10 the rest of them, I can be happy
He'll
with
be a
that.
winner at the end. But Jaden Daniels, a big thing I want to say, he takes awful hits, dude. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah.
He does not know how to slide. And there's the big highlights of where he's getting hit. And he looks like a character out of Looney Tunes. It's ridiculous. I've
Tom
seen.
and
Do
Jerry.
you remember
Just
the
getting
one?
ragdolled.
Yeah, the one where he's
where he-
running up the
Whoa.
sideline.
and then he just goes flying back. I think that was the old Miss game. My goodness. But yes,
Different
Jaden,
video.
the reigning Heisman champ, Heisman Trophy winner. Ben, Giovanni, you guys at the couch, what are your thoughts on this pick?
Oh, I think it's a great pick. Honestly, on my big board, I think Drake May is a little better. But obviously, Jaden Daniels is a great pick. We kind of knew that he was going to go there. Great, a dual threat quarterback, can get it done with his legs. A little bit older though, but honestly, not a problem. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say the Manders aren't I know you said Drake May has a bigger upside. I would have went with Drake May maybe because the Commanders are not really in a win-now situation. They're
I'm so
probably,
happy I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, we saw
Even though
Drake May with UNC.
I would have rather them draft Drake May.
He
I
took,
think
he
Drake
took
May.
that team that was awful.
That was just a
and
prediction.
he was the only
Drake
reason
May,
they
I
won
feel like,
games,
is
so.
like 1A or 1B to Caleb's 1A. I feel
And I'm
like
still going to feel like that. The only unfortunate thing for Drake May now is look at his situation. Like,
With the Patriots.
assuming
It's
assuming-
gonna be the
Zero
Vikings.
skill
It's
help.
gonna-
assuming the
It's a-
Vikings do
What do you
not
mean?
trade up.
Demario
Wait,
Douglas
the
is
Patriots-
a dog.
Why are you doing this if you're the
Thornton.
Patriots? Unless
but-
Drake May is like the 5th
So-
guy on your board, why would you want to trade
They're
down? If you could get a franchise
Jared
quarterback,
Mayo,
why would
dude,
you
Jared
pass?
Mayo loves Jacoby Brissett, dude. That's his boy right there. That's his guy. Die hard Jacoby Brissett
Well,
fan.
there's also rumors of Tom Brady coming back.
Oh, come on. Come on, Nick.
Quit it.
I had
Is that
to
from
say
your
it.
source as
That's
well?
blasphemy. Tom Brady retired he probably retired
Twice.
as a Patriot, but he
retired
retired, with the Buccaneers after winning a Super Bowl. He is a Buck.
Somebody
We
get Nick
keep
Cohen
that
a
man
new
in high
source,
regard.
please.
My goodness.
The source was Tom Brady. I don't know what you're talking
Hey,
about.
I
he
do
did
want to
say.
point out
He
with
didn't
Jaden
say it to
Daniels,
the
though.
Patriots.
I think a lot of people ignore this. In 2023, Jaden Daniels had a passer rating of 143.7. He had the best passer rating out of any college football quarterback, to my knowledge.
The reason why he won the Heisman.
That is why he won the Heisman. I think the only thing you can call into question is that his average time to throw was 2.91 seconds, which in pro level play is a little slow. But, Commanders went out and got Tyler Biadasz. They're beefing up their offensive line. There are rumors they trade up into the first, as we mentioned, for an offensive tackle. So if they do that, I don't think that's too much of a problem. And even with his dual threat nature, I think he's got great awareness in the pocket and can move up if needed. Which I wanted to ask y'all that. How many yards do you think he's picking up on his legs this year?
Ooh.
Give him a cool
450.
500.
I was gonna say about 500.
500 sounds valid.
I mean, it
You
could
guys are
honestly
gonna
be
go
more
over.
with how
I'll
bad.
win.
Like if Washington doesn't beef up their O-line, it could honestly be more because he's probably gonna have to. He's probably gonna have to rush out of the pocket a lot of the time if he's getting bull rushed every single passing play.
We saw Sam Howell last year get absolutely demolished, so hopefully it doesn't happen again. I think Jaden Daniels is more athletic and he can just get out and make plays.
Gets out of the pocket a lot easier too.
Now, there's one question I do want to this is open to the floor to anyone. Do we feel like Jaden Daniels is maybe getting a bit overdrafted here because of the talent around him? He has Malik Neighbors, who we expect to go in a few picks. Brian Thomas Jr., who might go in this first round. Do you think that might maybe just inflate his numbers a bit?
I'm going to pass it to you in a second, Nick Cohen, but you and me have had this discussion before, Nick Cohen. We've talked about this before. And the reasoning behind it is, let's look back at Joe Burrow, who had Jamar Chase, right?
Yes.
Sitting right next. Yeah.
Yes,
But they're
I agree.
totally different types of quarterbacks.
That's very, very
No, but
fair.
the
But we're
receivers,
talking
though.
about the talent. We're talking about the talent
Yes.
around him. Is that why he's drafted
doubt.
so high? Joe Burrow was drafted #1 overall, and I still think that was a valid move. I still think he was worth a first overall pick. So I don't think he was drafted too high, but anybody else think differently?
No, there's a lot of mirroring there for sure. I think Brian Thomas.
Oh my God, the Patriots
pick is in early.
It's time,
It's in
baby.
with 6 minutes left.
Drake May is
Drake
pick.
May.
I've been told
It's
Drake May is a New England Patriot.
They have made it clear.
We have
that
our
they are
quarterback!
happy sticking and picking at 3.
We
I
have
doubt
our
Darius
quarterback.
Davis fans can
Gerard Mayo
rejoice.
knows what he likes, and I think it's guys are
It's
high
been
upside.
announced. It's been announced.
It's
It's
Drake,
Drake May.
It is Drake May. It's Drake May.
That
3
is-
for 3. Nick Cohen's 1 for 3. Matt Kuiper knows the
I
drill.
get half of
Yeah,
one
no,
for
I
I did have Drake May
I
going
am 1 for
third.
3.
Nick Cohen, I'm not duking on you, man. You have great mocks. You have great
Right,
mocks. I've seen
right.
them all, but I'm dressed as Mad Mel Kiper. I got to act the part.
And
This is
now
a
the
guy,
draft
you
sense.
put him in an
do you
offense
feel?
with a bad O-line. He's going to do something great with what he's got. Mad Mel Kiper voice. I
But
got
this
cooking. I've been
this
practicing.
is addressing the key need that
Oh,
New
yeah.
England had, the void at the quarterback position after they trade away Mac Jones. And Patrick, we were trying to get fitted in earlier,
Yeah.
but Patrick, you saw the Adam Schefter tweet.
Yeah, Adam Schefter tweeted maybe 3 minutes ago or whatever. He said he heard from a source that there was zero chance that they were trading this pick. Pretty much after Jaden Daniels was selected, there was zero chance that they were going to move down from 3. So definitely, I like this pick for the Patriots. I always think, rule of thumb in my opinion, that when there is a franchise quarterback that available that you have high enough on the board, you take him and you don't look back. No matter what is the situation going on with your team, there's no scenario where I think it's valid that you get out of that pick.
If
If
your
you think
guy,
he's
you
that
go get
good,
your
yeah,
guy.
you go get that guy.
So now about Drake May, let's talk about him a bit. He's been compared a lot to Josh Allen. Now, guys at the couch, do you agree with that comp of Josh Allen, or do you have maybe someone else in mind?
I personally think he's more of a Justin Herbert type
I
of guy.
totally agree.
I think he definitely could have the arm talent type of Josh Allen, which is crazy to say because Josh Allen has one of the craziest arms I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But I think he's a lot more accurate, and he doesn't really throw a lot more, crazy passes, just trusting his arm. He is a very calm and in the pocket type of guy, but can roll out if he needs to, roll out of the pocket and throw a good pass. It's very funny because he kind of reminds me in a way of CJ Stroud as well, where he can kind of just he can make a wild throw and just make something kind of crazy in that sense because he's that talented enough to do that. So seeing the Patriots and taking a guy like this, especially with the wide receiver core that we have right now, he could low-key make something out of nothing. And I'm very excited to see what we do.
And I have a different pro comp than you do, Ezra, but I want to hear from Ben Huber over here. I'm interested to hear what you're thinking.
I like the Justin Herbert comparison, but I think he's also a gunslinger how we see Josh Allen is. Just don't think he's quite as athletic. But we see he threw a good amount of interceptions last year, but I don't think that's a problem at all. I think that's just because his team around him was really bad. He's the only reason UNC won any games. So I think when he goes to the Patriots, he might throw some picks, but he's also going to make great plays. I think that Justin Herbert comparison was spot on.
All right, now, gentlemen, actually, real quick, as the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock, I do want to move on to them. So, Ty, give us your preview and what you think that the Cardinals are going to be doing and what they need to draft here.
So Cardinals have a couple needs, right? Nothing is too grand, but their biggest need right now is wide receiver. And then behind that is going to be guard, center, defensive line, and cornerback. It's way too early, in my opinion, to draft a cornerback. Same with defensive line, center, and interior offensive line. You know, I think wide receiver has to be the pick there unless they're considering trading down, which, as far as I've heard, wide receiver is going to be the move, and the pick is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. That's what I had on my mock. I think that's what everyone had on their mock. But wide receiver here being the pick. And boys at the table over there at the desk, do y'all like Marvin Harrison Jr.? Is there any way the Cardinals trade down here?
I think he's too good of a player right now. I think you weigh your options between trading down and taking the best player, and I think just simply the best player available outweighs that right now. Outweighs what you could potentially get. And also, I don't know, we don't know what the market is looking like right now. We don't know if teams are actually actively trying to trade up for J.J. McCarthy right now as we speak to try to get ahead of the Giants, who actually might not take him.
Do it at all.
Yeah. So we don't know what they're getting offered. I think he's too good of a player.
I think Arizona should very much be inclined to make a trade, especially if it's a team like Minnesota with 2 first-round picks. Arizona themselves have 2 first-round picks, so they could come out of this with maybe 3 potentially, and then you get 3 first-round picks, trade down, and then maybe jump back up into the top 10, get a Neighbors or a Dunze, and add more talent around Kyler Murray.
I think honestly, I'm so sorry. You could go next.
No,
you're
totally
but I
fine.
think honestly they did a lot of their moving last year towards the top of the draft. I think this year they're going to play it safer, and they're just going to say we're going to take our guy. I also think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is still head and shoulders above Neighbors and Odunze. I still think he can be a Hall of Fame wide receiver. This guy is top 2 or 3 guys position-wise in this NFL draft, and I think usually that's where you stay put.
And I want to mention one thing about Marvin Harrison Jr. here, which is kind of paradoxical in and of itself, but he is both a star-studded receiver and insanely consistent. 2 back-to-back years of 1,200 receiving yards and 14 touchdowns. That is improbable, nearly impossible. It's very surprising to see him here. And I've been saying this for 3 months now. I think this is the best wide receiver prospect we've seen out of college since Megatron. I think this guy is phenomenal. I think he deserves to go 4.
I think a lot of people have been saying that. And just going back to the, trading down possibly, I'll admit I've been guilty to do that before, and I did not like that. So I do think it will be Marvin Harrison. There's really no doubt in my mind. But Giovanni, you're wearing a Cardinals jersey, clearly a Kyler fan.
Yes,
do you
sir.
want them to get a new wide receiver 1 for him?
Yeah, Hollywood Brown is gone. They need to surround Kyler. It also depends on Kyler's health for this season. But surround him with talent, get him the wide receiver 1. Marvin Harrison is an athletic freak. I feel like him at 4 would be perfect for him.
I want to ask you a question actually real quick, Giovanni St. Cyr, and I was real interested with something coming up. And I wanted to ask this, right? The Cardinals don't have a true wide receiver 1 on the board, and Marvin Harrison Jr., as I mentioned, the pick is in, by the way. Romo Dunze caught 75% of contested catches.
The pick has just been announced. It is Marvin Harrison Jr. has been selected by the
it
I was
should
about
be.
to ask, do you think
As
there's
it
any
should
chance
be.
they look to trade down and take Odunze? But
Probably
Marvin Harrison
not.
Jr. obviously
I don't
being
think
the
that's
pick.
going to happen at this point.
I'd like everyone to know, terrific Ty Patton is going 4 for 4 right
Also,
now.
I'm good for 4
what about the
also.
terrific?
Let's go.
Patrick-
Hey, Nick, what's your record right now?
I'm 2 for 4
in his mock
and
draft.
gonna
Wow.
finish 8 and
4 for
10. 8 for 10. Going to happen.
But-
Hey,
but-
I'm seeing a trade here.
The Chargers is where the draft starts.
They're gonna
This is
shock
really
us.
where the draft starts. I know we
Ooh,
can
it could
mention
be
more
anything.
about Marvin Harrison Jr., but this is really where speculations run hot. Tempers start to flare at pick 5. What do we think is going to happen? Because I doubt Denver and Vegas get the chance to trade up with them being in division with the Los Angeles Chargers. But at the same time, it's becoming more and more clear that teams are willing to trade in division as the years go on. Is there any chance Denver or Vegas trades up? Boys at the table.
I don't think so.
I think they would have to.
I don't think
They don't have
would.
enough.
Be paying at a premium.
They don't have
almost,
enough
right?
You don't want. You already have Mahomes in your division. You don't want to risk giving another division rival another franchise quarterback. I don't see that, especially when they're so desperate for one.
Yeah. And on that same token, if those two aren't going to trade down. Are we absolutely positive the Vikings are trading up? Because, like I said, I think the Giants kind of, toying around with the idea of taking a quarterback. I think it's a smokescreen so they get Neighbors, because they've expressed they're big Neighbor guys. They love Malik Neighbors. If that is the case, right, and they don't want to get J.J. McCarthy necessarily, is Minnesota being pressured to trade up to 5? Are they for sure going to do it, do we think?
If it doesn't happen now, it doesn't happen at all.
Really?
Like, if it doesn't happen with this Chargers pick or the Giants pick,
I agree.
Then it's not. Then
I
they're
agree
just going to
because
sit
there's
and wait.
no other team that's in the market for a quarterback, in my opinion, in between.
We're
But
also
it's just
wanting
not-
to trade down.
I think we could bring into
I feel like,
mention,
yeah.
though, if the Chargers sit and pick and they take an O tackle, I think Tennessee starts fielding calls.
Oh, I
think
can
they
see
start
that
looking.
because they
That's
probably
a very-
wouldn't want to.
They don't
I mean,
want
if they take Alt, do you think they would take?
I
Whether
think if
they're
it's,
going to take Latham?
Is that if the Chargers
I
take
personally
off?
have
Yeah,
the,
if the
I have
Chargers
the Chargers
take a
taking a
tackle.
receiver here. But if it's Alt, if it's a guy, I feel like Tennessee. Well, because here's the thing: if you're Tennessee, do we feel like the Giants maybe take tackle at their
No.
slot at 6?
I don't
I
think
don't
they could
think
go wrong.
so.
I think they're also
I
in a
don't
similar position the
think
Bengals
so.
were a few
You
years
still-
ago.
you have
too,
Andrew
with,
Thomas.
with Panay Sewell and Jamar
Evan
Chase.
Neal
Yeah.
is like a kind of like unknown, but the Chargers, they're two big needs: offensive tackle.
Their big
obviously.
needs are everything.
Well,
Maybe, yeah, but receiver, I think, personally, is what it needs to be. Quentin Johnson currently is your number 1. I don't like that at all after his rookie
No.
year. And I don't want him, if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I don't want Quentin Johnston to be my number 1 going into this season. I want another guy who can take the load off, and I think that is Roma Dunze. I think Roma Dunze is the guy here. True X potential, best big play threat maybe in this entire draft class. I think Roma Dunze should be
I'm
here.
a big
almost-
proponent
I was
of Joe
gonna say.
Alt. I mean, I think he'd be a great
Son
fit
of
here.
NFL legend John Alt.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Thank
Isn't
you.
this
That's
a
very
similar
fun.
position the Bengals were in a handful of years ago with Panay
Yeah.
Sewell and Jamar
yes,
Chase?
Yes.
and Jamar Chase.
And that worked out pretty
Exactly.
well for them, but it was a kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah.
I think they're in a similar
It
spot.
would have worked out either way.
Yeah, I think they're in a similar spot. That's why I also had them switching just one
hindsight's
spot behind.
2020.
Yeah.
obviously,
I remember
but-
Panay Sewell being a can't-miss guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
Panay
And
Sewell
I think
for sure
Joe Alt
was.
is probably considered that same guy. As like, oh, he's going to be, defending your quarterback from the
Well,
whoever else. For
Here's
10
the
years now.
only thing I want to bring into question when we talk about who's the pick here, because there's been a lot of smokescreen that it's going to be J.C. Latham here. There's a lot of smokescreen that's going to be
there's
Talise Fuanga here, right? John Harbaugh with Michigan was a smash-mouth, hard-nosed type coach that loved his running game. And this year, when they had the chances to bring in all the running backs they did, they went with Gus the Bus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. I mean, two guys that know how to hit the A and B gap and stick it to somebody, right? I think they're looking to beef up their offensive line. I just think trading back with the Vikings is smarter. You can acquire a handful of picks and still get Fuanga or Latham at 11, right? But I think right tackle is going to be their first pick.
Even with the Titans there? Like the Titans wouldn't take out one of those guys?
I think
Well, I
that
think
the
that's what he
Titans
meant
for
by-
sure.
Well,
are
Titans
that,
are
yeah.
in-
Oh, okay.
I thought
okay.
that's what he meant by
Oh,
Latham
okay.
and
Now,
got
really
it.
quick
Yeah,
before we
He's
continue
an
this
alt,
discussion,
yeah.
I want to introduce our new guest,
Yeah.
a familiar face for many, Elijah McCleary, but returning once again. He came back for the Super Bowl, and he's back now for the draft. Nate Marrero.
Nate
our favorite
Marrero
alumni.
is in the
Nate
house.
The Great is here.
I was just watering my plants, and you guys came to the retirement home like, hey, we need you to complain about the Giants. I almost cussed, and I was like, I guess I can go on for 10 minutes and complain.
We gotta bring him out one more time,
Yeah. And then I got wheels
But
on the
as I
wheelchair.
mentioned earlier, the Chargers, big needs for them: offensive tackle, wide receiver. Ty, is there any other needs besides those 2 picks that we feel the Chargers might want to try and address this draft?
So they have multiple needs, that they could address in the first round. The first 3 of which that I want to mention is wide receiver, tight end, and offensive tackle, like we mentioned. Brock Bowers is up there. Brock Bowers is a lot more of a pro-ready tight end than a lot of people think. I think this guy's on par with a prospect value of a Kyle Pitts, right? I think he's really, really up there. But besides those 3, the wide receiver, tight end, right tackle, you also have needs at defensive line, linebacker, and cornerback. Apologies. I just don't think those latter 3 are worth taking as high as they are at 5. Could we see them reach on a Brock Bowers? I doubt it. It's possible, not likely. Wide receiver, right tackle definitely being the main stakes, though, that they need to address now.
Nate, Elijah, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on what the Chargers are going to do.
I think you look at Jim Harbaugh when he won at Michigan. It's with a huge offensive line running the ball. You have to protect Justin Herbert, and I think that's where Joe Alt or J.C. Latham would be the perfect pick. Or maybe they look at Brock Bowers. He's the only first-round tight end. You're not going to get someone like him, and like obviously a quarterback's best friend, security blanket's a good tight end, and Bowers could fill that void as well. But I think they go offensive line. Try to protect Herbert and build a good running game so he doesn't try and be Superman every time he plays the Chiefs or anyone else in the AFC.
I would like to point out real quick, this is the farthest down a team has let the clock run thus far.
What are we at right now?
3 minutes and 10
I see 3
seconds.
minutes.
We're at 3 minutes?
I think they're negotiating right now. I think that's what they're doing. They're either negotiating or looking at which
Apparently
Chargers are
picking. Chargers are picking.
Yeah, no, just come in from Schefter. They are going to be staying here at number 5. So
There goes my mock
There
draft.
goes mine.
There
There's
goes
no
mine,
way. Are they
darn.
really?
It's Roma Dunze, baby. Here it comes.
I like it.
The haters and doubters.
I like it a lot.
I hate Romo Dunze.
Okay, wait, Nate.
It just doesn't feel like a
Would
Jim
you
Harbaugh pick.
prefer Malik Neighbors or Romo Dunze to the Giants?
Oh man, LSU receiver Odell Beckham Jr. That was like one of the happiest points of when I was a Giants fan. Seeing him take a slant 80 yards, and we ruined that by sticking with Eli too long. Anyways, I would take Neighbors because of his explosiveness. I think he just adds an element to their offense that they haven't had. I wouldn't be upset if they took Odunze. He's more of seems like he's a better high character guy. Like I said, contested catches, but I would take Neighbors just for his explosive ability. And
So you want the Chargers to take Odunze?
sure.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I mean, I'm
Doesn't
cool with
really
either
matter.
one.
Elijah,
but
you are a Chiefs fan. This is your division rival.
I would love
What do
to
you
see
want to
wide
happen here?
receivers. Yeah.
Johnny Wilson?
Obviously, I want them to take the worst wide receiver there is, so we can have them. But in my mock draft, I had them taking J.J. McCarthy, so that kind of ruined my mock
wow.
draft.
That is.
No.
That would be
Sorry.
You had the
trading
Vikings.
Yeah,
some
I was gonna
someone traded.
say,
Yeah,
okay.
we had JJ going here. Yeah,
That was going to be a
I
shock.
had the Vikings trading up to 5, so I think they take the best wide receiver, which would be Roma Dunze, in my opinion.
I
We'll
would
see.
just be shocked and awed right now if the Vikings traded up for another first to not get a QB if McCarthy goes 6.
That's gonna be.
The pick is in.
The pick is We're
Wow.
just seeing it now.
What if it is Talise Fuanga
It's
or
not.
J.C. Latham?
It's not Fuanga. It is Roma Dunze.
Or Joe Alt.
I do not see offensive tackle here.
It could
I
be
just
Joe
don't.
Alt.
Here's the
It
thing,
could
like
be
wide
Joe
receiver
Alt.
has so much depth. Like you're not gonna get a tackle like.
The pick has been announced.
like-
It is Joe Alt. It is Joe
Yep,
Alt. They
see?
did go offensive line.
I mean,
Great call, Nick Cohen.
Thank you.
I'm
Am I
not
redeeming myself
surprised
yet?
That it was offensive
No.
line. My only
He's
surprise
back.
is Joe Alt is a left tackle.
I
they're
mean,
saying maybe he can play
he
right
could
tackle.
play right tackle, I
But
think.
he's not a guaranteed right tackle.
I mean, maybe that's where they would have taken Latham, but I think Alt. You look at his ability, and he came from Notre Dame. That's like one of the best schools at producing offensive linemen.
well, and
Like, that
now
could be-
I'm kind of
I don't
wondering.
think-
So we know that Harbaugh's going to want to get Blake Corum. Is he going to reach and maybe even take him in the second round?
I
Because I think he's
third.
a
second.
fourth round guy.
He's gonna take Roman Wilson in the second,
He's
then
gonna,
take.
he's
Corum
gonna
in the third.
get all of his Michigan
about Mike
boys,
Sanderson?
line 'em up one by one.
I don't think he'll have a shot at him.
Yeah.
But Joe Alt is, I believe I mentioned this earlier, he's the son of NFL legend John Alt. So, great O-line play in his blood. Now, this is a guy, I would say personally, this is a super high floor, but not as high as ceiling guy as a guy like Fuanga or Fashanu out of Penn State, I would say in my personal opinion. Elijah, what do you think of this pick for the Chargers? Do you like it?
Yeah, I was not expecting it. I thought because they cleared their wide receiver room that they would take a wide receiver, but I like it. Protect Herbert, since he's who the whole organization revolves around.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with protecting Justin Herbert. And yeah, I mean, anytime you can invest in your quarterback, that's the right pick. And plus, it's a new regime. You can look at higher upside, maybe like lower floor. But when you're trying to start on the right foot, a safer pick is probably the right way to go. And Alt's probably the safest pick among the offensive linemen in this draft.
All right, and I will say this: in recent weeks, both the Patriots and Vikings reached out to the Chargers to see if they had any interest in trading for Justin Herbert. Apparently, per Adam Schefter, and we see how that turned out.
I will say,
resounding
I want
no.
to make it known, a month and a half ago, I said that Justin Herbert could be sent to the Vikings. I want to make that known that I had thought about that early.
We all
You did,
say
you did.
we all say a lot of things
We all do say a lot of
that
things,
are
but
dumb,
it's up here in the dog.
and some people say more than others.
That would be the worst way to start off your new era. Like, all right, we're here. We have a top 5 quarterback, and we're trading him for J.J. McCarthy. That would be. All 5 Charger fans would revolt.
All 5 is crazy.
They got
Might
their
be
Well,
generous.
Doug
right
is one
now
of them. Doug is one of them.
with Joe Alt's dad.
This
but
goes into question,
He looks
though.
like he
Who's
looks like
going at
a
6?
not great.
12.
I was gonna
Ooh,
say
Neighbors
his
and
face
Doomsday
shape looks
McCarthy.
like Frankenstein.
Because they're saying Neighbors was the guy there. You know, they were saying
I don't
New
think
York
they
had an
expected
affinity
McCarthy
for
to fall to them.
Malik Neighbors.
But now let's move on because the Giants are on the clock.
This
Let-
is gonna be a good one.
Very
This is gonna be
interesting.
very,
Tell us
very
about
good
the
one.
Giants and what they need.
So
Everything.
starting off, you can make a case that quarterback is their biggest need, and I want to point this out. Looking back at the Giants' previous draft classes, over the last 3 draft classes, even though they had multiple first-round picks in some of these places, they always draft their biggest need on paper. It just so happens to go that way, that they always do that. We saw Evan Neal and Kayvon Thibodeau go in the first round just 2 years back when everyone thought that wasn't going to be the case, or all these questions around Thibodeau. They needed an edge, so they went out and got their edge, right? They do that every single year. And this year, I think wide receiver is their biggest need by a country mile. They have absolutely terrible wide receivers in right now. But besides that, O-line has been called into question, right? They don't have a solid O-line. I just mentioned Evan Neal. He kind of stinks. They could go get
I
somebody.
know.
Defensive line's
chance,
another
though.
thing. Linebacker and defensive back. So they do have a lot of needs, but namely quarterback and wide receiver, or more specifically wide receiver especially.
Yeah.
you know?
And with Daniel Jones' contract, they can get out of it after next season. And
Yeah.
they didn't draft him. It was more of a 2-year deal, like let's see what he can do after he had a decent season. And then we saw what happened. He also got abused behind an atrocious offensive line.
Yeah.
But
You mentioned,
I would
you
not
mentioned
be.
getting they do technically have a way out with Daniel Jones if they trade him. If they trade him after June
Or if
1st,
they just cut him.
Yeah.
they can't cut him. Cut him's too
Or
expensive.
not this year, but
The
after
dead
next
cap,
year.
even if they do next year, I think the dead cap's higher. Because if they trade him, the dead cap every year, post June 1st, is $11 million.
Yeah.
If he's traded before then it's 30, 20, then 11.
Well,
But
here's-
again, it's just you committed so much money to Daniel Jones last year, and who wants him?
Here's
No.
the biggest problem
No
for
one.
that, though. Real quick, I wanna point
Unemployment
out
will
before
have
we dive
him.
into
I
it.
don't know.
I don't even think it matters where he goes.
If the Giants were to take J.J. McCarthy here, all of a sudden the selling power for Daniel Jones drops immensely because he's now a backup, essentially, right?
No, I think he would start next year.
Well, but I
If
don't
you're
think
gonna
you
take a
can
quarterback,
find a trade
The pick
package.
is in.
Yeah, regardless.
Yes, the pick is
right?
in, but
The pick is in.
who wants
I'm-
to pay Daniel Jones
I'm
$40 million?
nearly positive
Not
Malik
it's going
Neighbors.
to be
That-
wide
Malik
receiver.
Neighbors.
It's Malik Neighbors.
It's Malik Neighbors.
It's Malik
has been
Neighbors.
announced as the pick. I've only gotten one pick wrong so far.
I have 2, unfortunately.
I have not.
Unless the Vikings still get
Neighbors
David
They clearly-
McCarthy,
yeah,
then, you know,
it
at
is
least I'm
officially
Yeah,
putting
true.
it
Malik
away.
Neighbors out of LSU. Maybe. So we're getting maybe next Odell Beckham, Nate? Any thoughts on
Yeah.
this?
I mean, you look at how explosive he is. I mean, he could take a slant to the house. He can run right by you. He can do everything. A lot of teams had him as their number 1 receiver over Marvin Harrison Jr. because of his upside and just explosive ability. And that's really what they're missing. And if they can keep Daniel Jones upright, he wasn't bad the year before. You know, they invested in offensive line. They signed John Runyon, Jermaine Ellimore, who are going to boost the offensive line. So, I mean, it's really just going to come down to Daniel Jones. And if he doesn't play well, they'll find another quarterback, or they have
And
Drew Lock.
I wanted to make this pro comp and ask you about it, Nate Marrow, since you are such a big Baloo fan here, you know.
Yeah.
I think his pro comp is going to be Odell Beckham Jr. Just
Yeah.
because of his ability to create space vertically down the field and vertically through the air. His vertical is crazy. His play speed is ridiculous.
Speed.
And he has an ability to make spectacular catches. So, you know, Malik Neighbors is a guy that I fully trust in as a wide receiver one of this organization going forward. And would you do the same with Daniel Jones on their roster?
And also part of it's do you want the 4th best quarterback who may or may not work, or do you want the number 1 wide receiver who can maybe he's quarterback proof, just get the ball in his hands and he finds a way to make a big play. So I mean, I'm completely on board with this pick. It seemed that they were reportedly a Drake May or bust team, and obviously they didn't panic oh my God, our quarterback's not there. Let's just take the next guy. You know,
Now, one other thing I want to ask, you know, it's not something that pertains to tonight, but this is open floor. Do the Giants look to take another receiver today that they can start?
I don't know.
'Cause they still don't have a good
what,
room.
they only have 6 picks. I think you probably look at the defense. They need a second corner opposite Deontay Banks.
Yep.
They could use another safety because they lost Xavier McKinney. They could use another running back because Saquon Barkley's gone. You know, so I wouldn't. Maybe late in the draft, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't take one early.
I was going to say, for running back, Devin Singletary didn't necessarily earn his stripes in Houston, but he's
solid,
right?
He can get you 4 yards a carry.
Yeah, I definitely think they try to adopt a dual running back system back there.
Yeah.
All right, guys, Tennessee is now officially on the clock.
Tell
us what Tennessee needs.
So Tennessee only needs, it sounds crazy because just last year they were piss poor awful, but this year they only have 4 major needs, and those are going to be wide receiver, offensive tackle, specifically offensive tackle, edge rusher, and defensive back, right? Those are going to be the 4 main ones. There are, a few more scattered around there, but namely those 4. And wide receiver, you may say, well, Calvin Ridley just got the bag with him. DeAndre Hopkins is still there. Why would you go get one? Treylon Burks, who they just drafted a couple years back from Arkansas, why would they need a wide receiver? Well, it's simply because DeAndre Hopkins is getting up there in age. Right, Calvin Ridley, I don't know if you trust as a true wide receiver.
He's not
I know
one.
they paid him like one, but and then Treylon Burks, he's had his fair share of decent plays, but he hasn't shaped up the way they wanted a first-round receiver to shape up. Offensive tackle, I think, is the name of the game here, but with Joe Alt gone and they have a desperate need at left O tackle, I think we're looking at either Olu Fashanu here or maybe they make a few calls.
Well,
see if Minnesota wants to trade up.
I mean,
or Denver.
They
Vegas,
listed defensive back as an option.
Yeah.
They just got L'Jarius Sneed. They signed Chidobe
L'Jarius Sneed.
No, that's not how it's pronounced. So I'm not exactly sure about defensive back being a need because they also have Caleb Farley. He could be a quarterback 4, 3, whatever. That's not what we're drafting at the 7th overall pick.
Oh, not at the 7th. No, I'm talking about broad
Well, that's
strokes
what they have.
all
So
day.
I think it has to be edge rusher, in which.
You think
I'm not done. No, I'm not done. I'm not done. Okay, everyone take a breath. Could be edge rusher, in which it could be Dallas Turner. I would be happy with that if I was a Titans fan. But it probably will be offensive lineman. And Fuaga is not a bad pick at 7.
I agree with Fuaga here at 7.
I don't think Fashanu.
I also don't think they really have much of an option to trade down right now. I know Ty mentioned it with the Vikings.
Because who's trading up to jump the Falcons?
I don't think anybody's jumping for any sort of reason, so I don't really think they would get
So,
any extra for it.
I want to mention 2 things real quick. The first of which, my dad's a chiropractor. I'm going to have to go get adjusted about how bad my neck just snapped looking over at Nick Cohen from that edge rusher comment. Secondly, the Titans desperately need left tackle. Fuaga is most definitely a guard, right? If he comes in and you want him to play in that offense.
How comfortable?
I think he's a right tackle in any other offense, but I don't think the Titans have that desperate of a need at right tackle. And then, on top of that, I've seen people even mock, Fashanu to 5 to the Chargers.
No.
Which I
people
don't
don't
like,
know ball.
but I wouldn't be upset if they took him here. And to speak on the trade aspect, it's not that people want to jump the Falcons, people want to jump the Bears or the Jets. That's not why they would jump those teams. It's would another team want to trade up with them? We've heard rumors that Atlanta's willing to trade down if Odunze slips there. The Bears are willing to trade down because they only have 4 picks in this draft, as we mentioned earlier. So is another team willing to trade up? That's the biggest question that the Titans have to answer right now. Because if they're certain another team is willing to trade up, right, I'm blanking a little bit, but they'd have to draft now. They'd have to look at Fashanu now. Is another team coming up for O tackle? Schefter mentioned a while back that a lot of teams are clamoring to trade up for O tackle this year. That's going to be one of the big stories of the draft is how many teams trade up for tackle. So do they pick one now? And also, why do you think it's Fuaga? I'm curious.
He's the best.
He's
at right tackle.
I think his potential is sky high in terms of his just raw talent ability. He's an absolute mauler in the run game, and that's what's been Tennessee's identity.
You had him going before all.
I had him being the first tackle off the board. And that
shocking.
That didn't end up happening, sadly. But Nate and Elijah, I want to throw it to you 2 here.
It's J.C. Latham.
The pick is in. It is J.C. Latham.
I want
to hear your guys' reaction.
Well, you look at it. I think with Bill Callahan, offensive line coach, one of the best in the game. When he was in Cleveland, they drafted Tristan Wirfs, and they moved him from right tackle to left tackle, and they trusted his ability to be developed and his for all of his skills to just transfer over to left tackle. And this isn't surprising. I mean, Latham is a wall at right tackle. Still needs to be a little bit refined, but when you have an offensive lineman coach the caliber of Callahan, you bet on the offensive lineman with the highest upside, and you develop him.
Elijah, any thoughts you'd like to add about the pick for J.C. Latham?
I mean, I had them taking Joe Alt, and then obviously he's gone. So yeah, taking J.C. Latham would be.
Was he your next best offensive tackle on the board?
Yeah.
That's fair. And I think that Tennessee is just such like an Alabama team because it's the closest. Alabama's the closest big school to them. You know, because Alabama doesn't have an NFL.
Can't go wrong with Bama guys.
You can't. And so
what
I
was
think
that, that John Gruden
you
quote or whatever
Mac
a
Jones.
handful of years ago when he ended up drafting? Who did he draft with the Raiders?
Alex Leatherwood?
Yeah.
Oh,
so it
stud.
didn't end up turning out to be great wisdom
Yeah,
for
that was
specific
Gruden
pick.
and Mike Mayock.
Yeah, but they was like, oh,
Yikes.
somebody's blocking for these guys at
Right.
Alabama. Hey, they're all really good. Somebody's blocking for them. So why
Nick
not have them?
Saban's giving him something, you know.
There's
to figure it
there's
out.
one immediate problem with J.C. Latham, and that's that in pass blocking, he can drop anchor like hell and sit there and hold someone up, right? He has an incredible grip strength.
He
but
gets his hands on
in
you, you're
the
done.
run block, he lacks physicality. He's not going to shove an edge rusher forward and knock him off his game. And most edge rushers in today's day and age are quick enough to get around. So is he going to be able to drop anchor like that, like he
Yeah.
likes to?
And it's
right?
also, and sometimes you could look at Evan Neal is like the last like prominent offensive tackle to be taken from
Yeah.
Alabama. Is that kind of like, well, was he like protected or all that stuff? Like, if Bill Callahan's giving his endorsement for an offensive lineman, I would bet on him panning out though.
Latham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Latham.
I'm not upset with it. I still saw Latham as a top 15 pick. I know there were some experts saying he was slipping past 20, which I couldn't believe. I thought was ridiculous. But, you know, it's just up here I think is a little high. I think he was my O-tackle 4 in this class, right tackle 2 behind Fuanga. But now this opens up the door for a lot of teams to go take, you know, right tackle here. And the biggest question of the day now is there are so many teams with needs at right tackle, namely Vegas, I'm blanking, Pittsburgh,
New Orleans.
Cincinnati. So many teams with needs at right tackle. So now what do you do? Because behind Fuanga is Amarius Mims, who each season in the last 2 years had 297 snaps and 254 snaps, I believe,
not a lot
respectively.
of
against the
tape
years.
on him.
But right tackle market's starting to dwindle down. So are we going to see teams trade up now? Because Atlanta's expressed that they are open to trading down. Chicago's expressed it.
I wonder if this is where the Vikings trade up to get J.J. McCarthy.
They
I mean,
could.
that's the elephant in the room right now. Like, what's going to happen with McCarthy? I'd be shocked he makes out of the top 10 for teams that need quarterbacks, and he's getting
I'm
close.
thinking the same.
He's getting close where the Vikings, the Raiders, the Broncos, they all need quarterbacks, and he's getting within range where it's going to be pretty competitive with, you know, like the the Raiders and Broncos will actually have a shot, like trade compensation wise. You know?
All right, before we continue, we definitely also have to move to the Falcons pick that's coming up now.
Oh, that's very true. They have been on the clock for a while. And this is a pick I think is awesome. So I want to throw it to y'all first. I know a lot of people have Dallas Turner.
This I think is where the first defensive player goes off the board. I believe it will be edge rusher, and I think it's Dallas Turner. Though I could also see Laiatu Latu.
That's who I have.
That
Really?
Patrick, that's who you have?
Yeah.
Well,
your 10,
well,
yeah,
I
you-
mean, you just had J.C. Latham to the Titans, so
I'm doing pretty good
You're doing
outside
pretty
of my
good.
swap of the Vikings and the Chargers.
Right.
I'm doing
This
fairly,
is-
fairly okay.
I mean,
I'm like-
I want to stick
I
with
also
Dallas
think Latham
Turner.
had enough. I think he had enough enough opponents and enough tape that I saw from him that I thought he was fine. I mean, maybe he was a reach at 7, but I just figured. I mean, if the Titans needed an offensive tackle, why didn't
I still
I
only
wasn't
have
all
like
that
4
against
picks correct,
J.C. Latham.
so it's kind of
well,
over
and
for your boy
well,
here.
and it also could be Byron Murphy here. So I
Out of
wouldn't
Texas?
hate. Yeah, I wouldn't
I do
hate
like that
Lot
pick
too.
also.
So
But I'm not gonna
I
get too
just think
crazy.
it's,
This
I just
has
think
to
it's
be Turner.
definitely
I-
time for the
I-
Falcons to go first round defensive talent.
so
So Ty, I want you to tell us right now about what we expect the Falcons to need overall in this draft and what we should expect.
So they only have 3 needs, 2 of which are very, very important in the first round. Those 2 being defensive line, namely defensive end, and edge rusher. Besides that, they have a need at cornerback. It's not, warranting a first-round selection, but it's still up there in value. I want to bring to light something about this Dallas Turner Byron Murphy kind of contest going on for who goes at 8. And that's that last year, we've been mentioning this for the last few days, me and Nick Cohen here, but last year, Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree were on the outsides in Atlanta, right? And Arnold Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter, who was a rotational piece last year, combined for 9 sacks with Campbell and Dupree, whereas the defensive line together in the interior, 7 players combined for 6.5 sacks. That is abysmal on the defensive line. At edge rusher, I think Carter warrants a starting job for a year. He's only making $4.5 million per year, right? They just brought in James Smith-Williams, who's a rotational piece. I'm not saying he's a starter, but he can add that little bit of value. Maybe Lorenzo Carter needs to stay healthy and active for a full year, given that he hasn't really had his time in the limelight. And on the opposite side, Ebiketie, with Dupree opposite him, still put up 6 sacks on his lonesome, right? Ebiketie, I think, has also deserved a starting job, but the defensive ends have been atrocious. Taquan Graham and Grady Jarrett combined for 2.5 sacks last year.
All right,
That's
and
horrible.
Ty, before we continue on discussing Atlanta, I want to introduce our guests for the next
That's
couple
right.
picks.
I apologize.
Andrew Grigg and Noah Kemper. And one little quick thing before we talk, I do want to make an announcement. We had auditions for our new hosting positions that were open, and our first group of hosts are officially all on air at one point. Ladies and gentlemen, your new host for HTF Bets, your main host, Nick Cohen, and myself and Andrew will be the side hosts.
Yeah.
Andrew Gray.
To Andrew, to you, Nick.
Thank
I
you
guess
very
me.
much. Yes,
Shout out
congrats
me.
to you.
The pick is in now for Atlanta.
Dallas Turner.
So,
Byron Murphy?
Oh my God, bro! You are so gullible.
Are you joking?
it's Michael Penix.
No!
What?
No!
Michael Penix. Michael Penix. What?
Bro, Kirk O'Chains.
You're fucking with me.
Oh!
No, you're no way.
Can't have
Is it actually?
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. That can't
No
be right.
way.
That can't be right.
I-
That can't be
Let me
right.
see pictures.
So,
How gullible I am back in studio.
No, that can't be right.
Fucking
That can't be right.
What?
What?
That's
No
wrong.
way.
I don't.
It's gotta be wrong.
Yo,
Someone show me
Wow.
something.
Oh,
Someone
it
show
is
me.
Jordan Schultz.
I want to
Schultz,
see
Adam
something.
Schefter. Oh my God.
I want
what?
proof. I want writing.
I am so glad I came on for this bet.
What is happening?
Shout out Andrew. It's 'cause
Why
of
was
you,
Kirk
you know?
Cousins
and Noah.
signed? Why? What?
Isn't there a quarterback like that every offseason?
Why?
He's
That
getting
gets a
paid.
bag.
Ty Patton is pacing around the set.
What was the point of this?
Wait. It was always Michael Penix, bro. Getting a year to learn under Kirk O'Chains, bro. He's gonna be.
What you have
Wait,
Kirk?
hold on.
They paid him all that money to
Guys.
do what?
Let's breathe for a second.
All right,
Oh my
gentlemen,
God.
let's settle down. Let's all.
I want to know,
my
Tyler, how do
God.
you feel as a Vikings fan? You just let go of Kirk Cousins, and now his successor has just been drafted. I see your hands shaking.
Okay.
You know,
It's shocking. How do you feel?
listen, Kirk, you rat. You get what you deserve. You tampered.
What did you?
Whoa. There's no Kirk slander. What?
You loser. You.
No.
Oh my God.
No.
Wow, I can't believe. I
I'm
actually
in
can't believe this.
shock.
So
What,
they must
dude?
have been just absolutely confident that nothing was going to happen above them. They must have
Yeah.
known in a sense that no team was going to try to trade up for Penix. They were happy with their guy and they were just going to let him fall at 8.
You're paying Kirk
what is
Cousins
going on,
$80
guys?
million guaranteed.
That's the first stock of the
definitely,
draft.
we will
That's-
definitely
You
address
think?
that.
And let's one step further. Maybe it's saying, all right, maybe we're saying we're drafting Penix as the backup. You know, he's going to learn under Kirk. Penix is 24 years old. He's the second oldest quarterback in this draft, the third oldest first-round quarterback ever. So, Andrew, I want to and Noah, Andrew, I want to start with you. Just can you try and make sense of what's happening here?
I don't think you can.
So I think this makes complete sense, bro. You're pairing a great quarterback like Michael Penix with a great receiving core, Drake London.
Great receiving core
Dude, it's
is
gonna,
You
it's
insane.
stop
gonna be
there.
awesome.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
No. Watch this, right? You give him 1 year to learn under Kirk O'Chains. He's going to learn how to be a professional quarterback. Everybody's going to love him. And the city of Atlanta just got a great one.
I would like to point out
I
really
like this
quickly
list.
that
This is a
Noah
great
Kemper sitting right here has a Steelers Juju Smith.
Whoa. This is clearly Chris Blair out of Alcorn State,
the
number
Falcons
19
logo.
for the Atlanta Falcons. This is clearly
Shout out Noah
Chris Blair.
Kemper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Dedication.
The Kyle Pitts,
We had to make a mention.
Michael Penix duo is going to be crazy.
The thing is, though,
Oh
I don't
my
hate
God.
Kyle
the
Pitts
pick.
has a real quarterback
Like,
now.
before Kirk was drafted, I gave the Falcons Penix in some mock drafts. Like, I don't hate it. But then you do that to Kirk.
Yeah, 100 million guaranteed. I will tell you what, man. Arthur Smith has just.
Well, he's not. Well, it's
He's not even there
it's
anymore.
not even him anymore.
Oh.
Raheem Morris.
Raheem Morris,
Oh my
Bro.
God.
the general manager.
Raheem
You know
Morris
what the
is a
craziest
good
thing in the
coach,
world
I
is?
thought.
I am in
Wait,
shambles.
wait.
This pick is the craziest thing.
Wait, we need to see it in person. It's
I
about
need
to show up on the
we're-
screen.
yeah, our broadcast is a bit delayed that we have here in studio for all of you. Holy Christ, dude!
Look at how
Dude.
swag.
All right, I
Wait,
want
wait,
to.
wait,
If you're Kirk, I want to. This is
Tell
open
me
to
that
anyone.
doesn't look like a
All
franchise
right,
QB right there.
guys. I want to rein it in real quick. If this is open to anyone to answer. If you're Kirk Cousins, what are you thinking right now?
Oh, Alex Smith, bro. Dude, it's literally the exact equivalent.
They just paid him.
Dude,
They just
the
paid
Falcons
him.
will be the Kansas City Chiefs in 5 years.
No.
Please don't.
They just paid Kirk Cousins all this money. And let's not look at the needs. No, this is a bullshit pick. Let's not look at the receiver.
over.
Maybe a weapon
It's
we can
over.
give
I'm not
him.
using
No, let's not look at an edge rusher. No, no Dallas Turner, no weapon. Great receiving core. You have one good receiver.
No, Kemper. Let me make a point
And
right
ladies
here.
and
Let me
gentlemen,
make a point
Noah
right here.
Kemper is not even a Falcons fan, and look at how upset
Let me
he
make a
is.
point right here. For the last
Thank God I'm
6 years, I have been clamoring, please go get an edge rusher. You desperately need an edge rusher.
Yes.
5 of the last 6 years, they took offense.
I need a drink.
You're right.
None of those 6 years they took an edge rusher.
You're
right?
100%
Let's just
right.
think about this. The last 3 years before this one, this makes 4 now, times where they've needed an edge rusher over anything else, and they passed for
That's
offensive
true.
skill positions. This is the 4th year in a row that they've needed edge and passed for offensive skill.
That's
I
true.
don't understand how you pay Kirk $180 million for 4 years and then get a quarterback who you only have under roster for a 5th-year option. It's ridiculous. I think it's a horrible pick. You get the Rams head coach, the Rams defensive coordinator, 2 guys that know the absolute level of power and speed on defense, and then you pass for a quarterback.
All right,
I don't
guys.
understand it.
The NFL draft is continuing. Much to our shock and dismay, the Bears are back on the clock. Remember
And their
those
pick
guys?
is already
Wow.
in.
Wild. We mentioned their needs earlier in the draft. Maddie Glass is back with us. We'll
Hello.
see her in a moment.
Oh
and
my
new
goodness.
Chicago Bear fan, Noah Kemper. If
Noah
you look at
Kemper.
his jersey.
Billy, I have to pick.
Oh, the pick is in?
It's Washington wide receiver Roma Dunze.
I got that. I got that.
said that too.
The
I got
dream
that.
has been assembled. They
I like
came here
that.
on the plane. They knew the moment it happened.
Excellent pick. And you know this, like,
yeah.
the Bears have upgraded at wide receiver, trading for Keenan Allen. DJ Moore's still there, but Keenan Allen's getting old. You know, he might be a little washed soon. Roma Dunze's going to come right in there and just be excellent. And I'm very excited. It's a great night.
It's a great night to be a
That's
Bears
a great
fan.
pick.
Bear down, Chicago Bears.
Boo. I've already deduced the reasoning behind this pick. Let me make it real brief and real concise.
You got it.
Go for it.
Keenan Allen and DJ Moore are 2 of the best receivers in the NFL at the moment. At least top 10 you can make the argument for, right? So you get Roma Dunze. You got a year with him learning. He's already a deep ball guy. I mentioned earlier, 75% of contested catches he came down with last year. You let him learn under Keenan Allen, who's a fade ball guy in the end zone, very, very good at exactly what Odunze is good at. Let him hone that skill. Then put him with DJ Moore, who for another year, let him learn under a very, very good vertical downfield kind of receiver. Coming out of that, after DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are long gone when the receiver market resets, Roma Dunze, I think, is going to be up there in the conversation for top 15 receivers in the league, maybe top
I
10.
hope.
I
That
agree.
would be
I
crazy.
think this is a phenomenal pick if you're a Bears fan. You have to be so. Maddie Glass, how excited are you on a scale of 1
I'm
to 10?
honestly so excited. Like, I'm actually looking forward to watching the Bears for, like,
All right, guys. Now we are
This is
we are
phenomenal.
moving on.
This
These
is
New York
phenomenal.
Jets are on the clock. I want to hear the needs for this team and what we can expect. You know, Aaron Rodgers, he's still there. He's coming off an Achilles tear. So what can we expect from the Jets?
So the Jets have needs at wide receiver, offensive tackle, D-line, and safety. Now, the situation we're in poses a very interesting question, right? Very interesting. And that's that originally we thought, hey, maybe they're only drafting offensive tackle depth. This year they go out and they get Morgan Moses, who's got a year left under contract, Tyron Smith, who's got a year left under contract. They bring in and beef up the offensive line with lots of one-year deals. This year, they could take one of those offensive tackles, maybe for depth, maybe for later.
Minnesota is now on
space
the
and
clock.
capital.
They have just traded with the New York Jets.
One pick.
I mean,
just got here.
Michael Penix just went 8, dude.
Oh, Lord, J.J. McCarthy.
No, I'm
Four-
sorry.
Oh my,
I'm sorry, but
5
no.
quarterbacks in the top 10.
no.
5
That's
quarterbacks
crazy.
in the
JJ
top
could go
10.
to the Jets. That's crazy.
How-
No, I don't
Could
think
have. Could have.
absolutely-
It could have, but
Well, I just think
If
maybe
you
something
bet
else
on
in front
Hard
of
that's
it.
what
Rock,
I'm
I
looking
think
at.
The Bears went off the board.
This is absolute insanity.
Yeah.
on Hard
What-
Rock,
what
the
did the Vikings
over-under
give
was
up?
4.5.
So yes,
No idea.
Oh, you know, I'm willing to bet the Jets GM went in there, you know, Douglas, and said, look, you know, Vikings, I'm talking to the Broncos. I'm talking to the Raiders. I'm going to sell this pick right now. How badly do you want it?
Yeah.
And then force them to trade up one spot.
Yeah.
Which,
all right, joining us now, back at the guest, we have a lot of chaos going on. I'm sorry. Matthew Bracker, welcome. And we have another announcement time. Matthew Bracker, as Maddie Glass is graduating, will no longer be the host of Nighttime. So introducing Patrick's new co-host on Nighttime, Matthew Bracker, congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to give you that quick shout out.
I'm really excited. I can't replace the queen, but I'm excited.
But yes, Minnesota on the clock now. They have moved up. I don't believe we have the details yet for the trade and what Minnesota had to give up to move up to 10.
Oh, absolutely. Who do you think they're going to pick?
This has to be J.J. McCarthy. If I'm Minnesota and I'm Quessy, I'm in the draft room. I just saw Michael Penix go at 8. I've hit the panic button.
Quarterback. Who did they stop? Who did they hold off from trading up?
Broncos?
Yeah, what about Bo Nix? What about
Bo Nix? Say Bo Nix.
Please!
This has to be. I'm locking in J.J. McCarthy right now.
Jump the Broncos.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're scared.
Jumped Vikings.
You're Minnesota. You had Penix just threw everyone's board.
I haven't adjusted
Gone.
from that.
It's crazy.
I had him as a top 4 quarterback easily.
Yeah,
I thought he could have slipped.
But like, come on.
Late first.
But I want to touch on Minnesota's needs real quick, boys.
No one was getting
as they are now on the clock, and we're still waiting for the pick to be put in. Obviously, quarterback is the big position here. Sam Darnold is our current starting guy. I think Nick Mullen is still on the roster.
You're fine then.
Yay.
I love Sam Darnold.
And then really our other needs are just anywhere on the defense, truly. As a Vikings fan, especially, we lost Daniil Hunter, though we did sign Jonathan Grenard in free agency.
And Andrew Van Ginkel.
I did like that signing.
I didn't.
So Matthew and Noah, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Minnesota and what we think can happen here. Either at this pick and maybe later down the line if they still have that pick. Do we have the details yet for that trade? People in the studio?
That's what I'm waiting to hear. I
don't know. Let me ask a question about Minnesota.
Okay, so Matthew, Noah, I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be JJ. I think drafting Penix at the pick before, like, the whole draft is on its head. Because I knew, like, one of those, the 3-team run, like Vikings, Broncos, Raiders, one of them was going to make a move. I honestly could see, like, top 5. Or top, 7 moving in there. So I think anything can happen. I don't know what. I will say, I'm surprised the Jets didn't take Brock Bowers.
Well, they only traded down one spot.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
They
can still get Bowers there. Or a tackle if they want to, because Fuanga's still there.
All right, I have just gotten the details in for the trade. Minnesota traded a third. They traded 11, 129, and one other pick. They did not trade 23. They still have their second first-round pick.
I'm
not surprised.
I mean, honestly,
it's only one.
Honestly, I think it's a good trade because the
Vikings got 203 from the Jets, and the pick has been announced. It is J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan.
Smart.
Broncos
How do you feel?
Like late 20s now.
I like J.J. here. Getting J.J. here, and you didn't have to give up your other first for him. Oh my God, this is great. I'm loving this. He's 20 years old. He's going to be throwing to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson.
For 88 yards a game.
Oh, my God. It's going to be – dude, all right. J.J. was not asked to do a lot.
No, wait. Before we go on, let me say something that I said earlier before we came into the show, and y'all can berate me if you want. But with J.J. in Minnesota, put a future bet down on him winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. This is an offense that is so high-powered. I think he could have a better statistical year than Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels.
Okay, honestly,
I think he could.
I mean, he has
Justin Jefferson.
It's not that far-fetched. It's not that far-fetched. He's got the weapons are there.
Yeah.
The weapons are there.
But this is something interesting, and I'm pretty sure you already know this, Tyler Brown, right? But this is the first time Kevin O'Connell has been in an offense with a rookie quarterback. This is the first time he's ever had a rookie. He had Manziel in 15, Kirk through 2017 and 19, Goff and Stafford with the Rams, and then once again Kirk with Minnesota. This is the first time he's actually had a rookie under roster. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that
that's going to play out pretty
right.
Yeah.
And then you get him with Justin Jefferson. The biggest question now, though, is J.J. McCarthy enough to keep Jettas under contract?
Well, I mean, they have to be pass heavy.
Oh my God!
If you look at the team, they have to be pass heavy. And J.J. McCarthy's not used to that. He's used to Blake Corum handing it off constantly.
I will say, J.J. does have a deep ball.
He has a beautiful touch to his ball.
He does have a deep
Beautiful
ball.
touch.
He just doesn't use it a lot because he
hasn't need to.
Michigan was a very run-heavy offense. So
it's going to be very interesting to see how he's got to throw the ball more times a game. How that's gonna
I honestly thought he was going to go somewhere he could sit for a year.
Yeah, I
really did. I thought Vikings were going to get a.
He can here. If you choose to put him behind Sam Darnold, it's not smart. But look, J.J. McCarthy is the most technical quarterback in this class. His foot movement, his eye movement, his ball placement is all very by the book. And Sam Darnold, I'm not going to say is that quarterback that's real by the book, but if you let JJ sit and watch the receivers of Jettas, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Brandon Powell, all these guys, right? You can give him an idea of what he's throwing to, where he needs to throw it. He's got that beautiful touch and deep ball, like you mentioned, so he can make it happen.
I think you make so many great points. I know you have something to say about the
I have many
extension,
things.
but I just wanted to say if J.J. McCarthy sits longer than 5 games, I will be actually floored. He won't sit longer than that, and I don't think he would sit longer than like week 3. I actually think he could be the starter day one.
I want to give a quick recap of the trade. Again, so Minnesota traded up to 10. They got 10 and 203 from the Jets. The Vikings sent 11, a 4th, and a 5th rounder. Again, keeping that 23rd overall pick. But J.J. McCarthy, I think, can be outstanding
That's
here
a pretty
at
cheap
Minnesota.
He's
not getting asked to do a lot. I think he's year 1 again because he has so like he did at Michigan. You know, he had obviously his elite run game, and Minnesota maybe we don't have that right now. We have Aaron Jones, which I do like, but again he's still improving. But again, he was throwing to guys like Roman Wilson. Off platform. He can do those types of throws. We saw it in the Alabama game. We saw it in the Michigan State game. That one was a big one. But again, so just J.J. McCarthy, I think this is the perfect situation for any of these rookie quarterbacks. Is coming here to Minnesota.
Well, Chicago arguably could have been better.
Not a
Chicago
bad
arguably
I'm sorry,
better.
those
are top
receiver in the league.
They have
Minnesota.
Minnesota
They got 3 really good ones.
Okay, but the Jets are on the clock as they did swap with Minnesota. So, and we got into the needs earlier. So I want to throw it to you guys at the couch still, Matthew and Noah. I want to hear your thoughts on what this Jets pick could be.
Noah, our biggest Jets fan.
Oh, yeah. Show off the chosen.
Obviously, this is Chosen Anderson.
The GOAT. His fandom has changed so rapidly over the course of 20 minutes.
Oh, and it's not the last
Oh,
one.
wait. Chosen Anderson.
Have we been
Chosen.
saying Chosen Anderson all night? Is it
Well,
Robbie?
no, it was Robbie Anderson.
It's Robbie Chosen.
It's Robbie Chosen.
Oh,
Yeah,
We
he
should
switched to
know.
Chosen
We're
Anderson.
Dolphins
Now it's Robbie
fans.
Chosen.
apologies
Now
to
it's
Robbie Chosen.
My apologies, Chosen.
But I still think they
Chosen
draft. I still think they draft Bowers. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to want a new weapon to play with, like coming back to the team, or honestly, like linemen. You know, we got to get someone to protect him. I mean,
Odunze still is on the board here.
No, Odunze went to Chicago.
Or no, I lied. Not Odunze. What am I? I'm tripping.
Here's the thing with Bowers that I like so much with Brock is Bowers played a lot of time in the slot.
Yes.
Right? He played a lot of time in the slot with his time in Georgia. He's a thin guy with a big vertical.
Yeah.
And he's tough on the line, too. So the Jets, you know, they've been rumored to take that offensive tackle in the case that Morgan Moses goes down or Tyron Smith goes down in that case, you know. But I think they have a substantial enough depth that they could go take somebody later in the 3rd, maybe the 4th, because they don't have a 2nd, I don't believe. Get an O-tackle there. Get depth there. You don't need a starter. You need depth.
Right.
And Bowers is a guy that, look, I know Rodgers doesn't like throwing to his tight ends very much, right? He doesn't like throwing to rookies neither. But Conklin put up 800 yards last year. Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, that's true.
So with Brock Bowers out at slot, you give him a trio of receivers, right? Of Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and Brock Bowers, with Conklin running routes as well. I think this is their win now year.
Yeah.
They have like 5 or 6 players they brought in this year on 1-year contracts. The only player they brought in not on a 1-year deal was John Simpson, offensive guard from Baltimore, 2-year deal. They're in win-now mode now.
They
like
are.
They have to win now,
Absolutely.
and I think Bowers is the only guy right now that gives them that immediate impact on offense.
I personally, I don't like the Bowers mock here. I feel like this has to be an offensive tackle. Fuaga, I think, could be great. You can move him into the interior. Aaron Rodgers played 4 snaps for the New York Jets. He's 39.
I'm surprised he came back. I'm not going to lie.
I want, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm Robert Saleh, I want to take every precaution possible to protect my quarterback in this. This is your Super Bowl window right here. Maybe this
is
year.
your Super Bowl window.
And that's
I think
it.
that's
It's
year.
one year.
It's literally 1 year.
It's now or never.
Do you
It
think,
is
like,
now or
Rodgers
never.
I don't want to
stack the
you have
deck
enough.
almost.
We got
of
enough
everything you got.
weapons here.
But Brock Bowers can also
Brock-
block.
Brock? Yeah,
But let's think about this for just 1 second. In 2026, right?
Yes.
You have to deal with Garrett Wilson's contract. With
I do want to say
receiver
quick
market.
fun
Mike Williams
fact.
for a year.
A bit of NFL history has been made. This is the first time in NFL history 5 quarterbacks have gone in the first top 10 picks.
And let me make it a case here.
one of the worst
The odds for offensive players in the first round this year was 19.5. The record right now is 19 offensive players in the first round. 10 have gone straight.
Wow.
Not one defensive player. In the top 10.
That is another. We have yet to see a defensive player.
And there are plenty of great ones on the board.
Absolutely.
And
do we think this is it for quarterbacks though in the first?
No.
we don't think Bo Nix
There's
makes
one
it?
left. There's one left, and it's Bo Nix.
to Denver.
There's Bo Nix.
No one thought
It
the Falcons were
probably
going to take
is.
a quarterback.
Denver.
Raiders and Broncos
I think
also
they
need
are.
one. And if the Falcons are going to take it, why can't the Seahawks take a quarterback?
Oh,
Yeah.
No, you
Smith
make
has
a
2 years
great
left.
point.
Sam
Let's
Howell?
take your
Sam
Giants
Howell.
trade
Sam
back.
Howell.
There are so
You
many
make a
teams that
great
could
point.
take
I thought Geno Smith
quarterback.
had one
So
more
why
year.
risk it? I think
I
the
think they're-
Broncos
I
or
think
the
they're
Raiders are going to try and take a quarterback at 12 or 13.
I would only want.
And the pick
Knicks-
has just been announced for the New York Jets. It is Penn State offensive tackle
Olu
Ali
Fashanu.
Fashanu.
Olu Fashanu.
I love
It's
it.
a good
I think
pick.
this is a great pick.
It's a good
I know.
It is a good pick.
I love it.
I don't hate it, but now I
Onyx.
can't believe Bowers is
I think they
slipped.
were in a pretty good spot too. I think they were in a very
11
similar spot as the
straight
Chargers,
offensive
where
players.
they could have went great.
I
tight
think
end.
I think
can't
part of the
believe
reason
this.
we didn't see Bowers right here is he is coming off a pretty bad ankle injury he suffered this past season at Georgia. You know that he missed a lot of time, but protecting Aaron Rodgers, that is what you need to do. You have enough weapons. You have an elite X in Garrett Wilson. Mike Williams has boom potential in any given game. And Tyler Conklin, solid enough tight end. I believe Alan Lazard, he's still a New York Jet too, I
He's
believe.
still a Jet.
So and Rodgers loves his guys, we
Oh,
know.
yeah.
So again, I think you protect Aaron Rodgers. We want to see him finish a game for the Jets. This
Yeah,
year,
that
you know?
would be preferable.
That would be
Finish
that
a
would be
quarter.
good.
Finish
Yes.
a quarter.
So, but yeah, again, Fashanu just an absolute beast out of Penn State.
Yeah,
Just
I think I made his
outstanding.
highlight reel. He puts people to the ground. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. He's got an
So
anchor
many.
foot.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
So now the Denver Broncos on the clock. Matthew,
Yeah.
these are your guys. What do you want to happen here for Denver?
I don't know. I'm not going to be happy with anything. Now that Nix is basically the guy, I think realistically, best case scenario is we do trade into the
No
20s.
Zach Wilson faith?
No.
Not even a little bit?
None. But I think a good, I would like a trade into the 20s. We get capital, which we don't have. I think we do need to draft a quarterback. I can't watch Zach Wilson play a season. I can't. But honestly, edge rusher is a need. You know, I think we could be in line to take a defender. Latu, right?
Latu.
I like his game a lot, but
yeah,
I just want
right now.
Well, also,
Denver
you
has
have
their
Dallas
pick
Turner.
of the defensive.
yeah.
All
True,
the defensive
true.
players.
Dallas Turner.
It's just so yeah. Basically, guys, again, we're still waiting for the pick to be put in for Denver. Before we continue talking about Denver, I just want to hear, when do we think the first defensive player? If it's not now, let's say it is a Bo Nix here for for the Broncos. Let's just say Bo Nix for the sake of argument, and it's not a defensive player. When does it happen?
I think it could. I mean,
I think
if it's
this
not
round.
here, because I think Raiders. They could go corner. I guess. I think they need offensive line.
Yeah.
Especially if Fuaga's still on the
Fuaga's
board.
still on the board. I think Raiders
But
go
so I
for it.
think if Broncos and Raiders do not go it, the Saints who
Take a rush.
do need offensive line, they could also use a Dallas Turner.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be where
I see
have to go.
Saints, Colts, Seahawks.
Yeah,
I see
I'd
Saints
say
and-
anywhere in this
Saints-
range.
Saints and
I do want to
Seahawks,
just
yeah.
give a quick shout out. Welcome back to the set, Ben and Andrew, back for these next few picks. Welcome back. We missed you dearly, guys. Your thoughts on Denver? Andrew, I'll start with you. You're wearing the Ed McCaffrey jersey.
I respect it. It's nice.
I like it. I like it. Another jersey.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's an Ed McCaffrey jersey. My dad is a big Ed McCaffrey fan, so I wanted to rep today. Shout out to the Broncos.
But do you think this is defense here for Denver or
I think
Bo
it
Nix?
I think it has to be. I don't see them taking Bo Nix here. I just like.
It would be
I-
a crazy.
It would also just be a crazy reach
Yeah,
for.
would it be too far-fetched to think that he might just slip?
Yeah, drop out. I think he could just drop out of the first round completely.
Penix went 8.
Yeah,
I don't
I
see how a
think-
quarterback can. If
Sometimes
you're a
that
team
could
that
be-
needs a quarterback,
Yeah.
and this is the only guy left, all right? Denver,
There's
Vegas,
some
Gardner
second-round
Minshew
guys,
really
maybe.
isn't a guy, and then that's really it. And
Spencer
then
Rattler.
Spencer Rattler in the second round. Oh my God.
He wouldn't be awful.
I
Third
think
round.
the Broncos are going to panic pick Nix here because you got Raiders coming up next. And
I
they-
just don't
they
think that's gonna
could-
happen.
They could get a quarterback. I mean, Gardner Minshew, Minshew mania, I love it, but he's not fully that guy. I mean, he did do pretty well in the Colts last season, but to go whole season, I just don't know. It's just.
I think
The Broncos just don't have a good enough supporting cast
No,
for
they
Bo
don't.
Nix to pan out.
Yeah.
Like he's a very situational quarterback. If he went to like the Bears, maybe like with a later pick in the draft, I could maybe see it panning out just because of how many weapons they have.
Yeah.
But on the Broncos, Bo Nix would suck.
Well, it's also worth
quite
mentioning
frankly.
that, just to put some salt in the wound for Matthew, but you guys don't have a second-round pick either.
No.
Which is really just awful, because if you were to go Bo Nix, you can't go receiver early in the second round, and it's a deep receiver
and we don't know if
class.
Cortland Sutton, how long he's going to continue to be a Denver Bronco.
But, like, if you were to have a second-round pick, and you had a receiving core of Mims, Sutton, and then whoever you draft in the second, I think...
Say Johnny Wilson or
Still
Keon
got-
Coleman.
Even a
Still got Tim
McConkey,
Patrick
I don't
over
think
there.
he
Still got Tim
falls.
Patrick.
Who hasn't
But-
played for like 2 years?
Yeah, but I love Tim Patrick. He was
no,
great
The pick is in. It is Bo Nix.
No way.
Bo Nix has been drafted. Oh, my goodness.
The Broncos are just
Matthew
a,
Bagger.
Matthew,
Real quick, Matthew
everyone,
Bagger.
everyone.
Wait, let's just-
I was right, though.
Matthew,
I was right. Yeah.
Let's just say
give
it
us,
now.
let's honest thoughts, honest reactions. How are we feeling? This is a safe place.
Unlimited despair. Unlimited sadness.
That's crazy.
Mr. Unlimited
All right,
left you in the
I'm out. I'm out. No, I don't know. I mean, he's been in college a long, long time, and I just really wanted this I really wanted JJ. I think Sean Payton can unlock his arm, and he has years to grow. And Bo Nix, I mean, his biggest thing is time. He's old, but he's got an arm on him and he has experience. So we'll see. We'll make the most of it, I guess.
All right, gentlemen.
Broncos country.
Let's
Yeah,
cry.
let's cry. We are going to take a quick commercial break. It has been an exciting first 12 picks here with the NFL draft. All the quarterbacks are gone. But stick around. We'll be right back as the madness of NFL draft day continues.
still no defensive players?
No.
Why?
Hello, my name is Tyler Brownrigg. I hope you're enjoying watching whatever show it is that's playing right now here on Hitting the Field Network. And if you're interested in more of our shows or want to know more about the one you're currently watching, don't worry, I'm here to tell you. Our week starts off on Mondays with HTF Bets, hosted by the Bets Boys, Andrew Montana, Ezra Hines, and Giovanni St. Cyrin. You can catch that show live Mondays at noon for all things betting in sports. I highly recommend it. And then you can follow it off on Tuesday with The Combine, hosted by the illustrious Ty Patton. If you're in for a more laid-back, kind of podcast-style show, a lot more casual, that is definitely the show for you. Maybe you'll catch some Ty Squared action with me on there. Wednesdays, every week, you'll be able to catch the vlog, learn about what's going on behind the scenes here in the studio at Hitting the Field, get to know more about us, especially the people behind the camera, who they are, and what we do to make these shows every week. And on Thursdays, live at noon, you can watch the main show with me as your host every Thursday, where we'll be covering all of the major storylines for any sport, be it football, basketball, hockey, soccer, you name it, we'll be talking about it on the main show. And then Friday, you can watch Nighttime with your hosts, Matty Glass and Patrick Previty, for all things college sports, especially with a focus on UCF sports and maybe the ones you haven't heard about so often, like tennis or women's track and field. It can be anything college on Nighttime. And if you're interested in joining Hitting the Field and you're a UCF student, DM us on any of our social medias at Hitting the Field, and also give us a follow on all those, and subscribe to this channel if you want to catch more of our content. But enjoy the rest of your show. As always, I'm Tyler Brownrigg, and I'll be seeing you on Main Show.
So, Tyler Brownrigg. It says in my notes you're an Oklahoma fan.
That is correct.
So, let me ask you, bud. Is Texas back?
All right, I put on a brave face a lot, but this year, I'm really scared that they are, man. Okay, they just beat Alabama. They're gonna be top 4 in the rankings. And last year, they beat us 48-0.
Yeah.
It was humiliating. We're the Oklahoma Sooners. We were the best ever. We were talk of the town. We had Baker, Kyler, and Jalen 3 years in a row. And now, are we good? I don't know. We haven't won a national title since 2000. We're number 18, I think, and nothing matters, dude.
Sometimes we build up these walls thinking they're impenetrable. But sometimes you have to knock these walls down to build up bigger and stronger ones. And you got to be tough through that. It's hard being an Oklahoma fan at this time, but grass is always going to be greener on the other side of the hill, buddy.
Is it? I cannot live through a Texas national championship. I can't. I'll never recover.
Do you want to talk about Lincoln Riley?
What'd you just say to me?
I just want to know if you want to talk about Lincoln Riley.
You listen here, you court-ordered quack. You mentioned that.
And we are back. The Raiders are still on the clock. Now, the pick has not yet been put in. Ty Patton, really quick, I want to hear, what are the needs for the Raiders?
It was originally quarterback. As we all know, all 6 are off the board. Behind that, right tackle, running back, defensive line, linebacker, and cornerback, which there's still every defensive player on the board.
So trade down is what you're telling me.
No, right tackle. Talise Fuanga's still there.
Oh, yeah, Fuanga's still there. I think a sleeper pick right here is Terry and Arnold from Toledo. I think they could go with a defensive back. He's, in my opinion, the best one in the draft. I think for a time for defense to go is right now. We've been saying it for the last 2 picks, but I think right here is the time.
Matthew, any thoughts on this pick from your division rival, the Raiders?
Well, I hope they blow it. I really do. I'm trying not to watch the Bo Nix selection right now, so apologies. But I definitely do
that
think
guy
they
seems
go,
happy about it though.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time we had a first round quarterback? I won't say good quarterback because but I think for Raiders, I think it will be defense here. I like the edge options that we got so far, or like left. I don't see them going anywhere else other than, especially now that quarterback's gone. I think you can get a day 2 quarterback if you really want it, because we still got Spencer Rattler, is it Milton?
Joe Milton.
Joe Milton. Okay.
Yeah. Jordan Travis with his one leg.
Yeah.
I do want to throw, as you mentioned, edge rushers. All the edge rushers are available. We have Dallas Turner out of Alabama, Jared Verse out of Florida State, and Laiatu Latu out of UCLA. Out of that group of 3, Matthew, I'll start with you, and then we'll go back to Ty, down the couch. I want to hear from everyone. Who do we think goes first, and maybe rank those guys as we wait for the pick? Actually, no, never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah,
just go.
I think it's Latu. I really like his game. Yeah, I think he's a really shifty guy, and I think he had a really good season over at UCLA. I think he'll be the first edge off the board. I'm calling it.
I think Dallas Turner will probably be the first edge off the board just because he's been highly touted this whole draft process. He's been climbing up pretty much. I think he's the lock for the first edge guy off the board at least.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I thought Dallas Turner was going to go way earlier in this draft, and I'm surprised he's still not off the board. Dallas Turner would be a good pick for any of the remaining selections that we have. So Dallas Turner would have to be my number 1 edge rusher off the board, I'd have to say.
It's going to depend on who wants to trade up. There's a lot of teams with needs at edge rusher. Eagles have been linked to Dallas Turner, so if that's the case, I'm going to say Dallas Turner.
Do you trade up, or do you just let him keep falling? Because it doesn't look like anyone.
The pick has just been announced. It is Georgia tight end Brock Bowers.
Wow.
Nick Cohen. Nick Cohen. I want to start here at the desk. You guys, any initial reactions to this pick? Thoughts?
Yeah, why?
Who's throwing to him?
You just got Michael Mayer last year, who they didn't really use that much. Now I don't.
First pick of the second round.
Right. I don't think that's him not being good. I think it's them just not really being a tight end scheme. That's why Waller left. So, why are we taking Brock Bowers?
Yeah, I don't know if it really fits as far as their needs, but I will say they might just say, we're going to take the best player available.
Yeah.
This could be their top guy. I mean, he had 56 receptions, 6 touchdowns, 714 yards last year before he got hurt.
Well, and it's also, if they're taking into account other defenses, it's not really the strongest linebacker division if you account for that at all.
Well, I think they're probably definitely looking at that. They may have wanted to go quarterback here, so they just decided to just take the best guy off the board.
I think part of it is Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers has a lot of versatility.
Or O-line.
I think Brock Bowers, his versatility maybe is why we're getting him here. You're not necessarily drafting him as a tight end. You're drafting him as just a pure overall receiver. So guys at the Combine set, open to the floor of any of you, your thoughts on this Brock Bowers pick and any reactions.
I think it's just a complete pick just based off the fact that there are no quarterbacks left. I think they were definitely going for a quarterback, and they thought that maybe at midway through the draft that they'd be able to get one of the top 5, but since that's not available, they have to make a selection like this. I think it's what you guys are saying, best available person. There's nothing that's going to fill a need that drastically that they're going to take right now. So anything that could be the best available, I think they just were like, oh, Brock Bowers is there, I'm going to take him. We have no quarterbacks.
Because he's a weapon.
Yeah.
You watch
100%.
his tape right now, he can move and he can move people. He's a dog. He's a bulldog.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
He's a tight end that can be covered with a corner if he needs to be. So
Well, and guys, it's worth mentioning that, especially it helps that all 6 quarterbacks were off the board, but they got Gardner Minshew in the offseason, and that might not be the most appealing name, but
he was a quality starter.
He was a quality starter.
Hey, Minshew Mania.
I'm a fan. I mean, he can be very.
And this helps him,
right?
And
overall,
there was once upon a time where I think somebody wanted to see him get a shot as a
right.
starter.
And overall, like if you look at the entire roster in that division, we're talking obviously. No one stands a chance against the Chiefs, but I think the Raiders can
you
easily
want to do what you can to maximize
right,
your
and I think they could be the second best team in the division.
All right, Ty Patton, the New Orleans Saints are on the clock. What do they need? What is their draft strategy?
I'm going to be honest. It should be offensive tackle, but at this point, it's going to be anybody. I want to say I know what's going to happen right now.
It's going to be Brian
I don't think I
Thomas.
do. I want to say it's offensive tackle. Talise Fuanga is still there. Marius Mims is still there. Graham Barton's there. Troy Fatanu's there. So there are reasonable picks for them there. But they've also been linked to edge rushers. And one of the biggest stories out of Scouting Combine was if Dallas Turner slips, he's the guy going to New Orleans. And no one saw it coming, but he's here now.
All right, there has been some buzz of reports. New Orleans is looking to trade this pick possibly. This again, this could be another trade here. If we do see a trade, Nick, what do we expect that to be?
I'm not quite sure. I would originally think, maybe someone to jump the Colts for Brock Bowers, but he just went. And so when I look at the Colts, because when I think of a trade down, I don't necessarily think of a trade down. I think of a trade up on someone else's side.
My only guess, Jags maybe to jump the Seahawks to get an edge.
What about the Eagles taking Terrion Arnold or Quinyon Mitchell?
I think again there's a lot of.
That's my thought. Jumping.
When we thought that the Saints were going to trade, we did not think this was the world we were going to be living in. And joining us here in this world is our next newest guest, Justice Covert and Jan Perez here. Justice, I want to just throw you both right into it. What do we see here happening with the Saints? Do we see trade? Do we see the player we think you're going to be? The player you think is going to be taken? Justice, and then Jan, I want to go.
In terms of trades, I could see the Jaguars trading up. They've been looking to get aggressive, and right now they're sitting tight with the ability to get any cornerback they want off the board if they trade up, and they can still maybe get a good wide receiver too. As in terms of what the Saints need, you still have Brian Thomas up here that they can get a nice wide receiver, keep him in New Orleans.
Next
to
Chris
that
Olave.
Yeah, that would be kind of disgusting. So
and then Rashid Shaheed as a deep threat.
Yeah, so that's where I'm thinking.
Yeah,
it's a very balanced wide receiver core. Jan, what about you? Do you like the wide receiver pick here for New Orleans, or are you leaning more maybe Talisa Fuanga out of Oregon State, addressing that O-line need?
I think they should get a tackle. I was thinking about Troy. I'm not fully sure because they do need blind protection for Derek Carr. He's not the best thrower, so I really see them, getting a tackle right now.
Yeah, Troy Fatanu out of Washington, I think, would be a very solid, very safe pick here. I think a lot of teams, Fuanga, again, I think in this range here we're seeing teams are kind of freaking out. All the quarterbacks are gone, and I don't think anyone expected that at this point. This has been the big shock overall. So, Ty, as teams have, all the quarterbacks are gone, and maybe these later teams that we thought maybe have a chance to trade up, or just, what is their draft strategy now? How do they have to adapt?
You mean different teams, or are we talking the Saints specifically?
Let's start with the Saints as they're the pick on the clock right now.
Well, the Saints, I've linked Olu Fashanu to I should say, to the Saints for what feels like upwards of 2 months now.
Though he's, of course, gone now to the New York Jets.
He is, of course, gone, exactly. So, they don't necessarily have a need at right tackle. Trevor Penning has shaped up over there, in my personal opinion, but you still have a need at left tackle. I know Troy Fautanu could play left tackle, but, so many experts, and I'm not going to call myself an expert, but myself included, people think he's going to start at guard, and I don't think the Saints have that need. I don't think they need to reach for one. So I think you just take, at this point, if you can't find a trade partner, take the best available player, and I think it's going to work a lot like that as we move down this board.
Mm-hmm. And Justice, Jan, I want to hear you. Who is your best available player right now, guys?
It depends on what the team needs. I'm a team needs guy. I don't like the idea of best available player. You still have all the edges and pretty much every defensive player at their disposal. I really like Terrion Arnold if you're looking for a corner. I really like Jared Verse if you're looking for an edge.
Yep.
Byron Murphy's still there, obviously. Great defensive lineman. So I would say the best available player would have to be just whatever defensive need you have to try to tap into whatever offensive talent's left available. It it wouldn't be worth it in my opinion.
The time is winding down here for the Saints. They're now under 3 minutes left in their pick. Jan, do you think this is just maybe just too many options for them? What could be the issue here with the holdup?
Since we were talking about tackles and wide receivers, they could just be making their mind up, or they might want to trade down. Really depends on how they see themselves going. You know, like I said, I personally do think they need the most help on
the
the
pick
line.
is in. The pick is in, gentlemen. It is Oregon State offensive tackle Talisi Fuaga. And this is the pick. This is the player I thought it was. Patrick, what are your thoughts on this pick?
I think I'm good with this pick. I like line protection. I also don't know what they could have gotten when they would have traded down. If I'm just being completely honest, I have no idea what teams are looking at right now. I think they had plenty at their disposal. If they wanted to go defense, they could have went defense. I don't know if they thought that an offensive tackle like him was available at this point whenever they were doing their mocks. I think this is a good pick.
I love this pick.
Yeah.
Fuaga, he was my offensive tackle, one coming off the board in my mock draft earlier, which that's become total garbage at this point. I absolutely love this guy at Oregon State. Pure run mauler. He is a beast in the run game, and his potential is just through the roof. He has such great intangibles. His size is good. He will probably, I think, move to guard in the NFL. I think that maybe fits more his frame is the biggest thing here. But
having the versatility.
Yeah, the versatility to be moved, because we see O-lineman injuries all the time throughout the NFL season. But guys at the couch, Ty, I'll start with you, then we'll go to the guests. Thoughts on this pick, and yeah.
I don't think necessarily Talise Fuanga is a guy that can easily switch to left tackle. I think he is a guy that's going to have to play guard. The arm length is a bit of an issue. I just don't know how much I love it, given their current board and their depth chart and who they need. You know, like, I don't hate the pick at all, but I don't love it.
Well, what would you have loved? Just wondering.
The best available player on defense. I would have loved it a lot more, because at this point, if you take Talise Fuanga here, you're having to force either competition between Trevor Penning and Talise Fuanga, or you're bumping him to guard and moving around an offense that I don't really know how much, that's going to help you. Like, Ryan Ramczyk was the big story coming out of this offseason, right? He's got, a lot of injury concerns. He's getting up there, and I know he's only 27, but with the injury, it feels like he's 38. Like, they need to address that left tackle position a lot more than right. But I want to call attention to 14 straight offensive players. Lord.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that 14 straight. Justice, Jan, when do we see the first defender go off the board? They're showing Dallas Turner in the green room right now on the broadcast.
It is going to be right now. The Colts are either taking Wiggins, Mitchell, and Arnold. They need a cornerback desperately, and they're going to pick the best one right now, in their opinion. Personally, I would probably either go Mitchell or Arnold. I'm not the biggest fan on Wiggins.
Considering some of the shocking picks we've seen before, so far, although I do think it could be corner, don't be surprised if it's Xavier Worthy. I'm just saying. He's been linked there.
Brian Thomas is still
I was going to say Brian Thomas.
I know, but they want that deep
threat.
But
as we know, the Colts are on the clock. Ty, what do the Colts need to draft?
Ooh, the Colts need a lot, but actually, no, they don't. The Colts need wide receiver and defensive back. Those are the two big ones.
They need a lot in few places.
That's very, very true. A lot of the places are going to be depth and maybe slight upgrades. Wide receiver and DB, though, are going to be the big essentials, namely cornerback in the defensive back room. But given the order of operations that this board is going, I know every time I say something, it feels like it goes the opposite way, but it almost seems like it's going to be Brian Thomas.
Jan, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with that? Do you think it'll be a Brian Thomas or maybe an offensive player, as Ty said, as that offensive player streak continues as we approach the record of 19? Or do you believe this is the first defender?
No, I really do think they're going to take Brian Thomas. He's an athletic freak, ran a 4.43, being over 200 pounds. He's a stud. I really do think it's kind of an easy pick.
Okay. I agree with that, and so again, this has just been outstanding. We have yet to see a defensive player.
Well, yet to see a defensive player, and that's also the 6 quarterbacks that we talked about going in the first 12 picks, which is just crazy because only 6 picks were not a quarterback. Like I feel like that's obvious, but it's still crazy.
Yeah.
And that's matching the total from the famous 1983 quarterback draft class, which had Jim Kelly and Dan Marino.
I believe John Elway also.
And John Elway.
John Elway, and then a few other names who just escape my mind at this point.
Todd Blackledge.
Todd Blackledge. Amazing.
Tony Eason and Ken O'Brien.
Amazing.
But, I just said the 3 notable ones.
The 3 Hall of Famers that we know and care about. Will we get 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks out of this class?
That's a great question.
Drake May will be one of them, that's for sure.
Good. Michael Penix.
Talk about Bo next.
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah. Okay, maybe we have 4.
But yeah, no.
First round's not done
But
yet.
yeah, no.
either.
Just a point of emphasis to just how insane this offensive player streak is. This is the record for most offensive players taken within the first half of the draft. Again, the record overall.
The whole half is for offensive picks, of course.
I know they've all been. I know, but I believe the overall record for total offensive players is 19, and we have just yet to hit that first defensive player.
Well, and if we're talking about records being broken, there's another record. There's 275,000 fans in Detroit right now for that draft for the first round, which breaks a record set in 2018 for most fans for a day one of a draft. Just kind of a minor step, but like
Shout out Detroit, man.
It's popping. We saw Eminem. He was there. He opened up the draft with Roger Goodell.
Yeah, tried to not get booed by bringing out Eminem.
Yeah.
That's how he does it. I haven't been seeing it. Has he given out his hugs, Goodell? I don't think
Some
he has.
of them.
I think some of them.
To Drake May.
Okay.
I saw that one for
Give
sure.
him to the big names. But again, the clock is continuing to whittle down here for the Colts. Are we thinking, is there, again, we've seen so many trades already. Ty, is there any potential for a trade here for Indianapolis?
So a lot of people mocked Philly trading up with Indy, potentially for a cornerback if Indianapolis is sold on a wide receiver. That wide receiver in particular being Brian Thomas Jr., but my biggest fear for that is there are still teams on the board between those 2 picks that could take wide receiver. There are still teams there that could reach for one, and as the board's panned out, you don't know what anybody's going to do now. I know a lot of people are saying Buffalo maybe trades up for wide receiver, especially given their current wide receiver room with Khalil Shakir up there, but I don't know. If the Colts want a wide receiver, if that's where they're sitting right now and that's what they like, they're not going to trade back to 28. And risk the last 2 wide receivers, I should say, go between then and now.
Nick, I saw you shaking your head as Ty was saying that. Do you have any rebuttal?
I just don't think Philly trades up. I mean, I know they have some assets, but like I think the cornerback class is at least the top maybe 3 with Terrion Arnold, Quinion Mitchell, and probably Nate Wiggins. I know a lot of people like Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Cooper
some
DeJean?
even like Cooper
No
DeJean.
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper,
But
the
like,
Dream DeJean.
but like,
He
just
will play
just
corner
from
in
your
the
guys' reactions, like that really shows there's like 5 that are pretty close knit. So why are they trading up? Like I know some teams have like their eyes on a certain one. They met with some in training camps and stuff like that. But I just don't like the trade up for.
I only want to point out, in the past couple of years, when Howie Roseman wants his guy, he gets his guy. He goes up and gets him. He doesn't
That's
wait.
True.
He doesn't let him
We saw
slip.
last
He's
year with
always
Nolan
gone
Smith.
up.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter,
Jalen
Nolan
Carter.
Smith, he took at 29.
Yeah,
he
really
traded
right.
up for Jalen Carter, and he traded up for interior defensive tackle. I can never remember his name. Not Jalen Carter. Other
Jordan
Georgia guy.
Davis.
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis.
Goes up and gets Jordan Davis. So he's always been known to go up and get his guy. So if he likes one of the corners more than another, I wouldn't even be surprised if he traded up for Cooper DeJean, right?
So a need we mentioned earlier for the Colts is wide receiver, and we mentioned Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU, but I want to highlight the Texas wide receivers that are on the board: Adonai Mitchell and Xavier Worthy. The streak is over, boys. The pick is in. Laiatu Latu, defensive end out of UCLA, has just been taken by the Indianapolis Colts, pairing him with DeForest Buckner on that defensive line.
What did Dallas Turner do?
I'm telling you, I said this earlier. He was going to slip and everyone, boo, Ty
He's just
Patton.
one of those guys. I
He's
feel
so
like-
good.
What did he do that we do not know?
Justice, I want to hear from you. Why do you think Dallas Turner wasn't the first defensive player off the board?
Well, I agree with Ty a lot. I think Dallas Turner relies on his speed too much. I personally like Jared Verse because his strength is so much better than I think any of the edge rushers. His bull rush is second to none. With Latu, though, that is surprising because I don't think the Colts necessarily needed an edge defender as much as they needed a cornerback.
Yeah,
I was waiting to see Nate Wiggins or Donnie or Quinion Mitchell or Terrion Arnold off the board, quite honestly.
You know what I want to point out real quick? Both of you are here, so I want to point this out now. It's always strange how the first mock draft can be so interesting. In our first mock draft, we had Laiatu Latu to the Colts behind EJ Speed, and we had Bo Nix to the Broncos at 12.
We did.
Where'd you have Michael Penix gone?
Not to the Falcons.
I think we had him to the Vikings at 11.
Big shot. So something I do want to ask, Jan, I want to ask you about Laiatu Latu. I believe he had to medically retire from football at UCLA.
Washington.
Washington, excuse me. The injuries are a big concern here. Do you think maybe that's something to worry about, or he's past that point? He's been healthy long enough. The injuries are in the past, as to say.
Well, injuries, I don't see him as an injury-prone player. I just think it was one big injury. So I think by the time he comes back, the season starts, he'll be healthy, he'll train with the team. I think he'll be fine unless he makes any unnecessary risks throughout the season.
Well, and it seems like 15 is just the sweet spot for those medically retired players. We saw Jalen Phillips go to the Dolphins at 15. He, again, medically retired, but that was from UCLA.
He also got injured.
He also did get injured, but, he also did clear his physical. So, hoping for the best for Laiatu Latu. And Jalen Phillips is still, a dog. So he'll be back this season.
Gotta get
he'll
the
be
Miami
getting
propaganda out while he can.
Of course, yeah. I'm not going to have too much time during our pick because we'll be joined by some very special guests. But if there's another player who unfortunately medically retires eventually, he's going at 15, in the future. Just want to put that out there.
Laiatu Latu is a very, before we get out, and I know we have to move on to the next pick, he's a very athletic kind of guy. The play speed is much better than his track speed, right? But his awareness is phenomenal. He is 20/20 vision before and during a play, and he always knows where the ball is, even if he can't see it. There's always some spatial awareness with him that I really like. I don't think he's the first edge taken off the board in ideal class, but I do like the pick for Indy. I just wanted to make a note of that.
So as you said, now we are moving on. The Seattle Seahawks are now currently on the clock. Ty, what do the Seahawks need? Mel Kiper Jr.?
I want to say Mel Kiper Jr. It's kind of shaping up that I am Mel Kiper with 2 picks right in the draft. Mel Kiper stinks. But
maybe his job is kind of hard, dude. You ever think about that?
No, it's easy. He's just bad at it. Seattle, I feel bad for Geno Smith. Their biggest need right now is interior offensive line. They have needs at both guard and center. Behind that, edge rusher, linebacker, and safety. So there's a lot of versatility around here with Dallas Turner, Cooper DeJean, maybe you bump him to safety. And then even interior offensive line where Troy Fautanu has been mocked to the Seahawks a lot. I know you want him to go to Jacksonville over there.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Justice. Nice. But interior offensive line being the main majority.
Mm-hmm. In terms of offensive linemen available, we have Troy Fautanu out of Washington, though he is more of a tackle. Though a guy who plays in the interior, Graham Barton out of Duke, which I think would be a bit of a reach at this point. But Patrick, what are your thoughts on the Seahawks, their strategy here with this pick?
I don't really think they can go wrong with whoever they pick. I think they have a plethora of options, especially at defensive back. The Colts just decided to leave everybody on the board. I would have taken Quinyon Mitchell if I was the Colts. Now the Seahawks can do whatever they want. If they want an edge, they can take an edge. If they want an interior offensive lineman, they got him, all the guys that you mentioned, plus Jackson Powers-Johnson. They have everybody at their disposal. And if then they want to go with any other position, it seems to be honestly readily available. Edge, interior offensive lineman, and corner. They're good with whoever.
The only position they could make a mistake at is quarterback.
Yeah.
They do need it,
and
but
they're not even tempted anymore right now with drafting a guy like Bo Nix or even Penix, who we thought may have been available at this spot.
Yeah, the best quarterback available is Spencer Rattler, and we better not hear his name.
It's actually
today.
Devin Leary out of Kentucky.
Maybe this is the time that Dallas Turner's
Michael
name
Pratt
gets
out of
called.
Tulane.
Yeah. Right here.
I like it.
Justice, I want to throw it to you, and then Jan, I want you to hear your answer. Same question to both of you. Who is the best fit here, right here, for the Seahawks?
I like Troy Fautanu. I think he'll offer a lot of help for the offensive line, and he gets to stay in Washington. He'll continue playing in Seattle. But I think if you're looking for some help on the defensive line, you can also go for like Jazon Newton or Byron Murphy.
Can't believe Byron Murphy's still available.
Still, Jared Verse, I think, would be very effective in Seattle too. I mean, that would help him a lot. So.
I was gonna say probably Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold. I think that would fit the team the most right now. So those would be my picks.
So one other name that I want to throw into the mix is, well, let me preface this with that. Uchenna Nwosu from the Seattle Seahawks, the right edge rusher over there, is getting paid about $10 million a year. I believe he's under contract for 2 more years, but he's not known to put up the best numbers. Now, Boye Mafe had a great little, end-of-season run going on, but with Dallas Turner available, I think he fits the Seahawks, and I think he would be an excellent replacement for Uchenna Nwosu. And then you can put him as a rotational, and, as the Philly Eagles have said in their defensive line for so long, more is always better, right?
Yeah.
So they could make a move there. I wouldn't be surprised.
And again, the Seahawks are still on the clock. The pick is not yet in. Time is winding down. I believe they are at just under 5 minutes now here. Again, we've talked about, do we think a streak of defensive players now maybe starts here with the Seahawks? The Jaguars could maybe look to improve their defense. I know the Bengals, Trey Hendrickson just demanded a trade. So I'll start with you guys at the desk here. Do we think more defensive players are going to start falling off the board? This is the range where we see it? Or is maybe the other guys are going to have to wait their turn?
I think that's fair. I mean, I think it'll end with the Rams. Nope, just kidding, not the Rams, the Steelers, because they don't need more defense. But I think it definitely could be like 3 or 4 straight defense picks.
I'm really waiting on some of these corners to come off the board.
Yeah.
Like Quinion Mitchell and Terrion Arnold.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
still
one will go to
available.
Jacksonville. We know one will go to Jacksonville.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of.
I know. Last year the Seahawks they drafted Devon Witherspoon, and I don't think corner was a huge need at the time, and he was just so an amazing player. And again, improving your secondary, it's not again a real need at this moment, but Jamal Adams at safety, he's not the best. He's since he got to
still
Seattle.
there?
Actually, no, I don't think he is there anymore. I said,
And they don't have Quandre Diggs either.
And they don't have Quandre Diggs.
Who do they have?
They don't have a safety. So this could maybe be good. So if you do draft, we mentioned Cooper DeJean and how he would get moved to safety.
Imagine
Sadly.
if he was the first DB off the board.
That'd
be historic.
Wasn't that
already historic.
Wasn't that like he was
like the
going
first-
in, like he was the top quarterback one going into this, like early in the mock draft season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think. Wow. Again,
I mean, offensively, Troy Fontana, but you go.
I was actually going to bring that up real quick. For the Jaguars, I think Seattle's been mocked to trade down a little bit. Throughout this whole mock draft process over the last year, they've been a rumored team that may trade down. But if you wanted to trade down, if you're not comfortable with the guys here, Jacksonville also has needs at guard and center. So if you let Troy Fautanu slip and you think you can get him later, I wouldn't count on it. I think he's going to Jacksonville if he slips here. And you're the Jags fan, so I wanted to bring it up. If they pass on him right now, I know we got to stick on the Seahawks, but do you think he goes real quick because the pick just went in?
The pick is officially in.
I don't think they would go with Troy Fautanu. Honestly, yeah, they have visited with him, but they did re-sign Tyler Shatley. They re-signed Ezra Cleveland. They re-signed Mitch Morse. They still have Baron Scherf on the right side. So I think their interior is set. It's not good, but it's still set. And I think they got to go with a corner. There's so many great corners left. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Boys at the table, I know it's not, my question technically. Y'all know it probably better than I do, but who do you think the best cornerback on the board right now is?
The pick is in. It is Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas.
We didn't even mention him.
We did not mention him.
No, I did. I mentioned
Byron. Oh, you did?
You did.
Shout out
you
you,
mention Byron Murphy.
Justice, tell us about Byron Murphy, as you were the one who mentioned him. Do you like this pick here?
I'm more of a Jazar Newton fan. He's loved.
Michael Hall.
I love Michael Hall. Let's see, we're kind of close. I almost got that right. But no, I like Byron Murphy a lot. But I think Jazar Newton or the illustrious Michael Hall would have been a better pick here. But I think it's solid. I think it's gonna take care of the interior very well.
I really like the Byron Murphy pick. He was a beast out of Texas, a pure 3 technique, outstanding in run defense.
Yep.
I remember I was at Red River watching him. He was just constantly in the Oklahoma backfield. Almost every other play, it felt like. This guy was just a menace. And he is so good at pass rush from the interior. When you have a guy in the interior of your defensive line who can consistently get to the quarterback, or at the very least generate pressure, the value on that is astronomical. Jan, do you agree with that? Byron Murphy as that he's a great pick here, or were you thinking a different pick, a different player?
Oh no, I think he's solid. I low-key saw him going a little bit lower in the draft, especially because I thought the 2 cornerbacks were gonna be before, like I mentioned Mitchell and Arnold. But I think it's still a solid pick. I think it fits the team very well.
I agree. I think this is a big need. Again, adjusting that defensive line. Ty, do you have any thoughts you'd like to talk about with Byron Murphy?
Yeah, I really, really like Byron Murphy. In my personal opinion, he's the best defender in this class. He's extremely twitchy off the ball. Very, very quick get off speed. And from there, a lot of the times when you look at a defensive tackle or even a bigger defensive end, you have to substitute speed for power or vice versa. And he's one of these defensive, 3 techs that defies gravity in that sense. Like, his punch is powerful. And like I mentioned earlier when we were doing our mock drafts, this guy lives in the backfield. So I really like the pick. I don't know if I like the destination. Like, I feel like Seattle didn't need a defensive lineman. I just think they looked at the board and who they had available and said, let's take the best guy we can and at least get some value here.
Yeah,
right?
you can never have too many quality guys on your defensive line in that rotation. But now the Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock, and Justice, as our resident Jags fan, I want to hear what do you think the Jags need to do here? What are their needs?
This is like a dream scenario for all Jags fans in the country right now. We have literally every cornerback available and all but one edge rusher available. We brought in a whole new defensive coaching staff, including a new defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen from the Atlanta Falcons. They're probably going to give him the reins and pick whatever he wants to do to mold this new defense that has now added Eric Armstead. So I don't think they're necessarily going to go defensive lineman that badly. We have Josh Allen for another 5 years. Yep. Trayvon Walker's going to be sticking around. They could move him on the interior and add a new edge like Jared Verse. But I think cornerback is going to be the play, and I want to go Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold
like it.
He is my CB1. He is the guy that I love the most. Kool-Aid McKinstry would be crazy, but I wouldn't mind it.
Really?
Quinion Mitchell would be great too. The only guy that I'm not 100% on is Nate Wiggins. I think he's a little undersized. He has incredible speed, incredible upside, but I don't think this team needs upside. I think they need playmakers that will affect the defense right now, and that'll be Terrion Arnold
And just because of the ambiguity of the draft thus far and how many picks have gone completely awry in our terms, you know, if the Jags were, hypothetically, to pass on a corner, who's your next best?
Pass on a corner and go to a different
Pass
position.
on a corner completely.
I would say Jared Verse would really fit the mold well. If we're talking about interior defensive linemen too, Jason Newton, but also Braden Fisk. That's another guy that
Braden Fisk is so. I love Braden Fisk.
Braden Fisk would be kind of
Braden Fisk going in the first round.
Well, it's
I
his
like him as well,
athleticism.
but
His
kind of a
athleticism
pick.
sets him apart.
Especially here at 17, that feels way too high. But
It's
Is
somebody-
any of
Michael
that
Hall
though
makes it early. I
recency
wouldn't be
bias
surprised.
from the combine?
Michael Hall,
Perhaps,
Jason Newton,
I
Braden
would
Fisk,
say,
those are all guys that the Jaguars have met with, so I wouldn't be surprised. They're kind of sleepers right here.
And you mentioned earlier, the entire board is open in terms of defense for the Jags. And this is, again, you said earlier, this is not a situation I believe they expected to be in, but this is a good problem to have, I think.
Yeah.
They can't mess it up.
But, yeah.
They will, though.
They
Believe me.
You guys have been good drafters.
No,
Okay, never
And
mind.
with
Trayvon
the pick,
Walker
the
was number one
Jaguars
overall,
select
and
Marshawn.
We
Before Aiden
drafted.
Hutchinson.
We drafted in 2014. We drafted Brian Anger.
Oh,
over
I mean
Russell Wilson.
recently.
Oh,
Brian Anger over Russell.
I know you
yeah,
guys
we
didn't
did.
used to be.
Yeah, in the third round.
You had Blake Bortles.
Braylon tries.
Breaking news, the Jags are no longer on the clock. They are off. The Minnesota Vikings have traded up to number 17.
Dallas Turner.
We messed it up.
Dallas
we
Turner.
We just did it.
Dallas Turner.
What are we doing?
Dallas
They
Turner.
messed it up.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, my
Actually,
goodness.
Is this a prank?
Wait,
This is not a prank.
What more could we have asked for?
Wait. Let me put my stamp down on this now before we start talking about it. In our before our first mock draft.
We do not yet have the details on the trade.
All the way down to 23?
Before I even first
No, it's going to be
mock
available.
I mocked Jared Verse to the Vikings. I'm going to call it now and say Jared Verse is the pick.
I could care less.
This could
quite
be anyone on
honestly.
defense, honestly, and I'd be happy. I'd love Jazar Newton. I'd love Dallas Turner. Anything to improve this defensive line. I don't think it'll be edge because we just got Jonathan Grenard in free agency.
And Andrew Van Ginkel.
And Andrew Van Ginkel. Again, he's there too, I guess. I think this will be corner. I think everything you said about the Jags, about how quarterback, I think Terrion Arnold, I think is still a great pick here for Minnesota. Byron Murphy is probably our best corner. And then after that, we've had really no one. I'm trying. And they're just all bad. Lewis Seen, who we had our first round pick a few years ago at safety, he got hurt. He never plays anymore, even now that he's healthy. Terrion Arnold, I think would be great. Cooper DeJean, the Iowa boy, staying in the Midwest. I love that pick also.
I want to bring up one more thing that came.
The pick is in. It is Dallas Turner out of Alabama, the edge rusher. I'm not mad at this.
That
as
was
a Vikings
quick.
fan. Yeah. I love this. Questy
It wasn't. So what are you hyped about?
That it was edge. And everyone said, "Boo,
Shocker.
it's going to be corner."
No.
Oh my goodness.
I was thinking maybe they traded up for tackle because Schefter was going on and on and rambling about people trading up.
I wonder what the trade details are, though.
Yes, I would. We are still waiting on getting the details for that trade that Minnesota did.
I mean, I would think it would have to be a second. Like it's
Well, we
6
don't
picks
we don't
at
have
a prime spot.
We don't have a second this year, so it would probably have been if it was a second, it'd have to
We
be a
don't
second next year.
Oh my God.
No, elaborate. What's
this
wrong?
is a nightmare. Okay, we had it set. We had our pickings. There was only one other defensive player off the board. We had all the cornerbacks available. Now we're sitting here 6 picks later. Everyone's going to be
Well,
gone.
you still might get your guy.
You still might get our guy.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at
We're-
those three
for what,
corners,
though?
they might
We're
get
not
one
gonna get a
of those.
second-
They're gonna
If
just trade down
corner,
and get
if
some draft capital.
Dallas Turner was just taken. If corner is your pick, I'm looking at it. Maybe Philly is your only competition in that department.
Steelers maybe.
Steelers,
Rams maybe.
But what are we going to get
Rams-
as compensation,
Rams
though?
also
You just
need
said we're not going to get a
Rams
second
need-
round
They
pick.
got Tre'Davious White.
I think Rams want to get their Aaron Donald replacement. So I think I'm more expecting a Jazar Newton.
Darius Robinson.
Oh,
I was about to mention Darius Robinson a little bit ago.
But again, I think I think
Troy Fontana is still on the board too.
Troy Fontana, another offensive tackle.
No, but he's a Dolphin.
Hey, am I seeing
Jackson
things,
Powers
or does it
Johnson.
say Jaguars pick is in?
That graphic is
That's
out of date.
that's a mess up in the booth.
That's a mess up
about to say.
on ESPN's part.
Well, maybe
But-
the pick wasn't.
Oh.
And then
My goodness.
We're
changed.
stolen.
So, yeah,
I'll
yeah,
say
just-
this though: the Vikings don't have a second-round pick this year.
We do not.
So what did we just do?
Next year.
Or next year?
No,
I'm,
they don't have a
I'm
second
still
for
waiting
next 2 years.
for details. We're not
What
gonna-
did we just do?
You probably traded for 2/3, if anything. Maybe a third and a fourth.
That's
Okay,
not worth it.
I now have the details for the pick. It is Minnesota got pick number 17. The Jaguars got number 23, a 2024 fifth rounder, a 2025 third rounder, and a 2025 fourth rounder.
So a third, fourth, and fifth from next year. Third, fourth, fifth from next year.
No, the fifth is this year, but
Dude, Kwesi is cooking, dude. But let's move on. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock. Ty, what are the big needs that Cincinnati needs to address?
So I think the Bengals are actually in a perfect position right now because they needed 3 different positions: tight end, offensive tackle, defensive line. Now, originally, the thought process going into this was if the Bengals are a Super Bowl team, they're going to take defensive line, beef up that line, get somebody next to B.J. Hill, DJ Reader, those kind of guys, right? Get somebody there. But with the tackles on the board, I didn't think Amarius Mims would be here. I didn't think Faltanu would be here. I didn't even know if Barton was going to be here at this point. So I think they're in a perfect position to take offensive tackle. If not, I think we expect Jerzon Newton.
This has to be tackle.
It has to be.
This has to be tackle.
I don't know. I mean,
it doesn't have to be.
You
Well,
What is the
Trey
biggest
Hen- Trey
issue
Hendrick-
with the Bengals franchise right now?
but they
Joe Burrow
signed some guys.
Joe Burrow health.
Joe Burrow health, that is a
Exactly.
big issue.
Or
But
how do you fix Joe Burrow health?
You're
I think
losing
you just
T. Higgins.
Simply block.
Dude, you're
You don't-
losing T.
not
Higgins.
necessarily. I
Maybe.
mean,
Likely, though. Trey Hendrickson just demanded a trade.
But that only ever
do you
means
pay
so
him?
much.
If Trey
Yeah,
Hendrickson
you
is
could get a wide-
gone,
but you
their
could get a
pass
wide
rush,
receiver, though.
non-existent, dude.
I agree.
He
But
is
that's a
all
big
of it.
if.
I
a big
I
if.
feel like it's very likely to happen. He's highly underpaid, and he wants his money.
Okay, but so what? He'll just sit out. Like the Bengals don't have to trade him.
I think they will. I don't know if he's gonna play. He might hold out.
I'd like to call
He'll
attention
be very unhappy.
to the couch. This is Cameron
Yes,
Kmetz,
let's-
like one of his first times ever on air.
His
I
first
think.
time ever, period. His on-air debut for Cameron Kmetz.
Big Steelers
This
guy
is
over
it.
here.
Oh, congratulations, man. How does it feel to finally be in front of the camera?
It feels
He
great.
doesn't speak.
Speech.
I'm just waiting for the Steelers pick here at this point.
Well, we still have to get through your division rival.
How do you feel about
Cincinnati
the Bengals?
Oh, the Bengals, it's great. They're falling
The pick has
apart.
just been announced. It is Amarius Mims, offensive
fair.
tackle.
Okay. I like that. I like that. That's a great pick.
I like that because I would have liked Mims for the Steelers.
Fatanu is still on the board for Pittsburgh.
40.
So's JPJ.
Yeah.
So is
I
Barton.
honestly think Graham Barton might be the pick over Troy Fautanu.
I agreed for the Steelers.
I
Absolutely.
think he will be.
Troy Fautanu.
Because Troy Fautanu plays too much like a guard, whereas Graham Barton plays like a center or tackle. I think Graham Barton fits perfectly at center for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Barton is more likely to be the Steelers
Over
pick
Jackson Powers Johnson.
over JPJ and Troy Fautanu.
I think that's a very interesting take, but
Very interesting indeed.
Let's move on now as the LA Rams are on the clock. This is the first time the LA Rams are making a first-round pick in the NFL draft, assuming they don't trade it, since Jared Goff. This is Sean McVay's first ever first-round pick.
As a head coach.
As a head coach, he's won a
ridiculous.
Super Bowl before he made a first-round pick, which is
That's just so impressive.
that's an insane thought. But Ty, what are the Rams' needs? What is their strategy?
So the Rams are a tough team to gauge here because offensive tackle is a big need over there, right? Andrew Whitworth is gone. He's been gone, right? They have a few needs there. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an offensive tackle. A lot of experts were saying Sean McVay's first pick is going to be giving Stafford protection. But aside from that, the other really big need they need to look at is replacing Aaron Donald. And I'll just mention it now. You can't really replace Aaron Donald. He's too much of a factor on defense. But Jerzon Newton is pretty damn close. If you're going to get anybody, I think he's the pick here if you're replacing him. If not, Troy Fautanu's still there.
Well, there is one guy just a little bit closer than
Darius
Jerzon
Robinson.
Newton.
Darius Robinson.
Yeah.
Let's make this
yeah,
known.
Let's
Nick
not
Cohen, I will
disregard
give
him.
you
Thank
props
you.
because I really like that mock right now.
Yes.
I really like
Thank
that.
you. Darius Robinson is the closest thing to Aaron Donald. Now, I'm not saying he is Aaron Donald. He has a lot of work to do, but he could be. Just saying. I mean, it's probably the same staff that helped develop him.
You're just comparing him to arguably the greatest defensive player of all time.
I have him as the greatest. Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? He has that potential. He's at 300 pounds. like 6'4", 6'5", I probably should know that. And he's so fast. He's so good off the edge. He could be interior as well. He could be Aaron
He does
Donald.
fit that mold. He's a tad undersized for the defensive tackle position, like Aaron Donald.
But also like Drizon Newton.
Yeah, Cameron, I want to move it to you. We were talking about defense, but offensive tackle is also in play here for the LA Rams. Do we think this is Troy Fautanu, or are you on the Drizon Newton camp?
Definitely Fautanu. I feel like he's definitely in that tier above. But really, if we're talking O-line, that's their choice. But I don't think they do. I think they have to go defense to address the big hole that Aaron Donald left in his retirement.
Actually, let me sneak in one more name while the floor is open. You know who I'm going to do. Big offensive tackle out of Tyler Brownrigg's Oklahoma Sooners, Tyler Guyton.
Tyler Guyton.
Massive offensive tackle.
Not what I thought you were going to say.
I feel like
Tyler
would
Guyton's a
fit
tank,
the
dude.
Los Angeles Rams. I feel like he would fit very well there. And given the
How's that
current
dog,
market for offensive tackles, I think the Rams would want a true tackle, and I don't think Barton or Fautanu is a true tackle.
Is it too far-fetched? I 1,000%
Don't
agree.
say
Rams,
Roger, what's his name?
Rosengarten.
Don't say
No.
him.
Is it too far-fetched to think that they don't go either? Like, they don't go tackle
or
because Terrion Arnold is still on the board, surprisingly.
So is Quinyon Mitchell.
I love Quinyon Mitchell. I love Quinyon Mitchell a lot.
What about Jared Verse?
Jared Verse, maybe. I don't know if that's a Ram pick. I think I could see them taking Terrion Arnold in particular. Like, if they don't go tackle, I think they go corner before they go.
And I think some of those guys almost might be guards though.
Ezra,
I don't really see them.
Ezra, I do want to say, Ezra, I'm kind of liking Ezra's thought process here with secondary, because who is in the Rams secondary really? That's a real standout player.
Tre'Davious White.
Tre'Davious White.
Let's not seriously though. Let's not disregard him though.
He's coming off an ACL
He's coming off a
injury.
big injury. He's had injuries in the past before
Big whoop.
one this season. Again, I would like, I think, to see some youth, some healthier players, and Terrion Arnold or Kool-Aid McKinstry, either of the Bama guys, I think would be great here. Cooper DeJean, safety is another need. He could play safety there.
Him on Cooper Cup in practice.
Well,
interesting.
Battle of the Coopers.
Yeah.
Battle of the Coopers.
They have a hole at left tackle. How can Matthew Stafford throw to Puka Nacua and Cooper Cup if he's constantly getting hit in the back by an edge rusher?
That's fully justifiable. And, I just don't want to write off the fact that because literally every corner is still on the board. So it's just crazy to think that there's a possibility that they don't go corner here. I genuinely think it's a very big possibility they do go corner because it could be best player available, I guess. I know, like Justice said, best player available only matters to your team needs. But when you really think about it, Quinyon Mitchell was mocked at 11 to 15 and still hasn't gone by 19 now. There's a solid chance. Even the pick of Terrion Arnold possibly going to Jaguars. Jaguars just traded down. Terrion Arnold's still on the board now. Do they just say, F it, let's just go this way instead of just just going the tackle route? Because you could still trade up later in the round to go tackle. I don't know if the Rams will do it, but I think that when there's just such good corner play on the board, you might as well just take it while it's there.
Yeah, I'm not even in love with all of the offensive linemen that are on the board right now for the Rams specifically. Like I said earlier, I think some of these guys might end up being guards anyway, like Fautanu and Barton. And also Tyler Guyton doesn't really have a ton of blindside experience at Oklahoma, so I don't really know how much they're going to want to put a guy at left tackle there for Matthew Stafford. I think if you have all the corners on the board, you know what, you can maybe just take a swing and just take one of those guys. I mean, it's certainly not like a super risky play. And then also don't think it's too bad to get to go anywhere else, honestly, that on the board right now. I don't really see them drafting their left tackle in the future.
Well, you mentioned Tyler Guyton there, and I want to bring up one thing here. The Rams' right tackle is Rob Havenstein, right, who is very good. I like him there. But their left tackle is Alaric Jackson.
Who?
Exactly.
Who is that, man?
He can get it done.
No Andrew Whitworth. He's been gone. Right?
He cannot get it done.
Alaric Jackson is the guy. And if you want Stafford to have a year like he was having in midseason last year where he was putting up phenomenal play, you need to get him protection. I think you have to. I don't think it's an option. So, if you want to address it later, I know Patrick Paul is a viable option there.
Yes.
Roger Rosenbottom is also not bad.
I would take Patrick Paul 1,000 times over Rosenbottom.
Yeah, agreed.
Offensive lineman at this point.
How about Dominic Puny?
Boo.
I wouldn't want someone with the last name
Kansas guy?
blocking for me.
Yeah, dude, that defeats the entire point of offensive line.
Right. Well, my question for you guys is, you guys are talking about we need to protect Stafford, which no doubt, okay, but what happened last year? Like, what's changed on the offensive line? Stafford managed last year. Puka Nacua had one of the best seasons last year for a receiver.
Arguably the best for a rookie receiver.
Exactly. Oh, I'd say the best.
Yeah,
yes.
the best.
But so what's changed? Like, I know now they finally have a first-round pick, but look at some of the other talent that's available when you're talking about other positions. Because, like, offensive line, it's kind of weak at this point, in my opinion. So why are we stressing about offensive line right now?
What do you think, Ty?
Well, last year it was Joe Noteboom at left tackle, who was better than Alaric Jackson, in my opinion.
I don't know
but
who
if
either
you
of those
downgrade from Joe Noteboom, you have a serious problem. And I think they need to address it now.
I understand that, but I just really feel like that there's just not anybody that's like screaming, "This is the guy."
No,
like,
I would
there's
agree.
like 3 guys to pick from, and rather than just picking one out of a hat, I think it's safer to just go best corner available.
It is probably safer. I will agree with that.
Because it's more likely to miss on this, and you don't really, with your first round pick, you don't really want to miss on it.
And I think the hardest part about this pick is we don't have any experience of Sean McVay drafting.
Nope.
We have no idea what his
Pull a
thought
Bill
process
Belichick.
is.
Pull some third-round guy mocked, please.
We are under 4 minutes now for the LA Rams. They still have time to trade their pick away, and Sean McVay not to make his first. But I'm of the mindset I don't think LA trades this. I don't see why they would. There's no incentive, no players. I mean,
I like corner here.
Part of it.
I think corner
I love
works.
corner.
I think
feel
corner
like-
works. You talked me into it. I like Quinyon Mitchell. He's my favorite guy right now. Like still on the board. I think he's so good. 4.33 at the combine, Senior Bowl standout, led the country in pass breakups last 2 years, 32. I think he's really good. I don't understand why they wouldn't go defense here. I really just would not like an offensive lineman.
Also, if they drafted Tre'Davious White, like, Stephon Gilmore's still a free agent.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be opposed for them just signing him, and then they don't need to go corner in this draft. But that also could just be me being against the corners in this class.
Or the interior lineman. I could see an interior lineman here too. I think that there's plenty of guys available for them to pick.
Connor Williams is still a free agent.
Yeah.
Center.
Coming off a big injury.
We were mentioning cornerbacks earlier, and the Jags traded down, and corner is a need. Do we think maybe the Jags could maybe try and trade back up, get their they still have a shot to get all the corners are available.
Justice would come running in here.
Hey, I want to
I'd happily let them take over.
This is unlike this team to do, but it's my team, and I'm willing to throw out the idea: do the Bucks trade up here and try to get Jared Verse? Or one of the best corners on the board, or Jackson Powers Johnson or Graham Barton, because a lot of their guys are on the board right now.
I don't think so, because if you guys are not, like, you guys who, you kind of know what you're talking about, if you guys aren't thinking that it's edge here, it's certainly not edge to Pittsburgh, so why trade up?
Because I think Miami could make a reach. I
hope not.
If Tyler Guyton goes now, I think the Cowboys could make a reach. Potentially. I think the Packers could make a reach.
And Micah Parsons.
And I think the Lions or the Ravens could try and trade up for a Chop Robinson or a
All right,
Darius
guys,
Robinson.
the pick is in, and Ty, you're going to like this. It is Florida State defensive end Jared Verse.
Wow.
The Bucks should have traded up.
All right, Ty, you've been preaching praises about Jared Verse. Give us a breakdown of him, about what type of player he is and what the Rams just got.
So, I've been really quiet about Jared Verse for a while now. Like, I mean, I know I've expressed to y'all that I really like this guy, but outside of that, I've been so silent on him because I've been hoping and praying, fingers crossed, let him slide to Tampa.
I'm not seeing enough tears here.
So, I'm breaking down internally, but
Just
I'm Mel
wait till
Kiper. I got to be
JPJ is
professional.
gone, too.
But Jared Verse is the most physical defensive end in this class. I know Darius Robinson's 300 pounds. I know he's got the weight behind him, but Jared Verse, his pop on an offensive lineman is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think he's an Aaron Donald. He's weighing in at 265, but he ran a 4.58 at the combine. At 265 pounds, at 6'4". He is a big man who can run quick, and his technique, swim moves, rip moves, all of that is beautiful to watch. Absolute Pablo Picasso of making O-tackles look like idiots. And I think, he's not going to replace Aaron Donald, but he'll definitely give them a solid little 7-8 sack season over there.
There was one game I watched in particular of him. It was the Florida game.
Yeah.
It was that game in particular where it kind of put me on to Jared Verse. I was like, wow, this guy is literally wrecking Florida right now. Florida cannot get anything going because this man is always in the backfield. I've listened to your like songs and praises of this man, and I've taken it in the entire time because I also agreed that he's like top 2 edge rusher in this draft, like right behind a guy who slipped down in Dallas Turner. But
Cameron Kmetz is being dead silent. I want to ask him, and I'll let you finish, but I want to give him his flowers real quick for going top 20. He definitely deserves it. He is a phenomenal athlete. I'm really glad he's getting to go top 20, but Cameron Kmetz, you can't be quiet forever, man.
No.
You got to say something about Jared Verse.
I mean, I think he's a great player, but like, I'm just surprised at how the defense is falling on the board. Like, you still got every corner on the board.
Every corner, yeah.
I don't know how.
Newton's still there.
You have your pick.
Hubert DeJean.
Yeah.
Troy Fautanu or Graham Barton. I know we can stay on this and talk about it, but those tackles and centers are there for the Steelers, but they have needs at corner.
And I do want to touch on something real quick though before we move on to the Steelers. Ty, I want to hear a bit of a hot take out of you if I can get it. You've been loving Jared Verse. Is he your pick right now for Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Ooh, spicy quesadilla we got
Have
here.
we seen the Defensive Rookie of the Year go off the board yet?
My mic fell. I'm getting too excited.
He's getting
just a little bit rambunctious for those of y'all at home. So I'm going to say, actually, I wanted to say Byron Murphy originally.
Yeah.
But based on the way the board's fallen, as of right now, I'm going to say yes. Because he's going up. He's got to compete with Bobby Brown III on that defensive line. That is nothing.
Is that a competition?
No, not at all. So Verse is the kind of guy that with the Rams, I know I just said, 7 to 9, 8 to 10 sacks. With the competition he has, if he puts in the work and he can escape double teams on the outside, we might see him go for 10 to 12 plus.
10 is bold for
very
rookie.
bold.
He is, I will say this.
Turner's
he is.
crazy.
Yeah, Kobe Turner. I wanted to give him a quick shout. He is paired up with him. I think
That's very fair. I will give him props. Kobe Turner is very good.
Kobe Turner can send can make it so Jared Verse gets a lot of one-on-ones early in his young career as we see him play out for the LA Rams. But now, any quick final thoughts about Jared Verse anyone wants to get out before I move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers and give Cameron Kmetz his moment in the sun?
All I'm going to say is please pray to God Chop Robinson doesn't go to Tampa. I've been against that
I thought
forever.
you liked Pork Chop.
I do, but not with the Bucks.
He doesn't want another Joe Tryon on his life, man.
Well, if you really want Joe Tryon, just take Braylon Trice.
I mocked that. I mocked that first mock. I
like Braylon Trice.
I do really like Braylon Trice, but we can move on to Steelers. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hold it.
All right, guys. So let's now move it on. Cameron Kmetz. The Steelers are on the clock now. What do the Steelers need, and what are you looking for here?
I mean, we got a couple needs. They're all on the board right now. We need center. There's Barton. There's JPJ. There's Frazier. Although that'd be a reach. There's still some other linemen, but I'm looking at the corners. There is not a single corner off. We need corner. We have Dante Jackson as our second, and he is. Who knows? He sucks, but
he's terrible.
And then
He's
sneaky,
fast.
there's wide receiver still. There's still Brian Thomas on the board.
Dude.
Dude.
I was going to make a mention.
Dude.
Brian Thomas is still there.
Brian Thomas is here.
This
Adonai
board-
Mitchell is still here. Xavier Worthy.
Yeah. But this board is wide open.
So
So
start crying in studio.
I prefer going O-line here and then taking like a Ricky Pearsall in the second. Just get another jump ball
Ricky's
guy.
nice.
So you'd be saying your pick here is Troy Fautanu? Or
Ooh,
interior?
that's not what I'm saying.
You could call him Ricky Business
actually,
if he comes to Pittsburgh.
it might be-
Fautanu?
I think
Out of
Fatanu's
Washington?
fallen too far now.
I don't want it
He's
to be.
got
For a
to
team
go at this
for a
point.
team that needs somebody on the line.
I don't
like
want it
the
to be
Steelers.
because I want him to fall one more pick.
Oh, dude, if Fautanu falls to Miami and you pass on
Especially-
him,
and I feel
if
like
we pass on
my
him, I'm
God.
walking off the set.
It's over, dude. But no, I feel like you got to address O-line here if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers because the run game has not been what it has been the past 2 seasons.
What if Fautanu falls to the Bucks?
What if Najee
Calm
Harris?
down.
But I feel like we want the
Jonathan
Steelers.
Brooks, running back 3.
Steelers pick is in.
The Steelers pick is now in, but I feel like this has to be O-line here. You want to help Najee Harris develop that run game, and now you have Russell Wilson, veteran quarterback, and Justin Fields experiment. Maybe we'll see him next season. Maybe not.
Don't count out edge. Really help out T.J. Watt a little bit.
Oh, no way we go edge.
Don't
No.
Hey, what about
We have
Kingsley
Highsmith.
Suamatata?
I think Highsmith is fine.
Herbig's a dog.
Yeah, Highsmith and Nick Herbig are still there.
I was joking.
They're
I was joking.
solid.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Bro.
What if you just
Yeah, they really
traded
need quarterbacks
T.J.
here,
Watt,
honestly.
paying him too much money?
I don't know.
I'm just not realizing that we've been live for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it only just started getting crazy now. Like it's very funny because we've had this conversation, a couple days ago? I think Quinyon Mitchell, I said it
I'd love
to
Quinyon
him.
Mitchell.
I said it to him. He was like, no, Quinyon Mitchell wouldn't fall. I said Quinyon Mitchell will fall to there, and I think the Steelers should take him if he's there. I know I just sang the same praises about the Rams, but I wasn't expecting the Rams to also, like, I was expecting Terrion Arnold to be already off the board, but, like, when you look at a guy like Quinyon Mitchell, he's an absolute stud.
Guys, all right, the pick is in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is Washington tackle Troy Fautanu.
All right.
Good pick. I like this all around. I think.
I don't.
You don't?
Yeah,
Oh, well, of course.
That works. That plays.
So you know, I want. So Nick, I'll give it to you. Why did you want Troy Fautanu? What is he?
He's so versatile. He might be better at guard like Fuaga, but he has that tackle ability. He's just a great blocker. Why do you think Michael Penix had such a good season? It could be because Rome Odunze. It could be because Jalen McMillan. It could be because of anyone. But it also could be because of his O-line. He had Troy Fautanu. He had Roger Rosengarten. And so, you know, I really wanted that. Tua needs protection. And the thing is, because some people were saying, like, the Dolphins need a tackle, I don't think that's necessarily true. You know, we have Austin Jackson and Teron Armstead. So to get someone who's versatile and can just play guard right now would be great. And so now we need to move on.
But
real quick to Cameron.
Cameron, I want to hear your reaction to the Troy Fautanu pick and your thoughts on it.
He definitely plays. I mean, that's a great pick. It allows Broderick Jones to slide back to left tackle, get Dan Moore Jr. out of here. He stinks. He's letting guys run past him every play.
I want to make one mention here. Troy Fautanu only took 2 snaps at right guard, and that's all the play he's had on the right side of the field in Washington. He was primarily a left guard with 99 snaps at left tackle, 99 snaps at left guard. So do you keep Broderick Jones at right tackle and replace Dan Moore Jr. at left, or do you let him slide inside and move Broderick to left?
I mean, yeah, Broderick played right tackle last season. He was all right. He's definitely more comfortable at left tackle, but I think depending on how they see Fautanu, they could definitely try and keep Broderick at right. I think that is a mistake. They need to move him back to left.
Yeah.
But if it plays, I mean, they could keep running Broderick at right, have him develop over this offseason, this training camp, and slide him in at left. But, I mean, as long as Dan Moore Jr. isn't starting anymore.
I'm of the opinion, you know, you've had Broderick Jones. He has a year of NFL experience at the right tackle position. I think you keep him there. Fautanu's in at left, and I think that's the best overall. But now we are moving on to the Miami Dolphins. They're on the clock. Nick Cohen, tell me about the Dolphins. What do we need here? We saw the guy you wanted just go right before.
That's so devastating.
That is
I'm so sorry.
truly heartbreaking.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I could not relate.
You couldn't. I was just going to say. So it's really mixed reviews because some people want Graham Barton, who I don't think would be a bad pick. He can play any interior offensive line position, and he played tackle all throughout college. Like, he's very versatile. But there's also Jackson Powers Johnson, which I know one of our guests wants Jackson Powers Johnson. But, you know, and I think he should play center, and then our newly signed center, Aaron Brewer, should play guard, if that's the way we go. Also, Jazon Newton, I would not want that because we just signed Tier Tart. We're the Miami Titans now. And so I think it has to be O-line.
All right, and you mentioned our guest here. Nick, I want you to have the honors to introduce your fellow Dolphins fans.
Thank you. We travel well. So back from the retirement home is Phil Powell. And then, you know, with his fifth favorite team of the night is Noah Kemper wearing his very special
actually, before you explain
jersey.
what happened there, I just want to let everybody know, you know, Noah Kemper comes from the future. Miami traded pick 21 for Juju Smith-Schuster. He just brought that jersey back.
He's finally here. He's finally made it.
Juju Smith
Can we not speak that into
Miami
existence?
Dolphin.
Imagine. But yes, Phil, welcome back. How does it feel being 30?
Ew.
That's my first question. Oh my God. And my second question is, what are your expectations here for the Miami Dolphins?
I'd say we definitely go interior lineman. Like, we lost Robert Hunt. Unfortunately, we wanted to keep him, but our O-line is, we need to beef it up. I know you said we don't need a tackle. I think we do, Nick, just due to the fact Teron Armstead, he can't stay healthy. Ever since we got him, he couldn't stay healthy. So I want not you, Tyler, the other Tyler from Oklahoma.
Really?
Yes. Look, he used to play tight end, right? So he's quick for his feet. 6'8", being 300 and 12 pounds. That's a big guy.
Yeah.
So I would love to have him at tackle. I want Jackson Powers Johnson as well from Oregon. He would be a good guy, but I think we just really do go O-line. I don't see us getting no receiver, edge rusher, really no D tackle. I think we do definitely go O-line. We need that.
Well, and it's not necessarily that I don't think we need tackle. It's just I think I'm sometimes oblivious to the fact, or at least just really hopeful that finally Teron Armstead will have a healthy season. It's not going to happen, but we'll try.
His toe back.
Which is why Graham Barton might be the move here. Just he would be a little bit undersized, but he could play.
Yeah,
from
a
Duke.
lot of experience
He
at left
could
tackle.
play tackle for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, and Noah, I want to start with you. We mentioned interior O-line as a need. We have Graham Barton, who has he'd play center if he's drafted to the NFL, is what people think. I think is the overall consensus.
To the Dolphins, probably guard.
To the Dolphins, will probably be guard. So are you? And then of course we have the top center available, Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. Do you have a preference out of the two?
I like Jackson. I think we need a good center. But honestly, I'm happy either way. We don't need a flashy pick. We don't need a wide receiver. I saw rumors saying we want to take Xavier Worthy. No, we just need no.
Get another 99 speed guy on that offense, dude. Why not?
Let's play it safe. Let's get a center. Let's protect Tua because he needs it. Let's just play it safe, please. No Michael Penix Part 2.
Are we forgetting Jerzon Newton is still on the board?
No, we're not, but we don't want him, okay?
What do you mean you don't want him?
He's talented.
I don't think
he's
any
talented.
defensive
And
line
Jared Fox, if you're watching this, I'm not discounting that he's a good defensive lineman. We just don't really need that.
There's
if
better
we have,
You just paid Christian. Or no,
we did.
You lost Christian Wilkins.
Right.
Actually, you
I understand.
I don't really think defensive line is on the question.
The pick is in for the Miami Dolphins. The pick is in. It has not been announced yet, but the pick is in.
Real quick, who you think is a wild card?
Xavier.
I think any of the corners.
I
think it could be the corner.
Nate Wiggins from Clemson.
I would also cry if that's the pick.
You think Nate Wiggins is the first cornerback off the board?
No, I'd be okay with Quinion Mitchell. It could be Brian Thomas.
You know who I
sneaky get some size in there.
You know who I think could be a crazy wild card?
Who?
Christian Mahogany.
Get out.
Oh my God! Do we even have a graphic for him? We'd have to draw a stick figure for his
But I
pick.
think he's a really good offensive
He will
guard.
be available on day 2.
It might be available.
It'd be a Cole Strange all over again.
Yeah, for real.
You are canceled.
I really like him. Do I think he goes here? No, but that's why I say he's a wild card.
What about I still think that they're going to go D-line. I honestly think that.
Who? Say it louder.
I really
Who is it?
Because look, D-line, if we have Zach Sealer, Tierre Tart, that's a solid duo. It's a downgrade. But how much of an upgrade is adding Jerzon Newton?
Oh wait, is he back week 1?
The pick is in. It is Chop Robinson out of Penn State.
Yes!
Pork chop.
Yes! The Bucks don't have to get. So let me get this straight, Dolphins.
I'll just let Phil talk.
I literally get this straight, Dolphins. So we most likely gonna have Jalen Phillips back week 1. We still got Bradley Chubb. Why would? You know what? It's okay. Hey, Chris Greer, I love you, but I just.
We won't be anytime soon.
This came out of nowhere.
Nick Cohen, explain your
I
thoughts.
started the freshman show saying, are the Dolphins still going to find a way to come in second to the Bills in the division? And this was our way. Okay, the Bills are not looking too hot after free agency and all that, and neither are we after the draft so far. I'm not a fan of that pick at all. I know, Phil, you just made a good point about, possibly not having Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips. But
oh my God!
If the plan was to draft an edge, which why would that be the plan? But if that was the plan, why not trade up a little bit? Chop Robinson is such bro. We could have had Darius Robinson, the better Robinson, the more versatile Robinson.
We didn't even pick the right last name.
What is wrong with
You could have had Brian Robinson.
Let's Patrick,
I think-
tell us about Chop Robinson.
I think we're
Let's
just-
try and get some positives out
Oh,
of
I
it.
was
Chop,
just
chop, get him out of there.
Please keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
I was just only going to explain why I think some of us are talking like this up here. He had a disappointing 2023. I mean, look, he had 11.5 sacks in 3 seasons, and he had just 4 sacks last year. I think they would have liked more production from him last year. I think that's one of the biggest things. But he's so fast off the edge. He's got an insane burst, and he has a lot of potential. I mean, he's going to need to be developed.
So you think we replacing Van Ginkel? Because Van Ginkel was fast off the line.
I mean, it could be. I'm guessing that's what they go for. I was the only one up here saying that I thought that they could have gone defensive line. And I thought like it could be something that they could.
And again, you did lose. Phil, you did lose Christian Wilkins in free agency, so D-line is there's a hole there.
He's not a D-line, though. He has no power. He's a
no.
twitchy guy. You just said how
Yeah.
fast he is, which I understand. That fits the bill. We are a fast team. But, like, he's not gonna be able to get.
Maximize
What's the
speed.
point of signing like Shaq Barrett?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. The
If
Shaq
you put
Barrett
him
thing,
up
that's
against,
what
if
I
you put him up
wondered.
against Spencer Brown on the Bills, Chop Robinson is on his butt on the ground. He is not making it 5 seconds against Spencer Brown.
Yeah.
No, he's the left tackle. Spencer Brown at right tackle.
Oh, you're right.
So I will say this: the Dolphins did sign the Shaq Barrett in free agency. Noah.
The
So
ghost.
do you think Robinson maybe gets moved to the interior, or is he going to be in like the pass rotation?
I think he's just
where does he fit in this Dolphins defense?
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Thank you.
That's why this pick doesn't
Truly
make
nowhere?
sense. The fact that you have to think where to put him, that should be your answer right there. He doesn't belong. I genuinely don't know where they're going to put him to make this pick make the most sense. I really don't.
Chop Robinson.
My goodness, this is what a wild night.
What
it's
team
been
should
for
I
us.
become a fan of?
We just
now?
chopped our AFC
Jump
hopes
on the
in half.
Vikings bandwagon.
No, you guys are annoying sometimes.
It's gonna bro, we got JJ to JJ. Oh my God.
Oh my
Quadruple
God.
J ran. It's
See, at least we're not delusional.
I.
That is true.
At least we're not delusional.
No, we're
okay,
delusional
all right,
sometimes.
All right, Tua fans.
We're delusional
let's
sometimes.
dial it back here.
Guys,
All
who's
right.
gonna block for him? What is going on? We are so bad.
I want to see the reaction of Dolphins fan on this stream. I want to see
Great.
the reaction
He
of our
lost weight.
fans.
He's gonna be more mobile.
Mike
I
White's
don't,
not that bad.
bro. That's not what I want. I want him to be more sturdy.
Mike White.
There we go. I see those Dolphins fans are pretty happy. That's
They're
exciting.
delusional. They just spent a bunch of money to go to
Hey, look at him,
Detroit.
man. Look at him achieve his dreams.
Look at the joy. The joy in his eyes.
Have faith now.
We have pork
Have
chop.
faith. Let's go.
No,
Oh, thank God. They put
Oh,
4
I-
highlights of him
We
from
better top
college.
it up, really.
bro. Just by seeing him happy that he made it, like, makes you change your mind. I feel
Why
like
does he
everyone
look
should be
so
happy.
Wait for him to become a Hall
He's
of
like
Famer.
so
We
like,
play this back.
bro. He does not look like a defensive lineman. He
nickname
does
was
not.
Pork
He does not
Chop.
have the aura of a D lineman.
Yeah,
I'm
he
saying.
was nicknamed
No,
Pork Chop.
just
Someone
Chop
wanted to
Robinson
go.
sounds like a D lineman.
Dude,
I
he
need
looks
to
so,
go
but he looks
cry.
like he
Doesn't
looks
sound
like
like a quarterback.
That's a good point.
He give you a nice little
10,
warm
11
hug.
pounds coming out.
Yeah, hey,
Oh yeah, when he's trying to sack
This
you.
is an
Yeah, he's
interesting
Bro, that's
question
exactly
that
what I
needs
want.
to be asked. Was Chop Robinson nicknamed Pork Chop because he came out as a 25-pound baby? Like what?
Yes, that was it.
Yes.
And do we see that in his play at Penn State?
We have
maybe?
Pork
Just
Chop
the
and
size
Chubb coming off
advantage
the
he
edge
has?
now?
I don't think so. It's just
Chop.
it's a weird this part where the edge players are, and with again Jazar Newton, I feel like would have been the better pick.
He's gonna keep
He
falling
had
too
4
because
sacks last
the Eagles
season.
are about to take a corner.
It's just
I'm not moving on
They
yet.
have every single corner on the board.
Chop
now. There's
Robinson
no
had
way
4
they don't take
sacks
a corner.
last
Yeah, but
week.
isn't it kind of amazing? Eagles fans have to be.
What if the
in a way better
Eagles
position
took a
than Dolphins fans are.
receiver?
What?
I know they just extended AJ Brown.
Why?
I know they just extended him.
Not with
but
not
what
with
if they did?
every corner on the board.
They also have Devontae Parker, former Dolphin,
You know what?
as their wide
Actually,
receiver 3.
I see them taking the center. They did just lose Jason Kelsey.
They could take. They had their pick. They had their pick.
I just can't get a.
Yeah.
If this isn't Mitchell or Arnold right now, I would just be actually.
I feel like it has to be Arnold, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Barton or a JPJ.
Yeah, but can he do the tush push?
No.
all right. Now that we are talking,
You know
about
who
the
could?
Eagles,
Zach
I
Frazier.
do want to transition now into the Eagles as they are now on the clock. Ty Patton, tell us about the needs of this Eagles team and what we can expect to see from them.
Yeah, so
this pick.
they have 3 real needs, genuine needs, and those 3 needs are going to be wide receiver, linebacker, and then defensive back. And you can throw center in there. I know they have some movement on that offensive line. They can fit people in certain positions and still get away with what they got. Wide receiver, they just extended A.J. Brown, as we just made a mention of, but at this point in the draft, I wouldn't be surprised if they went there. Linebacker Peyton Wilson, I know a lot of people have been really high on him. I first saw him going early in the top 40, so he could be a pick. And at DB, you have every corner available. It just makes the most sense, so that's likely the pick. But what about everybody else? What is everyone thinking here?
But before we move on to our own thoughts, I want to introduce Ben Huber back at the couch with us again, and now joining us wearing a Jason Kelce jersey, Anya Gary Bashvili. I got it right. Boom. I'm so good at this.
Let's go.
But Anya, I want to start with you. You're wearing the Jason Kelce jersey. He just retired. Jackson Powers Johnson is sitting right there at the board. Do you like that pick, immediate replacement for Jason Kelce right out the gate?
I don't know, honestly. I am not as well versed in football as most of the guys here, but I have a feeling that there's not going to be many players who can live up to Jason Kelce's career. I mean, we saw how well he played, and he honestly kind of got tired of his team, it seems like, at the end there. So, I just don't know if there's going to be a pick that is going to meet him.
Yeah,
those are high expectations.
These are big shoes to fill with Jason Kelce, not only based on his play, but just what he meant to the city of Philadelphia, and now pursuing his real dream job of being a podcaster. Shout out.
With his brother.
Can I actually, real dream job of being Taylor Swift's brother-in-law?
Brother-in-law.
Yes.
I would take that.
That'd be great.
My brother needs to get on that.
But
Taylor Swift sang about.
But the pick is in for the Eagles now.
Wait, listen, TTP.
Patrick, I want to hear from you.
If this isn't a corner, how disappointed would everybody be around?
I'd be shocked, dude.
It has to be a corner.
Sneaky Kamari Lassiter pick. He's a very good corner.
Georgia
and
guys.
He is a Georgia guy.
The first corner off the board.
Don't be surprised.
We have a graphic up there. I don't know if they announced it.
But listen, I just want to say this, all right? The fact that there has not been a corner yet, and we're sitting here at 22.
I think Quinyon Mitchell.
I think it's not because I saw the graphic, but Terrion Arnold is my cornerback one.
Oh.
Thank you. Okay. I don't know if that's true. It might just be up there for.
I'm not as gullible though.
I got Mitchell.
That'd
be my guess here.
We're all waiting. Again, the pick is yet to be announced, so it is in, and the Jags are now back on the clock. But the Eagles again. I personally think Terrion Arnold would be the pick here. We have been. Oh, the pick is in. It is Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo.
Wow.
Not a bad pick either in its own right. The first corner off the board. Finally.
First MAC guy taken a long time.
Hoping and praying for this name to go off the board the last 5 picks.
Dude, it's been long overdue.
I've been praying,
I feel like we've been waiting.
I think it's a great pick. Fills the need for the Eagles. I mean, my goodness, how often do you hear from Eagles fans, like as the year progresses, how much they need help in the defense?
Darius Slay ain't getting any younger. James Bradbury's washed. Washed. Absolutely washed. I'll start. Anya, I want to hear your initial thoughts on this pick. Do you like it, or would you have gone center?
No, I definitely would have gone cornerback. I was quickly looking through what the NFL was projecting, and it was all just needing some sort of cornerback. As much as Jason Kelce, I almost confused him with Travis. As much as he did help his team, he can't do everything, obviously. He has his position to play, so having a good cornerback is going to help the team itself, not just they need to up their defense. That's all there is.
Yeah, their defense definitely struggled late in the season. They had a bit of a collapse, so I think Quinyon Mitchell is definitely going to be that guy. I like Terrion Arnold better personally, but it's like 1A, 1B.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like both those guys are so good. I think we're going to see a fire sale at corner here. I think they're going to start going off the board like crazy. So.
That's fair. Yeah, and it's like really smart to take corner if you're the Eagles, because if you look at your division rivals, the Cowboys really have good receivers, and then the Commanders, I don't know. I mean, and then the Giants also.
But Nick, tell me
maybe a bad one.
But Nick, tell me more specifically about Quinyon Mitchell. What can Eagles fans expect to see from him day one?
Some lockdown defense. I mean, like just plain and simple. Like he can defend, he can tackle. Unlike Nate Wiggins, he's good in man. He's good in zone. He's just a really good corner. I think they hit that pick out of the park.
He doesn't really have a ton of holes in his game. He's not at all. He's big enough, 6 feet, 195. Actually, that's pretty big for some of the corners.
That's pretty big for a
corner. He
corner.
ran a 4.33. He's got the speed, so he's got the speed and the size.
Which is why I'm shocked he didn't go to the Colts.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked too. I think the Jags are doing okay. I like Ben Huber's point about how he was saying that this is about to be a fire sale at corner. I think they're going to get
the Jags pick here has got to be a corner also.
Got to be.
But again, Quinyon Mitchell, he's a guy who I think he can be immediately. You can put him on the outside, put him on an island with top receiver against the opposing team's top receiver, and then he can just win that matchup. Again, his potential is just through the roof with his athleticism. I love it. It's amazing, and I love this pick for the Eagles, and I think it is the best overall.
And the only thing that you could even say about this guy, about this pick, is that he played at Toledo. And some might argue playing in the MAC is like a lower level competition.
Yeah.
But I think I'm cool with it. I think this is a great pick.
All right, so now the Jags are once again on the clock. Back on the couch, Justice has returned. Have you calmed down a bit, Justice? Have you recouped? Are you feeling better after the initial trade that the Jags pulled off?
I still don't understand the trade. We don't get a second-round pick. We barely get a day 2 pick out of it, but whatever. I think there's still a lot of talent left on the board. They clearly didn't love anybody at that pick, so that's why they traded down. So.
And something I do want to mention, we have 2 new surprise guests. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Well, I am Elgin, the one from Lake Howell, the best, sports show. He doesn't like that, but personally, for the Jags, honestly, they could go they could go many different ways. They could go corner. They need corner. They could go powers.
Yeah.
They could bring the depth behind Josh Allen and Walker, but I have a huge feeling that they're going to take powers here. I have just a strong feeling they're going to take powers here. Protect Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence was playing through an injury throughout all year, so I believe that they're going to take powers, bolster up that O-line, and protect their all-star quarterback. So that's what my pick is.
I do want to make a quick mention real quick that if they manage to get Arnold and they traded back, I think it's the move of the first round.
Yeah, but you didn't really get anything from moving back. That's my problem with that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of high value draft capital that came with that Vikings trade.
I didn't mean to interrupt, Joe. I'm just top of the head. I talk a lot. Anyways, go ahead.
My name is Chance. I'm also from Lake Howell. I'm better than him, which is normal. But I would say center at offensive line. I could also see you guys sneaking in, going receiver. I feel like you don't have a true receiver one. Brian Thomas Jr. is still there. As a Bills fan, I'd hate it, but I could see it happening. And I think that's the 2 main guys you guys are going to target.
As a Bills fan is a disgusting sentence.
Yeah, that is a very disgusting sentence. Justice has been a massive proprietor of Adonai Mitchell to the Jaguars, and he's still sitting pretty right there.
So much of a proprietor. I call him a Donnie.
Yeah. Our second mock draft. We had something going.
It's husband.
Why did they put us together?
Yeah, I know, right?
Thinking?
I just want to say I wouldn't be shocked if they take Cooper DeSheen here. I wouldn't be too shocked.
Well, this is what I was thinking last time. I was like, we can't mess it up, and then we traded down 6 spots. So we're just gonna see what happens.
Cooper DeSheen would be.
The pick is in for the Jaguars.
That was fast.
It is yet to be announced yet, but the pick is in. I want to say right now, personally, I'm of the mindset that I agree with. I think it should be corner. But it is actually Brian Thomas Jr. The pick is in.
Oh,
you
baby!
Are correct.
Oh.
I do.
Wow.
I don't. Justice, I want to hear you. I want to hear your thoughts first as the Jags fan.
This is a fantastic move. I like Adonai Mitchell or Adonai or however you say his name, but those days are over. I am a big Brian Thomas Jr. advocate. Best wide receiver past Marvin Harrison Jr. in this draft. Romo Doomsday.
Been saying it since day one.
Yep, and he's going to take over with Trevor Lawrence throwing him the ball. Now, in his rookie year, he's probably going to be on a long list of wide receiver 2 options with Gabe Davis and Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, but I think he's going to fit really well. He's got all the upside in the world. A lot of people were even maybe thinking he was better than Malik Neighbors.
Whoa.
I know, but I'm going to be one of them. I'm going to be saying he's better than Malik Neighbors. You know why? Because he's wearing teal now, and he is a part of
ride or die. I like that. I like that mentality.
Duval till we die. That's what it is.
I think the biggest question that we need to ask, and this is open floor, anyone can answer this, where does he fit on the depth chart?
I think they start him off as a receiver 3, but he's going to be towards the end of the season the receiver 1 once they see him.
Yeah. And is that receiver 3 behind Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think at the beginning of the season, Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis. So it's receiver 1B or whatever you want to go.
Okay.
And then from there, they're going to see that Brian Thomas is the guy, the one that's going to catch all these spectacular catches, close-in catches, all that.
Yeah. I actually believe that Calvin Ridley will not pan out this year. I think he will be very bad this year. I think the contract of the game was I think Calvin Ridley won't be good for the Titans.
He is a degenerate gambler. That's what Calvin Ridley is.
Aren't we all?
As a Bills
Get
fan,
him
I'm
out of here.
depressed.
All right?
So
Show up a pitchforks, get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
I don't want
92
him on my
million. That's all he
football
sees are dollar signs. Old Calvin Ridley.
I'm not depressed.
I think the Jags saw what Calvin Ridley want, and they said absolutely not. So I think this is actually a great pick. You know, this was definitely the third option for Jacksonville as for me, but you know, it's still a great pick. You know, solidifying that receiver room. You know, they did lose Calvin Ridley, but you know, Calvin Ridley's old, and 92 million is not worth for under 30-year-old
Yeah, I was
receiver.
going to say, Titans handed him a little contract and had him sign the dotted line and said, what are you going to do with your $92 million? He goes, put it on black.
Yeah, there he is.
I do want to say one question about Brian Thomas. As we've mentioned, he was teammates with Malik Neighbors. So I do want to throw it out there, the thought, how much of his success can we attribute to, Malik Neighbors drawing a lot of attention in that LSU offense? And maybe was he his success a product of that and the LSU system? Is that a thought that anyone else agrees with? Or maybe you think this is...
I would like to disagree because if you just look at the games he's played, the highlights, he's made those catches. He's got those yards. You didn't see Neighbors doing it. He was the ones who grabbed it, just ran in, did all that. So I would like to disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree as well. I believe that Brian Thomas is probably as good as Neighbors as a prospect, in my opinion.
Ooh. That's bold. That is bold.
That is a little bold. I don't hate it.
On it. Yeah.
Come on.
I really like Brian Thomas. And in my original mock draft, I actually had Brian Thomas falling to the Chiefs' hands at 32, but looks like that's not going to happen.
I could see it.
As a Bills fan, I am depressed now. We should just trade for Ayuk.
You could get aggressive, go up for Eddie Mitchell. He's still there.
I don't want him.
What?
I think he's a bust.
What?
Eddie Mitchell?
Bust, yeah.
Get him out of here.
That is so incredibly heinous.
Watch. You
I'm
guys
a
say this
Sooners fan, and
now.
I
You say
disagree
this
with
now.
that
He's a
take.
bust. Put money on it.
Say it when he goes to Buffalo. When he goes to Buffalo.
And now I'm going to be depressed.
You're getting your Texas wide receivers mixed up. Worthy is the bust. Mitchell's going to be quite good.
Mitchell, I don't know.
Merchant?
Yeah.
No, I think Worthy isn't as good as everyone says, but I think Mitchell is just not I don't like him.
But now I do want to move on to the Dallas Cowboys as they are on the clock. Ty.
Yep.
Tell us about the Cowboys. What do we need? What can we expect for them to pick here?
So for so long, I have thought that it's going to be offensive tackle, and Tyler Guyton's still on the board. That could be the case, but it could also be center. Defensive line is a need, linebackers a need, cornerbacks a need. I've seen some people say wide receiver is a need. There's a lot of room they have to work. Based on how this draft is going, I wouldn't even be surprised if Jonathan Brooks was the pick here. Why running back out of Texas. It could be a lot of different areas, but O-tackle for sure is a big need, and I've always liked Tyler Guyton there. I don't know what y'all think.
Well, you mentioned center Tyler, as they lost their center Tyler Biazis in free agency. So this can maybe be where we see a Jackson Powers Johnson, or
I was just going
if
to
you want to,
I think he's going to
if you want to address tackle, I believe Graham Barton.
I think Graham Barton. Graham Barton's my
Yes.
interior offensive lineman. I think that they need to go with
Graham
Maybe
Barton
the Dolphins
for
can
sure.
trade up.
No JPJ.
All right, and two new faces now joining us here at the draft. Daniel Valdez, a very familiar face to our HGF viewers. But next to Elgin, another new face I've never seen before. Who are you? Introduce yourself.
Who are you?
Who is this man
That's
who
so
broke
heinous.
into the studio? What?
All right, my name is Matt. If you don't know who I am, you should. I have 20,000 followers on TikTok. If you don't mind, I just I need my respect. NBA, NFL posts. You could fact check me. I'm approaching 20K.
Okay.
Flexed on me, my God.
Wait, what's the username?
Yeah, what's the username?
NBA, NFL posts.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you.
My
Thank you.
goodness.
Appreciate it.
Very specific.
What's it about?
You're getting there.
I have 0.
I have 1,000 for what it's worth. Yeah. Fun fact.
That's funny.
I do 1,000.
Wearing a
But
Mac Jones jersey too.
Yeah.
I bet you're feeling great.
I am feeling great.
Why didn't you come on for the Jags pick?
For the Jags pick?
Yeah.
You mean
Best backup.
Best backup, Mac Jones. I
The
think about that. I forgot about that.
backup was Trevor Lawrence a national champion?
Ooh. Hot take.
Fair point. But I'll throw it to you. What are you thinking here with the Cowboys and their pick?
I think the Dallas right here, they go to replace Tyron Smith, longtime starter for them, Cowboys legend, but he's only good for about 5 games every season now. I think, you know, it was the right move to let him walk. I think they bring in Jordan Morgan.
Oh, no. I was really hoping he said Tyler Guyton.
No, I'm not the biggest guy on Tyler Guyton. I like Jordan Morgan more.
Jordan Morgan out of Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona. He's 6'5", 311. Yep. He's got a huge frame, decent athlete. You could just watch him at the Senior Bowl. I think he's one of the more refined tackles in this class. I think that's a guy like they drafted Tyler Smith, and it was kind of like a reach a couple years ago. But then he turned out to be a very, very good starter for them. And I think Jordan Morgan can be that guy here for Dallas.
I just think there's a pool of drool in the Dallas War Room floor, and Jerry Jones is just salivating. Seeing Tyler Guyton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know. Trust me.
Jerry Jones, you know, his dentures fell out. He's just staring in awe. You know, Tyler Guyton's still there.
Ty, I do want to throw some. Or Nick, actually, I want to just cut you off, Ty. I'll get back to you. But you know, we've mentioned Peyton Wilson earlier today, and you know the Cowboys, they lost Leighton Vander Esch to free agency and
to retirement.
To retirement, actually, yes, even. But he has been, you know, there's now been a lot of hype for linebackers in the first round, but he has been the one. Do you think maybe this is where he goes, possibly, or no?
That would be such a Cowboys move.
Yeah, it does feel like kind of a Cowboys pick.
Jerry's getting his guy, man. He don't care.
The linebacker class is just not it. You know, they can get that in the 2nd round pick. I think it should be O-line, for the record. But let's not discount.
Down, though? Honestly, I could see him trade down.
Buffalo trades that.
But let's not discount the fact that they could get Adonai Mitchell. Add another threat in that offense. But
you did lose Michael Gallup if you're a Cowboys fan. So
I do like the trade down, but specifically with the Detroit Lions, jump the Packers for a corner.
Yeah.
Actually,
I think
the Lions just traded up to 24.
Oh my God, Nick Cohen!
This is not a bit. This is not a meme. I just have been told that the Detroit Lions have traded up to 24.
Wow.
My God.
Actually.
Wow.
Jeez.
Nostradamus to my left here. My goodness. So
that's crazy.
Guys, let's talk about the Detroit Lions.
I know who they're trading for. I know who
they're going for a DB. They got
nope.
Oh no,
I know
this
who they're going
one
for. It's not a DB. It's not a DB. I know who it is. Let me cook. It makes sense. All right, you know who they're going for?
Who?
And you're gonna laugh at it first.
Sure.
Zach Frazier, the center out of West Virginia. And let me tell you why. They have some issues at depth on O-line.
Winding down for Dallas. My goodness.
Lions need a corner 100%. But
currently, we have talked. The pick has not been announced yet, but insiders are saying it's looking like going to be corner. It is officially Terrion Arnold out of Alabama for the Detroit Lions.
What a pick!
Reuniting with his teammate Brian Branch. Oh my God!
And they did that.
I didn't even get to explain my Zach.
I don't get that. They jumped the Packers.
I don't get a lot of things right, but I got this right.
You nailed this. My goodness. Packers fan Daniel Valdez, how are you reacting? The
Detroit
Lions, division rival, just jumped ahead of you for this.
I will not want to play Detroit.
Well, number 1, that's a great pick, and number 2, fuck you, Detroit.
Oh,
but it's a great.
We got another one.
It's a great pick for them, and of course, great choice for them. But definitely, I feel like there would have been other options for them, but they still made a good pick on their choice.
You already know Dan Campbell's in that war room. Minnesota Vikings think they can get J.J. McCarthy, and I want to do something about it. No! We're a big physical team. We like a big fit. You know, Terrion Arnold, get in this room.
I can't wait to watch
J.J. McCarthy.
Justin Jefferson.
Oh,
now I have to
Lord.
distinguish between J.J.'s. I just realized that. I cannot wait to watch Justin Jefferson.
Jettas and J.J.
Jettas and J.J. I cannot wait to watch Jettas absolutely cook this rookie. But
don't be mean.
Sadly,
he is one of the best defensive backs.
Gentlemen, I would love to continue this discussion, but sadly, we are going to a commercial break.
5 interceptions.
We will be back right after this. We will continue talking about the Lions and the Packers as they are on the clock. Stick around. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome to HTF Hot Takes. I'm Johnny Jackson. We've got Emily Aaron to my right and Maluka Costa to my left.
Hello and welcome to our segment of Hot Ones. I'm here with Noah Kemper and Grant
Wheeler.
Yep, I knew that. Grant Wheeler.
Listen, I'm a Bulls fan, but I just can't ever argue against LeBron. I watched him my whole life.
I've been going back and forth with this debate for a long time. It's got to be Michael Jordan.
Whatever she wanted. I would wake up in a maid costume for Doja Cat.
Brutal.
Jeffrey Laux, no question.
Richie, I would give it to Richie.
It is not Richie. It is not Richie.
No, it's Jeff.
Richie's pronouns are he, they, because he cannot be him.
What?
Oh, where's that?
I'm gonna have to also agree and say Jeff. He always is spiffy.
It might be Cameron. Cameron's had some good fits.
Out of the women, Norelli always dresses really, really cute.
Oh, that went so awful.
It's basketball.
College football, I think, is the best sport to watch. If you don't like soccer, it's because you suck at it.
I think college football is the best.
Thanks for watching.
Jack, buddy, why are you here?
I don't really understand why I'm here. I got called a delusional fan. I just don't understand why I'm delusional if I think Kirk Cousins had the best mustache in the league.
Well, Jack, buddy, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think anybody looks cool in handlebars.
But they're back, man. They're back.
They're not. They're not. Sometimes you just got to face the hard truth. It's right there in front of you. All these people, they're calling you delusional, but sometimes you got to worry about, am I projecting? Is it me? And in this
Let me
case,
tell you something, bud. It could never be me. Anything I say is factual and truth, and that's why the Vikings are going 16-1 this year.
Organization, you have to look at your roster and say, I've had Kirk O'Thuggins for 6 years. Maybe it's time to move on.
There is no moving on from Kirk Thuggins and Justin Jefferson.
Do you think that maybe this all started just because of a little disappointment?
Nothing has started. This is how I live, and I am not delusional. I'm a prophet.
Nearing the end of the NFL draft, but the Green Bay Packers are on the clock, and we have a Packers fan in the building, Daniel Valdez. Daniel, what do the Packers need? What do you expect to happen with this pick?
Something I really think that the Packers should really go for is to protect Jordan Love. They need linemen to make sure they protect Jordan Love. He's not like the generational quarterback that Aaron Rodgers was, but he has showed he has potential. He has took them to the playoff that they really need to make sure they protect him. They could get themselves some offensive tackles, some interior offensive tackles, and maybe some linebackers. They need to make sure they protect Jordan Love from the toughness of the NFC North because it's getting better and better as the seasons are going on.
I really like your take with the offensive lineman, especially with the release of NFL Packer legend David Bakhtiari. There is now a gaping hole at left tackle that you need to address. So I think I'm of the opinion this is where Tyler Guyton goes. This is where my Oklahoma boy goes to Green Bay, which will break my heart to see him playing for my division rival, but I'm of the mindset it's going to be Tyler Guyton.
I think it's going to be Graham Barton.
Yeah. I like that, actually.
34 games started. I think just a lot of production from Duke. I think that they're going to get like a 6.
I wouldn't count out Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I wouldn't. We're on the same wavelength right now.
Oh,
I wouldn't count out Cooper DeJean.
He's a Packer protection for Jordan Love. I like that idea.
Really quick, guys, before we continue, we do have a new face on the couch once again. Richie, I was actually told your name ahead of time. Welcome.
With a beautiful jersey on.
I appreciate it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Who is that? Is that
Tua?
Tua jersey? My goodness.
QB1 of the future. But,
Face of the future.
I've been big on Tyler Guyton.
And the pick is in.
Okay.
Jordan Morgan out of Arizona.
That was on our mock too.
For the Packers.
That was on our second mock.
Richie, we cut you off there, but you give us your first reactions to this pick. And then Daniel, I want to hear from you.
I think this is a huge pick right here for Green Bay. We were talking about how, they need to protect Jordan Love. Jordan Love has shown the flashes. He's shown that he's going to be the quarterback of the future there in Green Bay. And Jordan Morgan has it. 6'6", 320, he's a big guy. And like you were talking about the toughness of the NFC North, I think he's going to stand there and compete really well. I think it's a great pick for them.
Mm-hmm. And now, Daniel, are you happy with this pick as a Packers fan?
I think I'd be pretty happy as long as he shows that he can have good synergy with Jordan Love and with the other offensive linemen. I believe that they definitely need to win the best they can and make sure that they definitely protect Jordan Love from all the challenges from the NFC North.
Okay, Patrick, tell us about Morgan, what kind of player he is and what Packers fans can expect to see from him.
I think he's a true tackle. And when I'm looking at some of the guys that were still left on the board, they were mostly interior offensive linemen. And I think for the Packers, they wanted to take a guy who could pass protect well enough for Jordan Love to be back there and have comfortability. And he definitely showed that. Now, I will say his probably biggest concern is that he is a little bit over a year removed from an ACL tear. and he sometimes gets beat on counter moves like a little bit too frequently than you would like for your left tackle, but I think for the most part this is a good pick. I don't know if I really realistically saw him going in the first round. I think maybe like borderline,
maybe
like early second
I think
day,
he
but
was a
like,
guy who's getting a lot of hype more recently in terms of his first round potential. Same with guys like Tyler Guyton and
Kingsley Suamata.
Yes, out of BYU. You read my mind.
Just a little bit too scared of the lack of production from Tyler Guyton. Or like there's lack of being at tackle. I think that they didn't. I think they were a little too scared of that.
I agree. I think it's Ty. I want to hear your thoughts on this Packers pick.
Oh, and Jordan Morgan. I'm already thinking ahead to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man.
Oh, we know.
We're
not there yet. We're not there yet.
I see the smoke coming out of your
but let me give me 1 second here. I got it.
We'll give you a moment.
So, Jordan Morgan was one that I originally really liked with the Packers. When I saw Cooper DeJean fall, I thought maybe that could be the pick. You know, they have a hole at safety they could fill there. They could even bump him to slot corner or even a wideout corner if you really want to get versatile with him. But, you know, Jordan Morgan is one that immediately fills holes. You know, David Bakhtiari's gone. You can finally swap somebody in there. And Jordan Morgan has great expertise at left tackle, so it works very, very well for the team. You get Jordan Love some immediate help up front. And, you know, I don't want to say Jordan Morgan's better than Tyler Guyton because, in my opinion, I think Tyler Guyton is the more refined tackle. But,
I agree with that one.
You know, Morgan is a first-round talent, in my opinion. I really think he is.
I agree. I think, again, personally, maybe it's my bias showing. I would have gone with Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. I love his athleticism. I love his super high upside. But Morgan, again, a solid pick. But it is time. The Tampa Bay Bucs are on the clock. Ty Patton, tell us about the Buccaneers. Here's your moment. Take it. Enjoy it.
Let God
Patrick Preverty is a Bucs fan too. Just
rain down on us holy light. Jackson Powers Johnson is talking about.
What do we need?
Okay.
He might not be. He might not be.
What are you talking about? He might not be.
Have we not seen some surprises so far?
Oh, trades?
I thought he was a Dolphin.
Yeah, you did, but the Dolphins are also goofs. So Tampa Bay has a lot of needs, but let's just quickly get out of the way the ones that we will not see here. 110% sure. Running back, tight end, edge rusher. I doubt, although we could see it. Linebacker, and that leaves us with interior offensive line and cornerback. Let me make a quick note of each. Right, we just beefed up our safety room. We brought back Jordan Whitehead, who's on that Super Bowl winning team. Right, paired with Antoine Winfield Jr., who's an absolute menace. Snubbed from a Pro Bowl last year. Phenomenal safety room, but the cornerback room could use some help. We just got rid of Carlton Davis to save some cap. Jamel Dean is still there, Zion McCallum. We have a pretty solid cornerback room, but not fantastic. And when you have a guy like Wiggins, Kool-Aid, Cooper DeJean, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. But our offensive guard, Robert Hainsey, I know I'm rambling. I'll make this really quick. Robert Hainsey, our center right now for the Bucs, was the #1 offensive guard coming out of high school when he came, the #1 in the nation. Phenomenal play at left guard, which is exactly where our hole is right now. So why not move him to guard, let him play what he did, and draft JPJ and let him absolutely just tear up a Tampa Bay offensive line, right? Let him sit in the middle and command it. We have Tristan Wirfs, Cody Malk, Robert Hainsey at guard. You have a solid line, and I think that's the smartest play here. Could go Graham Barton, but I think JPJ is the smartest. Pat Brevity, I'm not going to take him.
All right, yes, Patrick.
I was just going to say, I
want to hear your
completely
thoughts.
agree. JPJ or Graham Barton. I'm waiting for one of these guys to go off the board. I want an interior offensive lineman. I do think,
or
you know,
Zach
maybe
Frazier.
Huh?
Or Zach Frazier.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring him up. 4-time state wrestling championship. Great balance.
We could go with him. I also don't really.
Is Zach Frazier going before JPJ or Graham
Barton?
Yeah,
I would be surprised.
I've knocked Zach Frazier before JPJ.
I'm not really all that against your looking at the defensive backs and what that could
The
bring,
pick is in, and it is Duke tackle Graham Barton. I want to start with you two at the couch there before we move to Ty. I want to let him celebrate. Tell us your thoughts on this pick.
Well, I've been big on Graham Barton. I was hoping Miami took him when they were on the clock, but no, I think this is.
I know, right?
I think he could fill some holes that they have on that line and boost up what was a weak running game last year. Just overall, I like the pick a lot.
I don't know how much I love it. I really like Graham Barton as a player, but I don't know if Tampa Bay is the right fit for him because I'm not seeing Rashad White really run up the middle as much as I would really prefer. So drafting Graham Barton, an interior lineman, to try to boost this running game or pass blocking game, I don't know how valuable that was going to be, or that's going to be for them this next year. I think they would have been better off going with Cooper DeJean, young, only 21 years old. He's the most versatile DB in this entire draft. He could play the nickel. He could play the outside. He even took some snaps at linebacker last year. I definitely would have went DeJean here because I had DeJean going in the top 15, and the fact that he's still available to me is insane.
I agree with that. I think Cooper is a bit of a
I also
shock.
think that Grant Barton was falling too a little bit.
Yeah,
I
had him
seen
going
go
20.
somewhere
DeJean was falling
in the
more.
mid-first. Yeah,
Actually,
but this,
I
I mean,
think
this is
22.
definitely a huge need. I mean, like we need a center. We need somebody in the interior offensive line. I'm okay with this. I mean, if we would have went D-back, I would have been fine. But I definitely think Grant Barton or JPJ, I would have been cool with either.
Well, there's
and I'm glad we got Grant Barton.
Before we move on, I want to mention two really big reasons really quickly on why I love this guy. Number one is Rachaad White had the 4th most all-purpose yards of any running back in the NFL last year. Not just rushing yards, receiving yards. He had a combined, I believe, 1,500 yards last year? Something incredible. His fantasy performance was great. I had him on my fantasy team. But I think the passing game is where Graham Barton shines a little bit more. I think JPJ is a better run blocker than Graham Barton is. But with Baker there, you bump Hainsey to guard, and I think that immediately fills the hole. Baker maybe gets 2 more seconds in there to throw. And you might need that if Mike Evans is going deep. I really like the pick. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I'm a big fan.
I agree. I really like this. You're protecting Baker Mayfield, your quarterback, who you just invested a lot of money in with his new contract that he got. But now the Arizona Cardinals are back on the clock. We haven't heard from them in quite a while. Their last pick, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4 overall. Ty, tell us about the Cardinals and what they can maybe remind us of what they might need. And now what they can do here with the board that is available to them.
So as we mentioned previously, they had needs. Well, they had a need at wide receiver. That was until they took Marvin Harrison Jr. I want to quickly lay out a sleeper. Wide receiver 2 for them is Michael Wilson. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw A.D. Mitchell here. Or somebody
Another
else.
wide receiver.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
I personally
And
would be surprised.
Besides that, we have needs at guard, center, defensive line, and cornerback. I know they're not all on the board over here, and I know it says edge rusher up there. I'm really going to call it defensive end, like an outside pressure guy
like
there.
a Darius Robinson.
Darius Robinson. You really want him going.
Oh, I do.
But
he is still available.
JPJ is there for center if they want him. At corner, you still have Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid, and Cooper DeJean. And if you want D-line, Jerzon Newton's there. So there's a lot of options for them to play with. Maybe a sneaky trade down candidate with so many options there. Maybe acquire some picks and take somebody there.
So in my most recent mock draft, I did the Chiefs trading up with the Cardinals to jump the Bills. Now, I know one of our guests might be quite upset with that, but the Chiefs would be trading up to take Adonai Mitchell from their rival Bills. And as a Dolphins fan, I would love that.
I think I like Adonai Mitchell to Kansas City. I do like that match. But Noah, now a Cardinals fan, your fandom has been changing.
Come on, man. Got my
on
Cardinals.
a dime.
Got my Cardinals.
Wait,
got
who's
my
number
Cardinals
19 on the
jersey ready.
Cardinals, though?
Juju Smith-Schuster, of course.
Right.
Juju's played for every team.
Noah, are you in the camp of maybe defense here? We're looking at cornerback, maybe edge, or
yeah.
O-line?
So I'd say definitely edge or outside linebacker, because if you look at the Cardinals, they've had 1 sack in their past 6 final games. So definitely maybe an edge or something right there would really help them. A corner could also be helpful, although they did just add Sean Murphy Bunting. But I think as of right now, he's the only named corner starter right now. So both those they're definitely lacking in position.
I think personally, I would like Cooper DeJean to be the pick here. I think this makes a lot of sense.
I agree.
He can be in at corner day 1, and also Budda Baker. He will be a free agent after this year. We don't know if he's going to stick around potentially. If he'll sign an extension. And then DeJean has that versatility to play safety, play nickel, play outside corner. He can be anywhere, and he's, of course, great in punt return and kick return as in a returner. So I really like Cooper DeJean here. Build that defense. You already addressed the offense with Kyler Murray. You have your pieces there to build around that offense. Marvin Harrison Jr., James Conner, Paris Johnson at O-tackle, Kyler Murray, of course, your franchise guy. Let's address the defense now. We need to improve that more because there is not a lot of household names on that defense outside of Budda Baker, really.
I could see them staying put or trading down or out of the first round. In all honesty, I could see any of these guys being taken. Cooper DeJean, Kool-Aid or Nate Wiggins. And if they think on their big board that one of those guys is going to be available on the second day and they're okay with that, I could see them trading out. If anybody wanted to trade back in.
There's
but
no
I don't know.
way.
And in
I
case
think
anyone,
they're good with
Cooper
any of them. I
DeJean.
think they go defensive
No
back.
way.
Cooper
in case
DeJean.
anyone was curious, number 19 on the Cardinals is
You
Dan
like
Chesina.
Kool-Aid?
I think
Vikings legends.
Yeah, this Vikings legend Dan Chesina. That is a weird way to spell Julius Smith.
Right?
I like
won't lie.
Yeah,
I don't know where the
I
There's no way.
I'm not gonna say I would love to see this because
gotta be lying.
I'm not gonna act like the Chiefs aren't a rival to the Dolphins either. But I really think it would be in the Chiefs' best interest to trade up.
There's no way he does it again, right?
The Raiders. I can see the Raiders.
Right?
I was trying to
Oh.
keep saying it.
You think I'm
Nick Cohen.
Did the Raiders trade it?
Yeah. No,
Wait.
he's trying to.
No.
You're lying.
Do not
They-
bait it.
I
Yeah, 'cause
heard
it's
something
happened to
from
you
over
so many
there,
times.
so I looked up a name, and it's blowing up on Twitter. A certain D lineman out of Mizzou.
Oh, Mr. Darius Robinson.
Wow.
I don't know for sure because there's
Certain
no
versatile
genuine
guy.
sources. But
It is
everyone-
officially confirmed. The Arizona Cardinals select Darius Robinson out of Mizzou. Nick, here's your moment. Talk about your boy here.
I'm such a fan of Darius Robinson. I mean, he is. Man, what did I have him at for edge rankings?
19?
I had him
I'm
at
sorry.
the 5th best defensive lineman / edge
thought he had
in the class. Now, that's kind of crazy considering there is 3 really good edge rushers, 2 really good defensive tackles, and so that just speaks volumes to how good Darius Robinson is. I already talked about it earlier. He's very versatile. He's 300 pounds. He's fast. He can get after the quarterback, and he's gonna be a monster for the Cardinals.
Friendly neighborhood Cardinals fan over there who's so well versed with the Cardinals and their depth chart. Where's Darius Robinson playing on the D line?
Well, I mean, this is definitely a little bit of a not too much of a shock. Man, the defensive line lacks. I think he could start week 1.
He should.
I agree.
Should.
Who's he learning behind?
Who-
You know, no one.
Zach Allen?
What's going
Right.
Like,
no,
what?
he's a Bronco.
He's not even on the, he's not even on the team anymore. That's right. Like I can't even name.
Exactly.
Like dude, there's no one. Daniel, I haven't heard from you in a while. What are your thoughts on this Cardinals pick?
That's a great pick. Missouri had one of the best defense in the nation last season. He was one of the big factors in them. So I really do think that this is a great pick for them, and I feel like he could really excel within like his rookie season in the NFL and maybe even beyond.
And Jonathan Gannon, he's a defensive guy, and I think Darius Robinson can really be a cornerstone on his defense as they continue to build it into the future, get more pieces maybe later on in this draft in the later rounds. Though, again, I like Darius Robinson, I'm not going to lie, but I feel like they don't really have a true outside corner threat at all.
No.
Really, Arizona.
But if you
Caleb
look at the
Evans?
board, who
Caleb Evans
would
is
they
their starter
take?
right now?
Kool-Aid?
Cooper DeJean.
No.
Cooper DeJean's right there for the taking, dude.
Oh, I don't know. They
is,
can
right?
have him as a safety.
Let me find this
He
out.
can
I'm just
He can play cornerback. He's great at it. Listen,
I'm sorry,
dude.
you're somebody else.
Jason Sehorn walked so Cooper DeJean can run, man.
Who?
Jason
the
Sehorn.
great
You don't know who Jason
Hall of
Sehorn
Famer?
is?
No.
Giants legend, the last white cornerback in the NFL.
Well,
Like 100 years ago?
no, I don't.
Crazy.
And I mean, they can get an outside corner later in the draft. They can't get a Darius Robinson later in the draft. He's that
You
good.
can't get a Cooper DeJean later in the draft. All right.
You know
we
what?
gotta move on.
Technically, you can't. No,
Technically,
but like
you
you
can, and I
could.
think he's great. But we're moving on. The Bills are on the clock
We're in the
now.
last
I think
5
they're gonna
picks
trade
of the
out.
draft.
And now we have a Bills fan in attendance. What do you think? What do you want the Bills to do here? What are their needs, and what do they need to address? And what do you want?
I look at it and I see that our picks that we wanted, my pick was Brian Thomas. I feel like that with who is still there, you could trade down, you could get more draft picks. I feel like as of right now, you need to get more depth because we're not going to get a receiver 1 in my opinion that's good enough compared to Curtis Samuel that could start right away. So I feel like backing it up, get in depth, get nice receivers like Lad McConkey in the second, someone who could fill in, someone who's good, and then get a nice corner safety. We need safeties. Getting the extra picks are going to help us, and I feel like that's what we're going to do.
All right, I just want to address this because I don't really like this. I don't like this take at all. Adonai Mitchell, and I'm an Oklahoma guy saying this about Adonai Mitchell. He is a stud. He is he would be a great pick here for Buffalo, who is in desperate need of a wide receiver after trading Stephon Diggs to Houston, losing Gabe Davis to the Jaguars. Josh Allen needs a reliable weapon, a true X receiver, and Adonai Mitchell can do that. He is versatile. He's great at attack at the catch point. Route running is, he doesn't have a complete route tree, I would say. It's not like more refined like guys like a Tyreek Hill, obviously, or even Stephon Diggs, who they've just lost and he'll now be replacing. But Adonai Mitchell here at 28, I would like. But before we continue on with our discussions, 2 new guests have joined us. Jeremy Beland with us, and Andrew Montana. Welcome to the show. I hope your night has been as exciting as mine.
Gee,
my goodness. But now it's been a while, so you may have forgotten, but I've been making some special announcements, and we have one final announcement to make. Our new main show host that will be taking over in the next fall semester, Andrew Montana. Congratulations, it is official. Long overdue in my opinion. It's been a long time coming. You've worked hard to get to this point, but congratulations once again.
Thank you,
officially.
Tyler. Some big shoes to fill for sure. Even though I think I'm like 3 sizes bigger than you, honestly. Apparently, I'm also like 4 sizes bigger than Jason Tatum. So.
Thank you. But now back to the draft and the Buffalo Bills. Andrew, let's continue with you. What are your thoughts on the Bills here? What can the pick be?
So, I mean, I'm sure you guys covered it already briefly, but the biggest vacancy the Bills have is in the wide receiver position. Lost Stephon Diggs, lost Gabe Davis, man, UCF local. But yeah, some guys I've seen on the board remaining that could fit into that role. I like Keon Coleman. I like him, right? I like him. He led the ACC in touchdown catches with 11. He's tall, he's heavy, he's got a big frame, he's got a good catch radius. I think that's something that could work with Josh Allen. And considering the fact that he did do so well when it came to actually scoring touchdowns, watch out, fantasy owners. Josh Allen could be there. He loves to throw to his open receiver, and I think Keon Coleman is someone who you can just say, muff it. He's out there somewhere. Just let it fly.
Okay, and Jeremy, right before I throw it to you, I just want to make a quick announcement for those that have been watching this. 19 offensive players have gone in the first round. We are at 19.
We tied. We're
We're tied currently with the NFL record. Jeremy, do you think we get 20 right here with this Bills pick? Is this where the record is broken with a receiver or maybe even, offensive line, maybe potentially running back, though I doubt it?
No.
What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think we're going to go for it. If you look at what Andrew just said, Bills really need a wide receiver position. So I think it's in their best interest to continue with this trend and go for a wide receiver.
And while there's still time on this clock, I want to throw it out there in case anyone, feels like-minded. The Commanders are sitting at pick 36, and they've expressed interest over the past few days that they may want to trade up for an O-tackle. Tyler Guyton is still sitting
No,
there.
for the Ravens.
Why wouldn't the Chiefs just go on ahead and do it?
Well,
or the Ravens, apparently.
The Ravens would have to trade up because Dallas is
And
next.
the Cowboys are right there, so they may pull a Jets move trade down.
I thought is, the Bills lost 2 key defenders in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde at the safety position.
Ooh, Cooper DeJean.
Cooper DeJean!
Really good pick,
Get him in the league, dude. He'd be great with Buffalo.
I
do like his
The Kansas City Chiefs have just traded up with the Buffalo Bills for the now holding the 32nd pick.
A.D. Mitchell.
Caught it.
Caught
it again.
Who is so good at predicting trades?
I called it again.
The Chiefs need a wide receiver.
Brian Thomas and others.
They do. The Chiefs could also use a receiver.
The
It was
Chiefs
a bit
need a wide
delayed.
receiver.
Chiefs need wide receiver. Again, I think what we've
they
been
have Tyreek
saying
Hill, they have Tyreek Hill.
stands. I won't lie. Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think they're going to go wide receiver. I think they just. I think they just simply wanted to get a wide receiver out of those 3 guys.
They actually could go
that are
word.
available. I don't think that they want that.
They do, but could go word.
Jeremy, can you repeat what you're saying?
I said Chiefs also. I mean, I still think we're going to continue the trend of offensive players because while Chiefs do need a wide receiver, they also need someone in the
pick is in, and it is Texas wide receiver Xavier Worthy.
Exactly.
I had him at 32. I didn't have him at 28.
I think
the combine.
I think the Bills should save that.
Almost jumped up.
I think what the Bills just did was smart.
No more jumping.
So as a Bills fan, you're happy with this trade? We do not yet have the details of the trade. I'm waiting to hear from those.
Interesting, they traded with each other.
Like I said, I look at it.
Well, I think the Bills had a feeling that the Chiefs wanted Xavier Worthy. I think they were okay with it.
They
were okay with trading down.
I look at it, and we needed a trade down. There's nobody, obviously there's AD. You could go AD, but I don't think, in my mind, I don't think he fits the Bills scheme. And you could say what you want, but Keon Coleman is more my.
Mr. Shin, I have the details specifically of the trade. The Kansas City Chiefs trade pick 32, 95, and 222 to Buffalo. Kansas City receives 28, 133, and 248.
Wow. I think we stole that.
Yeah, what?
We stole that. And to think about that, we could get Keon Coleman, who could be the next receiver for a receiver one. I think that.
Let me throw out one more name that Andrew Montana just brought to my attention, but I had him really high on my big board. Xavier Leggett.
I seen him too.
Xavier Leggett.
I
do
really
like
like
Xavier Leggett.
Not as a first-round pick, though. He's a second-round pick.
I've mocked him to the Chiefs.
How late in the second? How late in the second?
Well, think about it.
Top 15.
I'd say
Top
decently
15.
I
in
could
the
see
second.
Leggett going
I
33 to the
if
Panthers.
you're a team that needs a receiver like Buffalo,
80
If
or
Adonai
Leggett for the
Mitchell's
Bills.
sitting on the
Adonai
board.
Mitchell is. I would take
80
Leggett.
or Leggett.
For the Bills, I take Leggett.
Leggett, exactly.
This is the Ravens, though.
Exactly.
For the Ravens, I take
80.
Mitchell.
Question for you guys:
Yeah.
80 or Leggett? For
AD.
the Bills. For the Bills.
For
Think
the Bills,
about for the
AD.
Bills. I have
No,
Leggett.
Leggett for the Bills.
I
No.
have Leggett
Yeah,
for the
no.
Bills.
Oh yeah, Leggett would mesh so
well, if we're
well
being
with Josh
real,
Allen.
honestly, Lad McConkey.
What do you love so much
But-
about Leggett? I want to hear that.
I think he's a big frame. He's a big build.
So is Adonai Mitchell.
Yeah, but you had what was Stephon Diggs for us? He was someone who was quick, shifty, but he wasn't big. He wasn't big body. Josh Allen is known for turnovers. He's known for all that. 80, he looks like he gets frustrated quickly, which we had one of Stephon Diggs.
Amen.
We dealt with that. We had a diva. You see Leggett, sorry. You see Leggett, you see someone who is quiet. He doesn't look like he's a chirper or a yeller, which, I mean, it could be a bad thing, but also it's a good thing.
Well, that's because like look at where they went to school. South Carolina, it has, they don't really have, they don't have the ability to chirp like a player at Texas does. It's a much more prestigious school.
Whoa.
And no, that's just like
Here's
Go
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I do want to say that.
I do want to back up.
We need to say
I want to say something about Diggs.
Yeah, go for it.
When you talk about Diggs, and they call him a diva of sorts, but when you talk about it, he really only was that passionate when they were trying to win. That's my take on it. Like you want someone who's that fired, who has the ability to create points for the team.
The way he put out his passion was just by staring blank into space when they lost every year to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That was his form of passion.
You see that catch?
He was waiting
You
for
see that
someone to
last
get that
catch?
over the shoulder shot and just be like,
He is passionate.
I do want
That's
to
what's
say
important
one
for a
last
team.
thing about Xavier Worthy before we move on, as the Cowboys are on the clock now. Is this finally the Tyreek Hill replacement, Xavier Worthy?
yes.
No.
Certainly
No.
a big attempt.
No.
I mean,
What do you mean no?
a couple steps down, but yes.
Well,
I-
it's
I-
their
I
own
think-
attempt,
Speed is
their own
there. That's the
version,
thing.
and try to do it.
he is a speedy guy.
I think they're just trying to let Worthy learn under Hollywood Brown.
Right.
Agreed.
I think they're just trying to get him with a speedy receiver that's played in the league with a high
You-
speed.
That's
Let him learn.
There is realistically, look at it. There's not going to be another Tyreek Hill for 5 years. There's just not going to be. He's so unique. He's so built different.
Yeah.
But there's someone who could be his own build. I think he's a little bit bigger than Tyreek, if I'm not
He's
wrong.
5'11".
Oh, is he
Yes.
not?
Yes.
I thought he was a little
He's
bit
5'11".
bigger.
Tyreek is
No,
like
tall. I meant
5'9".
taller. I meant
Xavier
taller.
Worthy's
Not my
very-
fault.
He's 165.
Okay, no, I didn't mean bigger. I didn't mean bigger. I
Yeah.
meant taller. But yeah, I see
high
that,
flyer.
and I just feel like he has a lot to be great. He has it there. But you also look at John Ross. He was quick. Look what happened to him. He didn't pan out well. So it's just you never know with these guys. And that's my take.
So now, guys, as the Cowboys are on the clock, but we mentioned their needs earlier. So I actually want to give it time to highlight one of the teams that doesn't have a first-round pick. Let's talk about the Houston Texans. We haven't been hearing from them today, and we likely won't now as the draft comes near an end. What can Texans fans look forward to in maybe day 2 and day 3 of the draft to try and build around their great young core?
Well, so they have needs at wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, and cornerback. And with those needs, you look at how deep of a class the wide receiver room is, right? You're likely looking at maybe a Johnny Wilson in the second, maybe a Roman Wilson in the second, Xavier Leggett. There's a lot of names in there that I actually really like, that I have pretty highly on a big board of wide receivers. And aside from that, there are a couple names that I want to throw in the mix here that I think would be awesome with this. And you can, jump in if you feel the same or differently. Aaron Cooper, I believe it's Aaron Cooper, out of Texas A&M, the linebacker, and Braden Fisk. 2 quick defensive players that I think would absolutely bolster what DeMeco Ryans has been able to build.
All right,
over
guys,
there.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but the pick has just been announced for the Dallas Cowboys. It is Oklahoma Sooners tackle Tyler Guyton.
I'm on the money, baby. I'm cooking. Maybe not at
Oh,
24.
I knew that too.
I
no, you
love this
didn't.
pick.
Oh,
Never
yes, I
mind.
did.
I
Yes, I
love
did.
this pick for Dallas. My goodness.
I love Tyler Guyton going there. I know Andrew Montana doesn't like it. He was talking a lot about how he wanted Tyler Guyton to slip to Baltimore.
He went one pick before. How tragic.
Yeah, you wouldn't know, huh?
But now Jeremy, I want to hear from you. Your initial thoughts and reactions on this Tyler Guyton pick.
Honestly, again, I'm kind of with Andrew here. I thought he would have gone to the Ravens, but that unfortunately, didn't go that way. So, I think he'll still do good on that team. But yeah, that's all I have to say for it. He said, "Hope he gets traded."
I believe the Cowboys, for the first time in a while, I think they've taken tackle quite a bit these last few drafts.
Oh yes,
quite
I believe
a bit.
it was it what was his name out of Tulsa? Their tackle,
Tyler Smith.
Tyler Smith, yeah, the two Tylers.
And they had Tyler Biotis.
How did you not know this?
Oh my goodness, we said this on mock draft too. It's
Yeah.
the Great Wall of Tylers.
It's Ty squared NFL edition. Bam.
That is not a great
You know,
wall.
the Cowboys could have taken Cooper
Cute.
DeSheen, which I think that would have been an amazing pick for Cooper DeSheen. They would have had an incredible defense already. I mean, adding another corner in there. I believe they did lose Stephon Gilmore this offseason, so maybe putting Cooper DeSheen there, I mean, that would be great for Dallas, but I don't want Dallas to make that pick. So
With this pick, before we move on, I want to paint a picture and see what everyone would think of this. If we had Ty squared versus Ty squared, Tyler Smith and Tyler Guyton versus
wonder
Tyler
who wins.
Brownrigg and Tyler Patton, who's winning head to head with pads on? Me and Tyler versus the two tackles.
I might die. I might actually die, dude. What? They've got like 250 on me? I'm 150 pounds.
I think he has 250.
Wow,
that's mean.
Say.
I'm at home.
But a quick little breakdown of Tyler Guyton I want to give, as he is a Sooner guy, and I love him. Listen, I've been mentioning it before over the whole night. His athleticism is the biggest thing. He can play at left or right tackle. He has that ability and potential to do it. Great awareness when it comes to being a pulling tackle, which you don't see often in run game, hitting the B gap there. And then in the pass game, he has some good fundamentals with his feet. His kick slide is great. He doesn't give the defender an edge to just instantly break inside or out to just get an easy path to the quarterback. But Tyler Guyton, I think, can be a very long-term great guy for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe not to the level of Tyron Smith. That is obviously we're going to have to wait and see for that. But moving on, the Baltimore Ravens now on the clock. We are down to the final three teams as the NFL draft first round is winding down. Andrew Montana, you're clearly disappointed. I can see it in your eyes as you look at me. Yeah. But what does Baltimore need here? How can they remedy this situation?
First of all, let me just. Whoa! Go Flock. But the Ravens,
Lakers.
Huh?
I'm a Lakers fan.
Oh yeah, I'm just doing this for Lamar, honestly. But yeah, no, the Ravens obviously had a huge offseason, picking up Derrick Henry in free agency, which was probably the biggest that I had this springtime. With that being said, you gotta work up that offensive line. Something else that stands out obviously is that receiving core. If your number one guy is Zay Flowers, it's not bad considering how he did, but there were some hiccups towards the end, so that kind of concerns me. So you might want to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, no, I think if you got at least looking into last season, you've got probably the best rushing offense, if not one of the best rushing offenses. That was basically just Lamar. Now you're adding someone like Derrick Henry. You need somebody to just part open the Red Sea like Moses. So Tyler Guyton wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be great. But let me just delete that. Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. He's the next guy I have in mind. But I mean, at this point, it's just.
There are actually like 4 names that I have over Blake Fisher. I honestly think we could be looking at Patrick Paul maybe.
Patrick Paul.
I saw him, but he's.
I will say it right. Kingsley. Suamataya.
No, you did.
Suamatata.
Making that graphic was such a pain.
No, it's just a lot of A's.
It is
that's all you got to remember.
It's like 4 A's.
Like A space, A space.
Now, I do want to say another need for the Ravens, as it seems every year is a need, is wide receiver. Adonai Mitchell still on the board. Lad McConkey still on the board.
Xavier, Keon.
Keon Coleman.
Do you really want Keon to the Ravens?
I don't mind. I don't mind either one of them because they're both big dudes that can get themselves open and they can just kind of catch it wherever.
They just extended Bateman. I don't think they need a receiver. They just extended
Bateman.
They don't
need one.
Yeah, they have also have.
I'm good with the corner or receiver.
Dude,
I think they would reach on a tackle.
I'm not either. I'm not sold on Bateman.
Bateman.
As a wide receiver 3, sure. but not as a wide receiver.
When is the breakout going to happen?
And I think it's kind of almost like automatic that the Bills are going to take one of those guys that are available at wide receiver at the end of this round. So I don't see why they wouldn't go receiver here.
Well, the pick is in for Baltimore. Has not yet been announced, but the pick is in.
We haven't seen anything with Brandon Ayuk.
Here's the only reason I don't
49ers.
think it's going to be Adonai Mitchell or Adonai Mitchell is everyone says how solid of a deep ball contested catch kind of guy A.D. Mitchell is. He caught only 36% of contested catches compared to, Romo Dunze, who had 75%. Like, I don't think he's as good of a deep ball contested catch guy as everyone thinks, and I think Zay Flowers
the
is
pick
already
is
the deep
in,
guy.
and it is Clemson quarterback Nate Wiggins.
Oh, I think
it
he said
sounded like he
quarterback.
said quarter.
I thought he said quarterback.
I heard a T.
DJ Uyunglele.
Should have been Javon Baker.
I actually don't I don't mind that pick at all. I don't mind it at all. I just, with Cooper DeJean there and with, I'm sorry, Kool-Aid McKinstry there, I'm just a little surprised, I guess.
He's a second-rated.
Actually, I had Nate Wiggins going a little early. I had Nick Wiggins going to the Buccaneers, actually. I really had that pick. I had that in my mock
I like the
draft.
center. I'm so happy we drafted center.
I think this is actually
JPJ, man.
You can look at the positives they added. They added to their
trade up
defense.
Dolphins.
The Ravens, I think defense is
Wow.
great.
Now,
Yeah,
so that
but
helps.
the new tackle rule that might change defense and win championships. So but I believe Nate Wiggins' pick is great.
How do you think this helps the defense, given the lost Patrick Queen? Like, was this probably like the best pick possible? Like maybe outside of that offensive line?
No, because I really like Chop Robinson to Baltimore.
Yeah,
I thought he
Oh.
just played really well with the defense that they already have there. But Nate Wiggins is a guy that gives you insane coverage and more than that, insane speed. And that's not something that the Ravens necessarily need. But I think it helps a lot. Like I think he's going to play solid here. He's no defensive rookie
I
of
want
the
to say
year.
this though about Nate Wiggins. His issue is tackling. There's not.
Yes.
He cannot bring guys down. And again, he's a little undersized at the corner. And again,
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean is right there. He's right there on the board. He's better at.
But
literally-
he's not a Baltimore
I feel
guy.
like it's not even.
Oh, he's not a Baltimore guy.
I feel like it's not.
What makes you say that? Why is he not a Baltimore guy?
He just doesn't look good in purple. He just doesn't.
Oh my god! But listen, Cooper DeJean. We've seen Cooper DeJean, JPJ. They're on the brink of falling out of the first round. This is getting, I think, a bit shocking.
I think one of them.
Adonai
will.
Mitchell, another one. I think.
One of those guys will.
Certainly.
Well, there's only two picks.
Jerzon Newton.
Jerzon Newton,
Why I said
another pick. Oh my god! I just forgot about Jerzon Newton.
I don't think we ever mentioned this, but didn't Xavier Worthy break the record?
Yes, we did.
Oh yes, Xavier Worthy. He was the 20th. Now we're at 21. But yeah, 21 offensive players in the first round. That's an NFL record.
Wow.
Weasley's history.
I believe that was also the line. The over/under was 19.5. So the over hit. Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. Wow.
Wow.
Bet's host, did you guys hit or?
Not at all. Over 3. Over 3.
No.
No. What did the Steelers do?
I haven't looked at the Lakers game.
No, I am.
Oh my God, the
1
Lakers.
for 3.
I'll be right back. Lakers lost.
But
What
again,
does Vegas know? Because Tyler Guyton's individual odd was 28.5, and he went at like 29 or what?
Vegas.
Okay, so with the 49ers,
Vegas knows.
Vegas
surely
knows,
it
man.
has to be Jackson Powers-Johnson or a Kool-Aid McKinstry or Cooper DeJean, right?
To San Francisco?
Like one of those.
Yeah,
three.
to San Fran.
Or
I like
Kingsley
JPJ.
Suamataata?
I like JPJ here. I think they go.
If
out.
San Francisco gets, oh my God, they can get either Jerzon Newton or Cooper DeJean, just falls right in their lap to just make their already amazing defense
God,
even
I
better.
hope this pick is Cooper DeJean for your own mental health, man.
Please.
You have been begging for this pick.
I need it. I really do. But
Could be Adonai Mitchell. We have not seen anything happen with Brandon Ayuk
yes,
yet.
Brandon Ayuk is contract dispute ongoing with the 49ers. A lot of contention there. But do my eyes deceive me?
Yeah, the Lakers are down only by 3.
Oh my goodness.
They already blew it?
Oh, they
Joel Embiid
I
dropped
picked
50.
the money line. That doesn't matter. But who is there at the couch? Is that Camden?
It's Jeremy.
Mowry I see? Back? Oh my goodness, Camden! Welcome to the draft show.
This
How
got
are
so
you
much hotter
feeling, man?
now.
Oh my God, it's so good to see you again, my man.
Thanks, guys. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
love your
My
football
day
jersey.
has improved immensely.
Looking
Hey,
sun-kissed,
Guys,
also by
All we
The
can
ice cream
say
shop,
about
man.
Camden is LeBron may be our glorious king, but Camden is our sweet prince.
Oh.
thanks, guys. I just came straight from the Cavs game. Disappointing, but now we're going to talk about the Niners, I guess, huh?
Good.
Oh my
Yes.
Right? That's why
So,
we're...
Ty, I want to throw it right to you. The Niners just lost the Super Bowl. What are the big needs that they need to address?
So the biggest needs are going to be at offensive tackle and cornerback. And, you know, it says there's a need at wide receiver. I understand why it says it. It could be wide receiver there. And something interesting to point out, there are a few experts who are claiming that regardless of whether Ayuk or Debo are dealt, they are taking A.D. Mitchell, which I found very, very interesting. If they were to take it, I mean,
But they
I
have
guess
Juwan Jennings. Like, you don't need a wide receiver 3.
Third and
I actually really like him. I actually really like him.
That's crazy
just-
because when the Ravens get Debo Samuel, then you're gonna be like.
Well, then he's a good wide receiver too.
Hold on, can I just say something real quick about cornerback for 49ers? I would like to bet $500 on black childhood staple Kool-Aid McKinstry. I just needed to say that, please. I would love for him to go to the 49ers.
Yeah, Kool-Aid I really like.
Kool-Aid is another name on the cornerbacks that we
San Francisco, yeah.
could thought
He's
sneak
no
in the first
Dakotas
round.
to Evadoit. Crawford.
Camden, there's 2 players I want to highlight that I want you to talk about that are available that have fallen all the way here to the bottom of the draft. Cooper DeJean and Jazar Newton. Do you
Wait,
think
who's the second one?
Jazar Newton out of Illinois, the defensive tackle.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
What are your thoughts? Do you think either of them might be the pick here for Niners? Like, best player available, just add to your already
Me personally, I think they need a quarterback, but that's controversial enough. I'm just kidding. They're not going to take a quarterback. Cooper DeJean would be a great pick because, you know, obviously what he did in college. He's ready to be a safety in the league because they'll probably transfer. They won't let him play corner. But the kid out of Illinois, the D lineman, I don't know. I feel like you know, Nick Bosa there. That's not really as strong of a need as they need from a corner.
They did just lose Eric Armstead to free agency.
I still think corner is a little bit of a bigger need because I feel like Nick Bosa is just that much better than whoever's starting corner right now for the Niners. So I take corner.
Especially with the age they're getting at that position. With,
Yeah.
I believe it's Ward. You have
Ambry Thomas.
Ambry Thomas. Again, they're just getting a Cooper DeJean, please. Please.
Oh, I
Just-
thought you were
That's not the
announcing-
pick.
I
yet.
thought you were
Not
saying
yet.
That was the pick.
It's not the pick. It's
I
not
think
there.
it's absolute insanity to look at how many first-round talents are still on the
Right,
board.
corners especially.
It's all because
there's
Chop
like 2 or
Robinson
3 that I
went.
was like, whoa.
I blame the Jags personally.
I don't.
Jake
I blame the
Jake
Dolphins.
is still on the board. Jerzon Newton is
2
still
minutes
on the
30
board.
left on the clock.
A.D.
Time is
Mitchell,
whittling
Troy
down.
Franklin,
Can
Lad
they make their
McConkey.
decision, please?
I don't know about Lad going first round. We'll see.
Well, Lad has such a unique ability to find open space.
You're gonna say unique name.
You know, he's kind of quicker than fast. I would even say.
First guy in the gym.
First guy in the gym.
Last guy
Last
out.
guy out. Real, blue collar work ethic.
Real spark plug.
If you want to go there, we could just say Cooper DeJean right now. I mean, he's really the first guy in, last guy out. I mean, just
Absolutely. My
lockdown
goodness.
corner.
Yep.
Lockdown indeed.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Kool-Aid.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the
pick is in. Kool-Aid. I have just seen, though. I do want. I'm seeing here. I haven't heard a name from my producers
Let's
yet.
get a receiver.
But I'm feeling good about it. I'm waiting to hear a name though from inside in the control room.
Javon Baker. John Rice Puppy?
Oh, I just saw the name.
No,
Don't keep it.
Interessante.
I'm not familiar with his game.
It is Cooper DeJean.
Wow.
He is, but finally, the wait is over.
Do we all clap?
Was he announced? I want to know. I do want to know though if he's announced as a quarterback.
This is.
I do want to hear that.
Day. Take a picture. this is a day in history.
Honestly,
So much history being made today.
Why?
Because a man named Kool-Aid did not go in the first round.
Yeah, but
I'm
Cooper
sick
does
of
everything
it.
Buffalo. I think Buffalo goes receiver.
Bro,
Buffalo goes receiver.
They're not gonna pick
Donnie
him.
Mitchell.
They're gonna pick him.
Donnie Mitchell, right?
Donnie
They're gonna pick a
Mitchell,
wide
I think, is the
receiver.
clear pick
No,
here.
Xavier
low
Leggett.
key Keon
But
Coleman.
Cooper DeJean, I gotta gush about Cooper DeJean, guys.
Yeah,
I gotta
I could
play
see
this
South
highlight.
Carolina guy.
Listen, I've been saying it. He is. Listen, we get
We're
it.
listening.
He's white. All right, let's address the elephant in the room.
Oh, he is?
We haven't had a white corner in the NFL since Jason Sehorn.
Who?
But this man can play cornerback.
Or safety.
He can play on the outside. No, he is not playing safety. He is going to be outside guarding teams' best receivers. And not only that, just as an added bonus, he is an outstanding punt returner on special teams.
That is true.
I love Cooper DeJean. I really think the Niners got the steal of the draft, maybe. Maybe that's my bias. Maybe I'm being a bit bold here.
So my question is,
Love is a strong word for
He just
me.
loves Iowa football players.
Tyler, what's your bias? What's your bias, buddy?
so my question is,
does
how's
Jeremy
he gonna
think?
do about? How's he gonna do against
What?
DK Metcalf? DK Metcalf on the outside.
Bro, Cooper
Don't
DeJean is
care.
going to be
He's
playing.
gonna
Twice a year.
The dog and Cooper DeJean, unprecedented.
The dog in question, a Chihuahua.
We should announce Cooper DeJean, like they do on Pat McAfee show or WWE, cornerback. What? White guy.
What? Whoa.
But it's okay.
Man.
All right, guys, I do need to make an announcement. We may have jumped the gun. It is sadly not Cooper.
No.
It is Ricky Parshall out of Florida.
Oh, okay. Wow. He went the first round.
It's still not Kool-Aid.
He jumped over the other receivers.
It's still not Kool-Aid. It's still not Kool-Aid.
It's
What?
still not Kool-Aid. It's still not Cooper.
Wait.
That was
Dang, so
what?
how do we
Ricky one-handed catch just went
How
above
do we
all the other
unplay
3
the highlight?
receivers that could probably gone above him.
Are we
Wow.
serious?
I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, that's the guy from Florida that had the one hand.
Yes.
Oh, everywhere lied to
He's
me.
tough.
No, he is. I just would have rather have had.
I can't believe
Some of the
A.D.
other
Mitchell
receivers.
is slipping like he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, think about Buffalo because people thought Buffalo would take him at 26, 27, right? And then they trade back, they could still get him. So does anyone know what they got in that trade? Did that come out yet?
They got a third and a
third?
seventh.
So
and
it's going to
they
be a playable
traded
player,
back
maybe.
a fourth and a seventh.
Okay, so they're
moved
gonna
up
have
What is
another
going
starter, and they're gonna get the guy they wanted anyway. So Buffalo
I don't
comes
know.
out of that
I don't
looking
even
pretty
know if I
good.
like this pick for the Niners.
Rick, this is.
I don't.
Those Niners
They're like,
fans
what are
are
you doing,
confused, man.
They're like, did we get the Gene?
Screaming.
Oh yeah, thumbs down. They're
This is gonna be
booing.
another Brandon Miller situation, I hope.
My mother's very upset.
He's a 49ers fan?
Yes, my mother's a big 49ers fan.
Okay.
Wow.
Uh,
Is she using us as her source, and then she like
She just tweeted out, "Yeah, Cooper DeJean."
She's mad at
Back
me.
on track.
She said
And now she's
represent.
mad at this.
Also, I know Nick
Mom,
Bosa
I'm very
loves
sorry.
that pick.
I'm
Nick
sorry.
Bosa, he was
I
about
was
to wave
lied
the
to.
flag. He was like,
Nick Bosa made the
I was
pick.
gaslit.
Nick Bosa made the
he
pick.
would have loved
You
it.
heard it?
No.
He said Nick Bosa loves that.
If
He made it.
He made it. He's in the room.
Made it. My
I mean, I like him as a receiver, like a lot, but just not at that
There's
spot
just so many
with who's
receivers
available.
that I had graded
We have
higher.
Donnie
Yeah,
Mitchell.
I
We have
agree.
Xavier
100%.
Leggett. There are better guys.
Yeah.
I don't like Troy Franklin, but he's
Troy Franklin,
probably better.
I would say Troy Franklin too. But we are now at the final pick. The Bills are on the clock, but we mentioned their needs earlier. There's still one team we haven't mentioned. And Camden, I'm so glad you're here.
This is the Cleveland
Browns do not have a first-round pick.
You know what's
And
funny?
we likely won't see them. So what can we expect for them as the draft continues
Why
on?
are you asking me that, dude? Like, so I've been here 3 years, right? You're talking about the Browns, right?
Yes, we're talking about the Browns.
So this is my 3rd draft show, and not once have the Browns had a first-round pick. So I have not gotten to talk at all about the Browns. You know what we
The
can
Carolina
expect?
Panthers are on the clock.
What?
I've
Imagine it was
right
Cleveland
there.
out of nowhere. Browns get the pick. It's like,
Oh, they
okay.
wanted to jump the Bills for
A.D.
receiver.
Mitchell?
I guess.
What was?
Even though
Xavier
it's
Leggett.
only
Xavier
straight,
Leggett.
but-
Xavier
I
Leggett.
said,
Want a Ricky?
Hey, right down the street, right?
Guys,
Is
I
he South
said
Carolina?
top of the
Right to
show when
Charlotte?
we
Yeah.
mentioned Carolina.
I like
said,
that.
Can
Or
we expect to
Devontae
hear them
Walker.
in the first round? And now
Tez
here
Walker
they are.
ain't
boys.
going that
Who
high. No,
brought
no,
it
no,
up?
no.
Xavier
There's
Leggett,
maybe the
Carolina
Bills
boy.
had no. The Bills may have
Walker
not
ain't
had
going
any
that high.
intention of
Hometown
making a
hero?
pick in this
Question
first
mark?
round. If I'm being
Double
honest.
trade down?
Yeah, just.
You heard the way he was talking.
They don't
about it?
care about
Got a little country
Deontay
to him.
Johnson, put him behind
Yeah,
Adam
they,
Thielen. Let him
well,
cook. Xavier
trying
Leggett.
to save
Just
cap.
try and
What?
maximize
Just
the
stockpile
talent.
assets.
Oh,
just get
unless
guys
Carolina's
in
trying
there.
to
And they have the
steal
first.
AJ.
What do they have? The first pick tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
not anymore.
Well, yeah,
Or
and
the
Bills.
corner.
Bills,
They
yeah.
could
The
go
Bills.
cooler.
We don't know
I
that.
feel like that'd be a bit of a weird one.
We don't know currently the details of the trade yet, and we're waiting to hear details on what Carolina sent to Buffalo. But Carolina now on the clock.
So Buffalo really doesn't want a receiver, huh?
Oh my goodness. Carolina sent, Deontay Johnson,
Oh,
two
the pick,
first,
oh,
3
the pick
seconds.
is in. It is Xavier Leggett out of South Carolina.
What'd we say? What'd we say?
You were just mentioning that. So
This is where you place a bet, Ty. That's where that helps. Get out of that. debt.
Nuggets
So
money line
now,
right now.
officially now, so we've had 6, 7 wide receivers.
What is going
now
on?
in the
Wow.
first round.
Wow, yeah, I'm really confused at what the Bills are doing here exactly.
Don't
I
they need a
guess they
receiver?
like Donnie Mitchell the most.
I know Donnie Mitchell's available.
Yeah, I know.
He's
Well,
here.
he'll be available first pick tomorrow.
Dolphins can trade up.
Dolphin can trade
I'm
up.
guessing
Wow.
that's what
For
they're
receiver.
going to do.
But Ty, you were gushing about Xavier Leggett earlier. Tell us a bit about him before we move on to the guys who fell out of the first that we're probably surprised by.
Xavier Leggett is, in my opinion, a fantastic player. He shot up my big board as I started watching film, as I started to get better acquainted with him and what he does. But he is a guy that I think will work best on this team as a slot guy. Up the fade, he's not like a super big build, but I think he can use his size to his advantage, right? Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen, I think, will take precedence on the outsides, but you get Bryce Young some help, right? Smart player, right up the seam. I think it's perfect, right? Oh, you're looking at the camera.
I would like to say Adam Thielen's washed, but.
Don't say that.
Don't you
about
dare
that.
say
Oh,
that. I'm a
you
glorious
have to
king,
say
Adam
it.
Thielen.
Well, everyone
your chest.
knows Adam Thielen is washed. I said this at the
No,
beginning.
he had a good 6 games last year.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
had a
exactly.
1,000-yard
Listen.
season.
Oh, there's the details.
So did
Oh,
Stephon
there's the
Diggs.
details. So the
Wash.
Panthers send 30, or the Panthers receive 32 and a 2024 6th-round pick. The Bills receive 33 overall, so they'll start the second round
So
and a 5th round.
That's
pick.
a good trade.
I have a question.
Like
Yeah.
even.
And you don't
even
get the
on
5th-year
them.
option, you might still
Yeah.
get your receiver.
So if they like the receiver out of
I like
Texas
Woodrow.
that
He
much,
makes me
right, or if whoever they like, so he's still gonna be available tomorrow, so they could still get him, right?
Yes.
There are so many top-tier first-round talents going into this second.
Oh
round.
yeah.
Kool-Aid.
So yeah, let's
Jerzon
Newton.
let's touch on that. We
Jackson Powers Johnson.
we have Jackson Powers Johnson, Cooper DeJean,
Put it up for fun.
Kool-Aid
JPJ.
McKinstry, Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell. Are we surprised that these guys fell out of round 1?
Nope.
I'm very sick
JPJ,
about
I
Kool-Aid
JPJ
falling out
and
of
Zach
round.
Frazier
That's
too.
sorry,
Yeah.
personally.
So if
I'll
you're
get
gonna
it for you.
if you're gonna say that all these dudes fell out, then who didn't? Like who are the people that went in round 1 that
Like
shouldn't have?
The QBs, the receivers at the very end.
I
the
mean, we
ones that I
thought
don't
6
think they were
quarterbacks. A lot of people thought 6 quarterbacks were gonna go. I just didn't expect them to be top 12.
I think
I
the
mean-
biggest thing that threw
Jack
everything out of
Morgan?
whack was Michael Penix at 8.
That
Yeah.
was probably the biggest
That's probably
surprise.
it.
Yeah.
And then
F-bomb
all
got
the
dropped.
By
all the
who?
quarterbacks were gone,
Which
and
one?
that wasn't expected to happen. But the NFL draft, the first round has come to an end, and so does our show. It's been a great year this year for Hitting the Field. I've had so much fun. I had a great time with Patrick, Nick, Ty over there, my host, being with me the whole night. All of our guests, all the people in the control room, the production. Nick. Big Nick, not this Nick. I don't know where
Big
he is.
what?
I don't see him. Shout out for you for being here, because without
Engineer
him,
Nick.
Engineer Nick, we can't be here without you. So thank you personally. Everyone who made highlights and graphics, the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that, thank you. And for the final time this year, I am your host, Tyler Brownrigg, joined by Patrick Preverty, Nick Cohen, Ty Patton, and many more. And we are signing off.
I find out how many I got right on my mouth.
Pound it, noggin. See ya.
Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. The rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back, okay? Always